Hello everyone. First off, I would just like to say congrats on getting first Caduceus. Hello Leafers. Phoenix. Skyhawk, hello. Congrats on the 140 streak, Phoenix. Hello Twain. Hello Sage of None. Hello YouTube. Thank you for the 24 months, Ruby. 2 years? 2 years of Sansely. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm getting old or something. I suppose I was already kind of old. Hello. How are you? Hello, Glenwee. Hi. Hello on both ends, Lodua. Dodie is the new ancient according to Jen out to chat. Dodie's still young. Come on. Hello, Lance. So I figure we can hop into semifinals. Our first semifinals will be T1 versus TES. Let's go check out these worlds boss. I think we're gonna hop straight into the game. I like watching bands, but we'll just watch the bands for finals.
Past, but then in the series against Anyone's Legend just a couple of days ago in the quarterfinals, that series that, like you mentioned, Vedius, went the full distance, best of 5. It was Keria who had a ton of clutch plays.
Absolutely. And it's nice to see him really return to the form that so many fans have in terms of their expectations for him as a player. And it's always difficult as a T1 player because of the sheer amount of pressure that sits on your shoulders. But it feels like that whenever they return to this environment, to this stage, it's almost like their comfort zone because all of the players come alive.
Yeah, I actually was watching an old owner interview earlier today that actually talked about how it felt like...
No one just turned 30. I'm just saying 30's still kind of young, chat. Come on.
Regularly and have played under these pressure situations. So effectively that it kind of just is water off a duck's back.
Much better.
And that's why I think you're starting to see when they get into quarterfinals, they like creativity coming back.
I'm eating some food before we officially start,
some of these plays. Again, it feels like they have kind of just settled back into what could be another LCK day.
And as we jump back onto the Rift, there's a cool little tidbit for us on the caster desk, because Clayton, so many years ago,
I'm so happy to watch Jackie Love versus Faker.
And now we have Orianna and Rakan in the hands of T1, potentially giving you another opportunity.
Look, if I have the time, I'll make sure I credit Rakan as well, right next to the Orianna. But if they engage in a split second, I might have to pick and choose yet again. We'll see if T1 can find that team fight magic here in the semifinals in 2025. On our screens right now, this bottom lane, we've already
already starting off with some pretty solid poke off
priority of this lane for top
how is everyone, by the way? Like, this is Yapping time. I know we're watching a game, but this is fundamentally Yapping. It is time to yap. Which you didn't hear me. Hi, Lance, by the way. Hope you're doing well. YouTube, Twitch, chat, I hope you're both doing well. Yep, claim. I'm eating a little bit, but I promise we can still yap.
For an extra little bit of experience there, so I think that's where top.
I don't mind watching Worlds. You'd probably have to twist my arm to get me back on the Rift. You might be able to convince me to get on the Howling of Beast. Though my favorite map of all time was Twisted Treeline.
In those lanes, both junglers pathing towards that bot side of the map. Keeping my eyes on Kanavi as he is actually moving into the river. Is he looking for an early gank towards the middle lane? No, it looks like his eyes are set on stealing away those Raptors, but now he will be a camp behind. Ona securing that
I think it's pretty easy to get me back on the Rift if
to steal away
if he is able to get me back on the Rift, I think that's
He wants
pretty
to utilize this advantage in the 2v2 to really make Owner sweat a little bit here on that first clear. It's not just the double first clear approach, as Kanavi, Jackie, and Hong are moving all the way towards that red buff. They want to try to steal it away, but the steal does not work. It's Owner with the secure over the wall.
Crazy smite from Owner, and the ward never got cleared.
Ooh, Fakers on Orianna.
I thought maybe he would even try and roam over, but Owner just does it himself.
This is actually a very common mid lane for Faker to play.
As he's able to
It's very common to see him play Orianna into a quality. This has happened multiple years at the World Championships. Surprisingly, it's a surprisingly common match. We didn't watch the pick, so I don't know if this was a proper counter pick.
He is very far behind on the clear. A nice recall is
He's
going to
gonna
come
make
through
food
soon
as well.
from Ona. He's going to get a
Eating
nice
right now.
first base off as the bot lane forced to use the heal as the bot laners continue to battle it out.
Oh, you mean what's it called? You mean not Ascension, Dominion. There was Dominion and then they had the Ascension map. And all the people who lost the Dominion map had to go play AWAM. You want him back on Zed and Talon?
Overall, very fortunate to sidestep that piercing arrow with 3
You
blight
couldn't
stacks.
track yourself in League of Legends, you lost track of everything really, but that's what the space bar is for. So that you can get back on your teleport.
So should be able to reset and TP back in. Guma gonna look to stop Jackie Love there. Having that level up as well means he can put a little bit more pressure down, but still, TP's back in. They should all go.
R.I.P. Dominion, R.I.P. Twisted Wheeling. No, they never brought back Dominion. Not enough people were playing Dominion.
He's now going to be a little bit behind his Doran, getting a little low.
Yeah, Doran in some danger here. Pops the shield. 3-6-9, keeping the pressure on this Mordekaiser. Wanted to go back in for some footwork with a third in Tofo strike, but the knockback not colliding with Doran means he's safe for now.
The early base from 369, securing that double.
Oh yeah, for sure, chat. Never play this game alone. It's only fun when you play with
these trades. Doran should be perfectly fine in this situation. He just has to be cautious at the threat of a dive. But Mordekaiser, not the easiest champ in the world to dive. No level 6 yet for 369.
Kanavi was spotted though on the ward, and everyone's moving back up towards his top side.
All right, they're moving around trying to see if maybe they can set it up, but they have to know if 369 was close to
Okay, so here's the funniest thing about TFT chat. If y'all don't know, if y'all don't know, League of Legends was actually inspired by Dota, which is a mod. Which is a mod of another game. What's it called? I know the name of the game. It's been a hot minute. Wasn't Warcraft, anywho. So Dota is a mod of a game, and League of Legends copied Dota because it was popular. And then for several years, because I don't count Cho'Gath Beats the World, and I don't count Minions in Net. Riot Games used to be just Riot Games. The only video game they ever really put out was League of Legends. And then they finally dropped their first games for Riot Games. And it happens to be TFT, which, wouldn't you know, is a mod of Dota 2.
Put a stop to that.
I just think that's the most ironic thing about League of Legends history. They are truly the most Western Chinese company.
As you were saying, Betty, like,
I mean, the most Chinese Western.
So this would have been the play from T1, but the double flash over Faker.
Yeah, Warcraft 3. Yeah, exactly. Dota's a mod of Warcraft 3. League of Legends copied Dota. Dota had Dota Auto Chess, which is what TFT is based off of. So, like, for years, Riot Games continues to profit off the concept of Dota.
He doesn't get the payoff that he wants, and like you pointed out, Betty, is then it feels like he's behind
really?
the pace of the game.
Dota? I did not know Freak left Dota. This makes so much more sense.
That lack of pace ultimately the greater error as it's top esports first on the board here with that first kill, and Kanavi has the gold lead in the jungle since he was the one who got the kill credit.
Dota still puts you off with the name of the camp. My favorite concept in Dota is the giant meatball.
Cream has been sent to the bot side of the map with that Hextech alternator. It looks like
oh yeah, like Dota has always been toxic. The original Dota, extremely toxic. New Dota is still toxic.
Great trading potential. The main goal though for Top Esports is to move their Civet into the mid lane, help you guarantee that
TFT and make a quad game.
Chat,
they did have a quad game. Legends of Runeterra was one of the most popular quad games, and they did absolutely nothing with it. Well, okay, maybe not one of the most popular, but like, it had people playing it. Legends of Runeterra could have rivaled Hearthstone, and they said, yeah, we're not interested. We don't care about Legends of Runeterra. We don't care about quad games. Oh no, One Piece made a quad game. Hurry guys, we need to make a new quad game. Oh no, Disney made a quad game. Guys, we have to make a new quad.
There's still half the cooldown remaining on that teleport. The Mordekaiser is steadfastly down there in the bottom lane, and Top Esports have taken the first
But now, Top Esports, they can have 369 TP to bottom lane if they want. He's gonna go
yeah, like, I really think, like, everyone who has ever played Legends of Runeterra that I've heard about has told me nothing but good things about, like, they love the Legends of Runeterra.
Return to mid, and just a beautiful sequence of play there from Top Esports to allow them to secure uncontested grubs.
This is where exactly you
I'm gonna keep eating more food so that soon
although
we
the
can
early
make
game
more.
went a little awry, being able to now find these moments to get void grubs when in theory Cream should have more impact on a side lane is going to be really, really nice. You can continue to keep up pressure through 369 as well in the Mordekaiser matchup. And Jackie Love is just going to wave clear. So I think
Well, like, they could have brought Legends of Runeterra to paper if they put more effort into it.
To start to get some advantages for their side laners to neutralize the potential 1-3-1 from Top Esports.
I'd love to see Top Esports invest a little bit of time towards that mid lane as well.
Well, the problem is Riftbound has it. Riftbound is going to face, like I've said before in this screenshot, Riftbound is going to face one of the biggest modern issues for game, which is accessibility on product.
More interested in the enemy jungle camps. He wants to take things away from Kanavi. He should be able to secure this Grump and walk away scot-free.
We mentioned earlier how
right now, a lot of people can't get their hands on the Riftbound product, and if they can't address these concerns, the game's going to die off. No one wants to pay premium for a bunch of cards.
Turn around, so they'll happily just take away the Gromp, get a little bit of extra money. It's another reset to pick up the Caulfield's Warhammer. There for owner.
Today's dinner, I have some
slightly
soup
ahead
and
in
some
terms of pace, at least with the jungle treats there, just 1 or 2 stacks ahead of Kanavi on the Wukong, who still does maintain about the same gold lead that he did after we saw him secure the first blood earlier.
So just a fun fact about this mid lane matchup, Faker maxing the Q over the W. Sometimes we see that shift between Orianas, but given how low he is on mana, having that extra Q damage really helps facilitate him, put that poke down onto the Akali in those shorter trades. He is very low on mana though. This could be a window for Top Esports.
Yeah, like there's a big issue with, like, modern card games face a big issue with scalpers as well. But also, so scalpers combined with people, like,
Jackie Love will complete the
without proper allocation of
products, and now Top Esports will have control over the midway.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to have the Wukong finish off his Triforce here, but still a little bit away. And that it looks like what Top Esports are trying to play for is that big spike that you can get off of some of these first item completions. And for T1, it's case okay. We're still waiting on that Rod of Ages for Faker. We still don't have that first item for Gumayushi. But Top Esports still in the area.
They're about even in farm in the
use these pushing waves to establish themselves further in river so they can set up for that play in a couple of minutes.
Okay, 369 on the Cassante does have the Spectre's Cowl alongside the Negatron Cloak.
Well, quality has not been great. Surprise money.
Building towards
well, thank you, Fuki. The chat don't give me money. Don't give me
enemy solo laners are AP champions that
your goal altered solve the product shortage problem with their first party digital space.
So much of that hurt, be able to have much better.
And there's a lot of card games coming out right now. That's the other thing, is that the market's so competitive. There's a new card game like every year. Like, isn't there like one for, what is that one game? Pokemon or something.
It's really not an early
first push just fulfilled it. No stimulating the economy.
The reset just came through for Faker though, and he doesn't finish the Rod of Ages. He actually ends up buying a tier instead of trying to finish it off. So I think for T1, they're not really interested in going for this dragon right now. They're more than happy to let it scale. And I think with that crab take, Kanavi should have just ticked over towards his Triforce. So unless T1 can find a pick before this Dragon happens, it looks like top esports should be able to come back into the map.
You can add your cards to your digital collection, which lets you order multiple copies, and you can trade your digital cards with other people, and then order your physical cards for the ones you trade for. Interesting.
In a bit of an odd position here as they kind of fight with Faker for that mid control. Varus has to be careful, but he's pretty
Yeah, there's like a billion new card games. Like, that's a big issue. There's a huge oversaturation in the card game market because other companies are realizing that, like, there's a market for TCG.
As of right now.
You can see
And so, with them taking notice to a marketing it leads a bunch of companies to feel like they need to catch up with, like, MTG and stuff, because, like, MTG has been around for years, and they're like, wow, they're doing really big collabs. Well, why don't we just make our own card game? Yeah, we'll do that, and then people will come play our card game, and then it just results in a lot of card games that don't have the proper support.
Towards mid, force Jackie Love to give up priority on that mid wave.
You have proper allocation of products, you need a proper actual, you know, like, setup for organized play.
Very much.
And you need, like, a dedicated team for, like, proper game design and balance. It's a lot that goes into it, and, like, I feel kind of bad for anybody who, like, falls in love with some of these card games.
A lot of the conversation was about how AL need to pick up the pace of the game, because if you just let T1 run the map, that's where they seem to feel like the most comfortable. But top esports, they are the slower, more controlled LPL style of team. They like to play the map, and that's just kind of a given when you've got Kanavi as a jungler. That very methodical type of approach to the game, very much playing towards his strengths, and he's scaling up nicely on the Wukong now with the Trinity Force completed. He's looking to hover around top. He's cautious of that Rakan roam, and he will secure the Krugs as well. So overall,
yeah, that's the other thing, is they don't realize that even though there's a lot of card game players, it's very difficult to get card game players to try a new card game.
Execution coming through, Faker low. Cream bursts him down to 20%, but he cannot threaten a lethal situation. Still 45 seconds left until the Rift Herald spawns. Means Faker is going to have time to go back to the fountain, heal up, make a purchase, and then return to the topside river if T1 wants to fight.
The top esports really wanted to try and force the play, but with carrying that top side, the exhaust went down onto Kanavi to prevent him from going in, and also then having the charm to prevent anyone from following up meant that top esports knew it had kind of fallen apart, and they all
exactly, Ollie. Like, that's what made One Piece really popular, is that, like, One Piece and Lorcana are a lot of people's first ever card game. And because of that, you can basically, like, single the market on all these people who will give the game a try because of the IP. What all these other card games for games don't understand is that you need to be able to convert your audience to be those new players. Hello, Kwame.
Using the chains of corruption.
So it's like, that's why it's like, it's kind of interesting with Alestros, because Alestros kind of like, they all have their own card game, but they also draw a lot of audience from other card games. So it's kind of an interesting position for Alestros to be in. Disney adults, I know, right? Terrifying.
Go utterly uncontested. The Void Grubs earned by top esports because of their smart macro.
Yeah, so like that's the other strategy, is it's like how they do it with like new fighting games. Like, if you can push a lot into the competitive scene in the early years, you can at least have the game thrive for a year or two, because all the people are playing for like something big. Albeit it works less well for fighting games, because like, you don't get a lot of returns. Like, you sell a copy of the fighting game once, versus if you hook a whole like group of competitive players, you'll have them buying your product, like every set. You know?
As they gain a small lead for themselves.
And it's also really difficult for top esports to try and punch back. You try and go, hey, we're going to dive bot lane, and you're like, hey, that's a Mordekaiser, that's just...
And it also helps that Disney already has a very dedicated audience for collecting.
And you already have owner on that side of the map, so top esports kind of just clear out the waves and do nothing.
Wait, why did Wolf on their tactics?
Faker still has flash.
Yeah, Faker gonna drop that shockwave.
We'll make sure no one else on the internet knows.
Again, trying to play as aggressively as possible on this Akali. Last time he had the ulti, he spent it on Faker. This time he does the same. Redemption coming in to try to keep Faker alive. Kanavi has to back away after the redemption. Heals the enemy mid laner. Keria supporting Faker from a long way away. Stops the dive.
Top esports
Yeah,
starting to
exactly.
get a
You need
little
to
bit
be
more
able to
active on
keep
the
like an
map, setting their
actual like
sights onto
recurring
Faker, but
audience.
he weathers the pressure well. T1 there.
That's why,
support
like,
him
so
when he
MTG
needs it.
already has
Doran
such
now
a
taking
big
over the top
established
waves. He looks
audience
to
that they can
chip
get away
away
with
at
doing
that
these
top
little
tower.
collabs with like the
Exactly,
secret
and he's
lair
got
stuff.
his Riftmaker
Because they're
online
short
finally.
run.
In that
It will
head-to-head,
get
he
people
went
into the
straight for
game,
tier
and if
2
any of
boost
those
to
people
play
who
his
buy
skill
it because
caps
they
at the very
like those
beginning, and
IPs
it meant that
actually
he's
enjoy the
been pretty
game,
far
you could
behind in terms
you
of
can
that first
streamline them
hidden
into
item
other
completion,
parts of
and that's why
MTG.
369
Otherwise, like,
control
you're
that
just
he
still
did in
selling
the
product
head-to-head.
to
Now Doran with that
an
first big item,
established
getting
fan
a lot
base
stronger.
that, like, you know, you
Plan
expect a
for
level
top
of
esports
difference.
continuously has been attack the other solo laner and Faker, but
But it's
they
just like a
really want to
completely
get
new
that
COD
flash
game.
out,
It's
but every
really
time
hard to get
Faker's Konami
established,
tried
even
to
for
shot
something
play,
like
and now coming in
Bondi or
towards this next
Bushy World,
dragon,
which they're like
Faker
pushing out
still
new
has that
COD games
flash,
all the
which
time.
makes
Like,
him not a
look at
target
Union
for
Arena.
this
No
Konami
one
free
talks
combo,
about
and
Union
it's just been
Arena.
that patience with him on the potential flash.
They'll pay for a
that is
Socrates
netting
deck, big
nothing
blame.
for top esports.
Exactly.
Also
Exactly.
seeing the
Big blame
rotation
energy. Big
begin
blame play.
from Doran. He's navigating his way around the vision that Top Esports have set up on the top side of the map, which means that should he find a flank, it means that Top Esports won't be aware of his position as they get closer to the dragon.
Yeah, like long-term players don't enjoy it,
should be happening in mid
but they're hoping
over.
that, like,
T1
because
with
they
great
can net
position around
twice
that
as many
objective
short-term
again.
players, you
And
might get
considering how
long-term
slow they
players.
want to play this game,
Because at the end of the day, like, your audience will eventually die out.
Yep, I have been informed
Right?
that this is a TES pause, but I do not know exactly.
This is actually something that Pokemon does really well. So Pokemon has a TCG, but also I think for like the video game, the VCG,
because we
the
haven't really
VC,
had a big
you know,
fight yet in this
so
game.
something that Pokemon does really well is that because it's such a big IP, their competitive scene cycles and renews itself every couple of years. Like, you'll have some players who have been playing for a really long time, but they get so many new players that come in that you can essentially say that they like wiped their entire competitive roster clean and replace them with just new players.
Just use Kanavi's ultimate on that top side of the map.
Avatar
That's
has
still
you
on cooldown.
excited to play
The Orianna
standard,
ultimate is
unlike
about to come
Spider-Man.
back up, and Cream does have his
Me.
available, but lacking that key engage tool for Kanavi.
But like that's
really
the
makes this
benefit
fight
when you
difficult.
are
And I think
like
T1 are aware of it. They've already
an
established
established
themselves in that
COD game
bot
with a
side
huge
river.
IP
And
is
for
that
top
like
esports, you have to find a way
something
to
as
break the
evergreen as
poker.
Pokemon can
It's
afford
just
to
so
cycle new
difficult with no
players,
Kanavi.
and I think
I like
that's what
that.
MTG's trying
If this
to
was game
push.
5, this would be
Is I
very
think with all
tense,
these new
but because
secret
we're in
layers, they're
game
trying
1, it
to
feels
be
like the
able to
tension
start
hasn't
that
quite set
cycle
in.
of cycling
But
in.
we are ultimately building towards what could be the first fight and
It's
the
so expensive,
defining
it's not
fight
worth
of
it,
the entire
unfortunately.
game. If a single team can find a large enough lead in this fight that we're hoping to see soon, it could very well be the key that snowballs either comp.
I mean, I feel like we see this a lot, and I feel like we see it a lot particularly in game ones, where teams are just testing the waters a little bit, getting a feel for what the
Another
other
thing
side's
that
gonna do.
Pokemon like
Doing
does
it this
well, and I
very
don't know if it's the
slow-paced
company,
type of a game that only has
or
one
maybe
or
it's
two
the
big
market.
fights like you're talking about, but that just means the pressure is that
But
much.
usually the
If you're
competitive
saying it's not gonna
prices
be a
for like
10-fight
playable
game,
quads
well,
aren't
then you
too
better
pricey
play the
either.
one fight correctly.
I also think that both teams feel very locked in. You can see how aware they are of the movements on the map, but as we've entered this
Both
mid-game,
spending and
I
air
do
bending are
think that
so
T1's
good, they're
lane
going to take
assignments
over
have
every
just
deck. I
been
saw
that
a
much better.
post.
They've leveraged the
I saw
strength
a
of Orianna
post where like, what was it,
into
like a
Akali,
badger
while
mold or
also not
something was selling for like
isolating the
$40 or
Orianna.
something.
We've seen how Cream and
I don't know what that
tried not
means,
once,
but you know, it
twice
sounds like
to get
a
that
popular
flash out that
play.
Dagda was saying earlier, and both times that effort has been thwarted simply due to the presence of Keria with Doran TPing up towards the fight. And so because of that, they've played with their pressure well. They've
So I know they're doing a
controlled
technical
objectives,
pause.
and the moment that they did
Funny
punish Top
thing
Esports,
about
they
technical
immediately converted
pauses,
it into a herald.
there was
It's
a
either
kind of
way
a
off
time
your screen
in
that's
like
played
League
a
of
lot as
Legends
well.
like
When you have that
competitive
TP from Doran to the top side,
like
say, Faker,
history,
owner just
where
goes
people
down,
had
selects
to
the bot,
wonder
and
if
prevents 369
players were
being able to take the bot tower
intentionally
and getting
knocking
more
over
play for
water
themselves
in the
as well.
middle
So
of team
they're
fight.
constantly keeping all these moves in check.
In reality, it was
For
just
top
C9
esports are
Haunter
struggling
being
to
a
really break
bozo
them
and
open.
being really
And
clumsy.
as we start to move forward into this,
But that like
we've got
became like a
now,
running
ultimate
joke.
for the Wukong. It now does T1 just get another objective?
Which,
on the back of
like,
it,
I
then
feel like
starts
that's
to
a
get
little
towards
bit
the sweep.
disrespectful
That's
to
when
the
it starts to become a
competitive
little bit more
players. But the
difficult for
concept of the
TES.
joke is funny.
Doran
As a League of
to me
Legends
will
player, the
be
concept of the
difference-maker
joke is
in these
funny.
fights.
I think from
Because as
a
we've discussed
spectator
at
and
length,
somebody who
the
does
engage
participate
is
in
quite
competitive play
not as
in
clear
games
cut
is really
as we would
disrespectful
traditionally
to
see
players.
with
But like the
something like a
concept is
Dawn
really
or a
funny. It's
Rell
like, oh wait,
or
we're
a
losing a
Forest,
team fight.
because
Someone knock
not
over
only
the
need to
wall.
not only only find a flank, but he will be the
And then they have to
on
pause
the
to
back
clean
line
up the
that Cream
water,
will be
otherwise it's
relying
going to
on
affect the
find access on the
equipment.
Akali. Meanwhile, Jackulov and Hung will
You
be
spent
working
$50 on
together
a
to
Rogue
deal
deck
with
for
whatever
Pokemon,
threat
it would
is
be like
coming their way,
$90. And then like,
Faker's
yeah,
top
like
wave
from
that's going to be ever
the
present
perspective
in the
of
team
like
fight. So who does
a
Doran
casual
remove in
player,
these fights to turn it into a
that's
4v4
very appealing.
for T1? But now we're back in the action.
I think
We're
the
back on
average
the
person
Dragon,
like who isn't
and
like a
given the
dedicated
positioning,
quad
Top
game
Esports is
player,
not
a
easy for them to
gacha
contest.
gamer, or
Ignore
maybe
the
someone
bottom
who
of your screen.
spends
Kanavi does not
$100
have
on
his
League of
ultimate up and
Legends
available.
skins,
It
a
is still
$50
a little bit
investment
away,
for a good deck
which is
sounds
why
very
Top
reasonable.
Esports there didn't really want to try and
Yeah,
contest.
the EU.
So it looks like for T1 again, another dragon. Now the feats, they're in a
That
great
was
spot.
so
And
silly.
it's exactly what we were talking about back in the draft. Kanavi is the engage. Yes, you get the extra speed, you get the extra lane control when you draft this Karma for the support position, but it means that if Kanavi doesn't have the ultimate, the way into the fight is so much more difficult. But it looks like Top Esports are going to go for some push onto the bot lane tier 1.
Okay,
I
so
do
Top Esports
really
with a
like
little bit of
the
pressure for
Varus
themselves,
Lacan
but again,
bot
we
lane
talked about
matchup.
it earlier. See how T1 is doing a great job of protecting.
It makes a lot of
They
sense when like
refuse
you
to
can
leave this Orianna
Rakan knock
isolated,
up to lay
because that
up
is the key
into the
target
or
that Top
Rakan
Esports is
ultimate to
trying
lay up
to find
into the
momentum
Varus.
off of.
But it's
I think
no
it does
target you should
provide
really go
Varus
for,
something
right?
that
Lumen
like
just
he
sits
really
in
does
mid
need,
waves,
which is a
shoots down
decent
the
amount of
wave in one
heal.
go and it's like, all right, well, you're not getting anywhere close to me. Doran is just able to
Like I
light
didn't
up all of the
consider
objectives
like
apart from one.
Rakan's a
So for
decent
Top
support, but
Esports,
when you
it's
think of
really
like heal,
difficult
you
to
usually
find
think of
plays
other
anywhere on the map.
supports.
And it's this slow burn
Right.
now of T1.
Yeah, there's a
just
couple
trying to
other
stop
supports you
dragons,
could
keeping
play
the
that
peace,
heal
and they're
potentially
slowly
more.
getting to
But when I
whittle
first
away
saw
at some of
Varus
these,
with content, I'm
turrets
like,
as
you know
well.
what,
So
this makes a
for
lot of
Top
sense.
Esports,
Like this is
it needs to be
they're
better
cooking
map
like
play,
that.
getting
That's
to the
smart as
objective first, forcing T1 to
I'm gonna
actually
keep
try and brute force their way in with a lack of vision that opens up these flank opportunities for Kanavi and for Cream.
And Top Esports' map play did earn them those first 3 grubs of the game that we saw.
So why
back
is
at
the
start of things,
Badgermole the
but
best
the 3
squad in
crucial
this set?
objectives since then have gone
Tell
the
me
way
about
of
that.
T1.
What's
They
with
have
this
the field
Badgermole?
monster slaying. We're still only 1 kill in 19.5 minutes into the game, so that feat not claimed by either side, but you do see some damage onto the turrets in the side lanes for both squads, so that means also, after we have one of these big fights, it's probably first turret right after.
The funny thing to me is that we're only at 16 petals for the whole game. 14, my mistake. 8 plus, well, now 7, as the Otacon 10 seconds away.
All right,
Oh my
Otacon
god,
top
that is
side
now.
in this one. There's also still the Rift Herald in the inventory of Owner. That could also be used to force down one of these tier 1 turrets if that's the play they want to make. You can see T1. They're not gonna
Understood.
start
So
up
it
the Otacon
ramps.
immediately,
Alright.
but they do still have Carrier up in this area just to make sure that they're maintaining vision control. He's going to go ahead and take his recall. Again, Faker swaps back in the matchup with
Now I don't play
Doran
MTG, but I
versus
can understand the
369 just
concept of
continues
ramping.
being what this top lane battle always is.
Yeah, if the Otacon is started up, you need to be a little careful. There's a nice ward, actually. Okay, that's a very big circle. In behind the
Yeah,
blue
that's a
buff
very
of,
big
T1,
circle. So
and that
true.
is something that 369 can look to try and
It affects
create a
normal
flank
dorks
opportunity
in
for
any
themselves.
Earth-bent lands that
TP now
become
towards the mid lane, trying to keep this mid terra safe.
Exactly. They summoned up the Herald. That Herald should guarantee
That sounds
that
like
they're
an
going to be
interesting
able to at least get
concept.
the
Is this
first
a new
turret.
concept
Looks like
only
summoned up
in
mid lane.
with
It
Earth
cannot
bending?
guarantee that
Or does
much
that
damage,
exist
but they
before?
just
Again, I don't know about
get it for free.
MTG, but the
Kanavi
concept of
being
putting a
able to
land
jump in
into a
there
creature
onto
sounds
that tier
interesting.
1 with the Wukong, with the Trinity Force. So Herald
Is this a
charges,
new like
solves about
mechanic,
2/3
or
of that
are there
turret.
similar
82
stuff in the
minutes on our
past
next
where
Drake.
mana would become
Otacon
key?
is alive. Turrets, low health, legitimately everywhere.
It's new?
And that bottom lane head-to-head,
Ooh.
you saw 369 again winning out in that, as he has
It's a
Jack Show now
forest
fully
that's a
completed.
1/1
Still only
fight.
one major item for Doran.
But that sounds like a very
Jackie
unique
Love
mechanic. Like I've never
is someone
played
I can tell is
MTG, but just
about
hearing that alone
200,
sounds like an
250
extremely
gold
unique
off that
mechanic.
infinity edge that he is working towards. A nice item spike as Cream goes
I
in.
might check
Here we
out
go
that.
once more. Faker trying to
Thank you.
protect himself from Cream. As the perfect execution, once again, just not enough damage to really
So
pose
is
the
it
threat,
dork
and Faker doesn't
affectionate
have
or
to spend
dork
Shockwave on
derogatory?
that one.
But now
Like, is this
TP could be used
positive
by Faker to
connotation
try and get
dork
back
or
in.
negative?
Shockwave now used.
There it is, right on top
A
of
good
Carrier, who
dork, a
comes in
bad
to
dork,
reinforce the
obnoxious
T1
dork.
mid laner. The quickness
Okay,
comes
there's a
out,
flash
and
on
the
the phone.
flash forced from
Mana dork is
Cream.
just neutral term, neutral.
He's still got protection here, though, in the top side. Kanavi
My
having to
bad,
over the
chat,
wall
my bad. I
to make sure
forgot
that
you
he
could
can
be
try and escape,
neutral.
but T1 putting pressure on this top side, and you've got that TP from Faker to come back out onto this top side.
There's a
With
Shia
Kanavi
as
on low
well that
HP
turns
and Akali
creatures into
with no
forest
ult.
man.
Maybe that's
A
an
guy
icon
who makes
area that
mana
T1
is
are
what a
looking at.
dork
T1
is.
are
Interesting.
controlling this Akali so well.
Where can I find
giving
myself
such
a
few opportunities.
I need a
and Cream,
guy
I
that
think his
spawns
goal, though,
me
was
mana.
simply a chunk. get a nice trade.
Mana Dork is always something good in chat. Where do I find myself? You know what? Maybe that's what I needed. That's what I've needed all this time.
The supporting staff of T1
If y'all know, when it comes to romance, they're very middle down the road. I love my wife, don't get me wrong. I love women.
In his place. Nice advantage being built.
You will rarely hear me make this statement. I am occasionally attracted to men. They usually have to be really good at card games. Well, that's my new standard. My old standard wasn't that, and I think it was a mistake. It was a mistake, chat. Never date League of Legends players. Biggest mistake of your life. Anyways. Well, perhaps I need a dwarf now. Who's gonna spawn me mana? Clearly, the theory works out. It's the best quad in the game.
As T1 gets the better side of the trade.
So Top Esports tried to punish the positioning of Carrier, but it's they who is punished on the other side. And now T1
Spider Manifestation. I don't know if I'm looking into, you know, arachnid. Though I will say, technically, it's a big overlap with arachnids and infestation.
And that was really what they wanted. So now Top Esports gonna have to try and break into this, but it looks like it's gone.
Yeah, T1 just going to go ahead and secure themselves soul point on a Cloud Soul Rift. Another uncontested.
That sounds like a Skyfall.
I mean, immaculate control coming through from T1.
And or 3 very beautiful.
On the other side might be able to secure first tower for themselves, as 369 will be left alone to hit away on this tower. So hey, a feat of warfare contributed. Now the question is, gentlemen, will in this game we reach 3 kills? Because so far,
will we reach 3 kills in this game? That's a good question, chat.
I don't even know what the division is, but I'm telling you, the kills per minute is awfully low.
It's not looking particularly hot.
Not great.
Yeah, will we hit 3 kills in this game? There was only 1 kill on the board. This is the most Korean game I've seen in a hot minute. This is the most, like, textbook Korean League of Legends game. In Korean League of Legends games, nothing happens for like 30 minutes. And then everything happens in the span of 5 minutes.
Like, Owner loves playing the Xin Zhao because he knows how hyper aggressive he can go. Burning that ultimate.
The most serious question you've ever heard. You don't play League of Legends, right? Look, it's fine if people used to play League of Legends. That's like a rite of passage for certain games.
As the turret falls, Owner, audacious charge right in after him. A little bit of
Ladies, I don't mean to brag, but I've never played League of Legends. For me, that's such a green flag in these modern times.
In the middle lane, Faker. The Rod of Ages fully stacked. His Seraphs has been completed.
I remember I was talking to one of my girlies one time.
On the Orianna as well. The highest level in the game.
And she was talking about how she's like, I don't know.
For T1 here in game 1.
And when did becoming Yu-Gi-Oh! When did playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Become a red flag? She said this a couple years back, and I'm like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, well, I don't know. All the guys I've ever been with that play Yu-Gi-Oh! Were like really bad. And I'm like,
Konami's the only one continuing to tank the Otacon because they do not want the debuff on everybody else on top.
And then I told her I couldn't weigh my opinion on that topic because I play League of Legends.
Looking for something here. It's Doran jumped on immediately. However, he's into the death realm. He's going after Konami.
Ooh, the death realm.
The enemy jungler, Top Esports. They're trying to get him away. But
oh no, Doran!
Quick, this begins.
He's in the hexagon. Whoa.
Their jungler. They're about to lose their
Yu-Gi-Oh! So I had to look at her and I'm like, I understand your logic because I think a lot of card game players are probably like very toxic and don't have a lot of hygiene. But also like, I just had to sit there and be like,
Kanavi is given no position, no purchase as Doran
anyway,
isolates in the death realm, and after taking
it's the best card game for you. What's the best card game for you?
T1 will turn their attention towards the Baron.
Betty, as you talked about the value of one fight, and this is the fight they want.
And it's because Doran just rips Kanavi out of existence that makes it so easy. That Engage is gone. Jackie Love and Hong can't actually get into the fight.
So there's the second kill of the game in that fight.
Has caught Cream.
Ooh, this might be, what is this, like the 3rd kill of the game or something? No. Oh my god, we already hit 3 kills in the game, chat. Oh my god, it's going crazy. It's going nuts.
Played with great patience,
oh,
they leveraged their range,
and
again, this pick from Mordekaiser doing very much as we expected. The question was, would he remove Kanavi
I
or
totally
Cream,
don't
but that
blame her
decision
though.
was
Like
made
if
so
she
simple for
forms
him.
an
The
opinion
moment he
based
saw
off
that
of
Wukong try to
individuals she's
engage.
interacted
And
with,
Flower, as you highlighted in the
capacity,
fight, to add insult to injury, the
it is
second
somewhat
Kanavi comes
telling.
out of the fight,
It is somewhat
there's the
telling of the
confidence, charming him up,
overarching archetype
isolating
of
him
certain
to allow
individuals.
for Faker
So
to
I will
secure the
say
kill.
that is a
You
case
just sit
by
on
case.
top of the little Christmas light and
F1
press
I met when
R
I
as soon
started
as it
playing
returns
Yu-Gi-Oh!
to
has
a
been
champion.
great.
Well played there from T1.
But also, everyone I meet playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
My
tends to
friends,
be from
we have 45 seconds left until the
TwitchTV.com.
Cloud Soul spawns.
Usually slash
Long in some
Twitch or
danger here, has to flash
TwitchTV.
away.
Or
Carry ready to go
Ration.
after him again with the quickness, speed of warfare.
Oh, Maple
27
underscore
minutes by
Tussle.
T1, and they are just
I don't
barreling
know.
down
Maybe
the
I'm
bottom
really
lane.
biased.
Gumayushi gonna
Because
get
who's
hit by
as great
Redemption,
as my
but no!
team?
Cream's already got the assassination. He dies in response as Kanavi continues spinning forward, looking for a little bit more.
One Piece is a pretty fun game. I think it's really easy to get into. The speed of the game has really increased. So in set 5, or was it set 6? It might have been set 6. Basically, come out set 5 or 6. They essentially printed the entire
Top
series.
Esports threw the Hail Mary, and it was so close to looking good, but intercepted at the last second. And now it's T1 with members on the map that will secure the Cloud Soul, although there's a little bit of a spot here.
Yeah,
Oh no, don't try to 2v1 the Mordekaiser. Oh god.
Hong into the Death Realm instead. You will not be able to catch back up to the Karma to guarantee the kill, but now it's Faker joining up with his top laner for the extra damage.
Ooh, Faker Mordekaiser, I mean, I said Faker Mordekaiser. Oriana Mordekaiser is a scary.
But the entire time, it
Very
was
scary.
owner on the Drake. There's your MasterCard priceless moment.
One Piece is definitely a
29 minutes into the
tempo
game.
game.
T1 got all 4 Drakes uncontested.
It's
They got a little
interesting.
scary for T1 on the bot side of the map.
It
felt
plays like
the
a lot of
Dracula
fun.
had really woken
If
up
you
in
ever
this
played
game,
a
but
Bondi
Kanavi
game,
once again
it's very
isolated.
cool.
Shockwave.
Shockwave from Faker to burst down the enemy jungler. Kanavi has never found his angles in this game after that first
Imagine
blood.
not
Cream
finding
of the
your
wall
angles.
wants something. They'll
Angles.
give him a burial. Gumayushi with the kill. 9-3 for T1. Everything Top Esports tried early.
I just want to say that in like the past 5 minutes, they've like not tripled but quadrupled the amount of kills that have existed in the game.
To escape some of the damage. He's the only one alive for a game that had 1 kill at 24 minutes. T1 are about to end it. 30 minutes in. Respawns are not
It's
even
over,
here.
enemy team.
369's the
I
only
already
left,
portrayed
and they
myself as
wanna try
Big
to bring
Two.
out the ace on the way out. T1.
And you
It
as the
was a
arm
slow
pushing move.
burn, but it's Top Esports being put to the fire.
So chat, if y'all
T1
don't know
just
League of
grab the
Legends,
stats and take game
this is
one.
the most like, chat, look, it's us, we're recommended. Look, chat, it's us. That's me. That's me, Sansely. Why does it say only 2 people are watching? Look, it's my wife, chat. Look, it's my wife. I love her so much. Who in the Ava Max are the rest of these people? It's Faker. Look, chat, it's Faker.
Build a website you love with Wix.
Oh, I do that.
For your words,
I started my first
Oh my
business in the
gosh, we have
restaurant
double
factory
ass.
30 years ago. We had no heat and no air.
I'm sorry, over 30 years ago you had no heat.
Piloting this very Corki, and there at one point was over a 6,000
Anywho, that was the most like
gold difference
LCK game ever, chat.
Absolutely.
Nothing
And we'll
happened
see
for
if
like
we can look
30
to have a
minutes.
very similar
And then in the last
performance
30,
because
like, in the last like
Top Esports
5
game
minutes,
one,
everything happened.
very convincing fashion in favor of T1. They're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
have to
Faker has
show
a
us
very
lot
good win
more in
rate on
game two
Oriana.
to show us that they can go toe-to-toe.
Oriana is one of the champions in the game with the
we're
highest
on the rim
potential
for
skill.
game number 2 in this best of 5. Remember, log into your Riot account right now on
He
wallesports.com
has great
and
positioning,
watch
knows
World
exactly how to
Finals,
play his
exclusive
control
Worlds
mid,
emotes,
and he can use it
icons,
to save his
capsules,
allies.
all kinds of cool stuff. But for Top Esports,
Wanda
the
deal.
only
Well,
thing
I don't
they
have an
want to
orc
earn
point.
is a tied series. After an underwhelming first game, it's T1 who are
In the last 5 minutes, the Fire Nation attack. Yeah, that's like the most like Korean gameplay ever. Nothing happens for like 20, 30 minutes, and in the last 5 minutes, like, bam, one team just wins. I don't know.
very comfortably. This time
Or
around,
both
top
teams get an
esports
ace and then they
side lane
stab at
threat,
each
they
other
have
for
some good
5 more
collapses.
minutes. And then
Really,
BAM!
like,
Someone steals the
I'm curious as
Baron.
to how they're gonna
And then they
navigate their
lose the
way through
game.
the
And
early
then
game,
that's
because
all
I
that
think on
happens. It's like 2 team
mid lane
fights.
is not an easy lane to play for. That Camille is probably
Two
your
team
easiest
fight.
avenue of attack, but you've also
But they
drafted
might
yourself a
steal
core
the
Inami
Baron.
lane that I imagine you want to try and invest some resources into, given that you are running a
No,
more of
she's
an
a very
aggressive
good
bot lane
character.
duo. And you can already
Especially
see
in
Hunt
this
and
meta, in a
Jackie
very
Love
boozer heavy
posturing
meta.
far
Oriana
up
sees a
in the
lot of
bottom
play
lane,
because she's
looking
able
for
to
an early
both
trade.
kill her
Yeah, I think
allies,
where you
apply
wanna try and
solid
play this
DLT
bottom lane is
early,
to use the
and also
slowing
position
ability
herself well.
of the Nami to just make things really uncomfortable for Keria. And if you can end up enabling that to close that gap for the Trundle, Keria's going to have to invest a flash, you have to
Gonna
kill her for
continue to
after,
eat.
and that's the way you're going to look to try
And
take
hopefully by the
bottom
top
side
of the
map.
hour,
If
I can
T1 are
squat
able
you.
to alleviate a lot of that pressure by having Jarvan match or making sure that you're able to keep some of these early summoner spells, which are already double burned on the bottom side, that's where that T1 can try and keep themselves safe.
What's on the menu?
Skills spent by both supports.
I got
The
some
barrier
chicken
there
and I
from
got some
Gumayusi.
soup.
Everybody
Nice.
just wanting to get spicy here at level 1 in the bottom lane. Worth noting, junglers are
Like a
starting on
vegetable
opposite
soup.
sides here in this one too.
In game 1, it really was Faker's story, as he really just survived the pressure. Jackie Love, though, looking to make game 2 about him. Level 2 spikes up, forced to use the barrier as the tower shot comes through, though.
Now, I'm
Gets punished
biased
for that
towards
aggression.
Jackie Love,
Does
but
get the flash out of Keria.
unfortunately, T1 is a
But
very,
it's playmaking
very,
from
very
T1.
difficult
Owner and
force.
Faker already starting to move through. Owner wants to slip in behind. Hasn't gone towards his top side. They should be pinging at the ward. You can see it there going, where the hell's the Jarvan? So top esports back away in the bottom side. They know
They
something's
ping the
up.
brush.
Okay, Owner still hanging around for now. Kanavi, though, has secured his red buff. Jarvan does not win against Trundle in those 1v1s, so Owner's going to walk away.
Great understanding from
Trundle
top
is a
esports
really
there.
interesting
Bounce the jungle
pick.
timing
He's actually
from
one
the
of my
Jarvan.
favorite
You can see they had a
boosters.
ward that just died on the Raptors.
There was a
on the
time
top
in the
side.
game
Owner
where
never
every
showed.
3 minutes with
So know
Blade
that
of the
something
Room
has to be up.
came
And
up,
now it's
you
kind
could
of a reverse
one-shot
game
one
one,
person in the
whereas
game,
top esports are going
and then you would
big
wait 3
and start to
minutes,
fall a little bit
and then you
behind
would
on
do it
tempo
again.
when it comes to the jungle. And
It
now
was
it's actually Kanavi who
spectacular.
has that advantage.
And now this leaves the bot lane very exposed, an opportunity for a gank. Gumayusi has to invest the ward, and he's going to do that just now. Good awareness from T1, investing that early vision to spot out where Kanavi was. Owner will see him earlier on the red buff, and now this bot lane should feel safer with that vision to push out that wave underneath the tower as their jungler is on the top side of the map.
Yeah, there's so much vision on this bottom side. Oh, he flashed over the wall. Kanavi flashed over to avoid the vision.
One of my other
and is now
favorite
gonna come
things
in
was
onto the bot lane.
This could be a big
So there's a
payoff
champion
for
called
top
Poppy.
esports.
She got
Gumayusi
reworked
and
like
Keria
several
backing
years
away,
back.
though. So
She used to have an
Kanavi,
ultimate
despite
that made
trying
it
to
that
get
she would
creative
become
there with the
invincible to
angle
damage except
for
for
the
one
flash,
push.
He's spotted.
Yet that ward in the river does end up
So you would
spawning
throw
him.
it on their
Commitment
support,
of
which
the
usually
flash
tended to be the
ends up not
lowest
paying
damage
off.
character
I
on their
think
team,
Jackie Love
and then you would
Arms
beat
gave
on the
play
80
away as they
carry.
tried to move up, set up for the corresponding gank.
Or you would throw it on the ADC,
Now,
and the ADC would say, "Oh God, I don't have enough damage for this pet
Flash already
puppy."
spent earlier, and he is not afraid. Nice tangle barb there into the blooming burst means it's actually Jackie Love that takes the worst of the attempt.
You can see they've already swapped their lanes now as well, but Gumayusi move up to the top side. The interrupt, not quite there. Doran trying to get that ward in the brush to give him that extended hook shot. But now, again, it just already we're seeing how much pressure top esports want to try and put onto this game. They couldn't really find much in the last one, but so many plays already invested into that bot lane.
Oh yeah, if they ever made her good, it would definitely be over.
Baker just trying to...
My other favorite was like old Yorick. New Yorick is still strong, don't get me wrong. I love the concept of the maiden.
She just continues farming on this
But,
concept.
like,
Does have a nice little lead
old
over
Yorick
Jackie
was
Love on the board,
hilarious.
but there is some extra minions for Jackie to pick.
Because no one
Actually,
knew
even
what
as this
Yorick
wave ends up
did.
crashing through, and top esports end up
So if you
passing
ever saw a
on the
Yorick
map.
main, you knew
Already
you
the
would do.
game plan from T1 is we want to avoid this.
Oh yeah,
map.
it did
is
take half a man.
so difficult to play against Scream. Gets the lockdown, can have in the area, but they don't want to go for it. Again, like Jackie Love and Hong should be able to
Old
punish in this
Aatrox
matchup.
returning.
So as long as
Really?
Gumayusi and Keria are able to push in a wave and then reset, they should be good. But here we go, top lane again.
Okay, you can see real Gumayusi and fake Gumayusi both hanging around, and there's just the power of this Nico, man. Whether this champion is engaging from stealth for a team fight, whether it's checking vision with the clone, whether it's tanking turrets with the cannon, it provides so much unique utility that no other support does.
I just love that both teams are doing an excellent job of reading their enemy junglers' movements. They're making
I
it
will
very
say, I think this is
difficult
going to be
for both
another
Owner
like
and
20-minute
Kanavi
game
to
when nothing
find early
happens.
ganks. I'm impressed that Owner has actually managed to accrue a CS
There's a new
lead.
door. Oh
Getting
wait,
an
did
early
they
goal.
really? Did they
Santon on
reveal
side of the
this?
map really
Is this
should
the
have cost them
5th or
lot,
the
but
6th
he's been
door?
able to bounce back to
So
great
for those
effect.
of y'all not
Because
familiar
you
with
end up
League of
seeing
Legends
that
lore, there is a
Kanavi used all
type
that time
of
to gank bot lane,
creature
attempted to gank top,
entity
whereas
in
Spot comes to
this
spawn,
world
and
called
then Kanavi
Dolphin.
behind two
And there's only
starts
like
to move
5 or
into
6
the
of them
bottom
in
side of the map.
existence.
But that was a big
For most of
blow
the
of damage
games
onto
won,
his
we
jacket
were
on the
aware
top
of
side, and
about,
that's
I think,
exactly where
3
Owner
of
is.
them
Yeah,
until the
Owner,
release
level
of
6,
King.
Cataclysm at the ready. Gumayusi and Kyria are both injured.
It was
however.
originally there
We'll
was
see if they want to
Varus,
keep looking for a little bit more
H4.
because Faker is also here with a hero's entrance.
Varus,
The
H4,
Jarvan Galio Wombo
sure,
combo
and
could be exactly
I
what
know who the
T1 wants. There are no teleports ready on the top esports side to try to reinforce this.
Varus,
Hong's gonna be in some danger.
H4.
Hero's
Oh,
entrance is
Bran.
first blood over to Faker.
Bran was also a
And it's
dog.
2 for
I don't know if
nothing,
they like
T1.
changed
Clean
that one or not.
execution from T1 as they shut down the bottom lane. No room for escape
And then they showed off
whatsoever.
King.
Kanavi spotted that entire time on the Dragon, makes the play look smooth as
Which
T1 go 2-0 up.
King is
Cream
a
even
dog.
invested the realm warp to try and get up there as well, try and follow
T1 has a
Faker,
scaling
who
comp,
was just
has
that
a
little bit
tempo
too far
scaling
behind.
Yeah, it's gonna be another
T1
30-minute game.
having
Like,
a
you know,
masterclass in these early games of tracking the enemy jungler.
I will
and
say
making
that,
sure
like,
they
I
just
love
cannot do
Faker on
anything.
Galio.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Interact
No,
Podcast.
I don't
My
want to
name is
be
Josh
back
Hamm,
to the
co-founder and
Interact
CEO
pod.
at
I was
Interact.
never here.
You see here, as we get in towards the play, it's
Plus,
very late
second
roam
place,
from Cream, and top esports
Wallace,
already know
Kane,
they're in
and
trouble,
the
but they try
Fury.
to
Oh,
send
that's right, the
anyway,
dog!
Jackie Look
The
even
dog!
affecting the
What the
flash at the end
dog
here
doing?
to
I
try
forgot
and
they added
escape,
the
but
dog.
there's so much damage in the early stages of the game. The tanking is spectacular, and there's nothing
dog.
top esports can do to cover.
Is that champ
Very
even
well
good?
done by T1 as they take an early lead here in
Isn't
game
it a
2.
girl? Isn't the Fury a girl?
Top esports.
I could be wrong. I thought the Fury was
Still
a
with the
girl.
LPL. We're hoping to see more from them in this game.
Maybe
But
Dawkins don't
the
have gender.
composition that T1 have drafted, like, I'm still struggling to see their kind of avenue of attack.
Okay.
Especially as we get closer to these big fights that we're expecting.
Yeah, put respect
T1's
on that
composition
queen's
very
name.
much wants
Bow
to do
wow.
the same thing, and I feel like the top esports are kind of forced to just hit the target that's in front of them. But
But
there will
read
be many
the
targets
title,
in
this
front
never
of them,
claimed
and
it.
they will be coming from every which
Oh, I
way,
see.
especially with a Camille and a Kai'Sa at their back, looking to navigate their way through whatever angle they have available to them.
Well, the angle for top esports right now is neutral objectives. They did get the first Drake after the play made from T1 earlier there underneath that tier 1 turret top
Overtuned or
side.
undertuned?
And now,
Interesting.
once more, it's going to be top esports claiming all 3 grubs, just like in game number 1. So the kills and the gold.
I think
may
some of my
belong
favorite,
to
like,
T1,
off
but it's
meta,
top
like,
esports keeping
meta
themselves relevant with control over
discoveries
Yeah,
were
I mean, there,
AD
T1 just
literally
don't have the
top, where you
ultimates
would
they needed.
steal the
Faker
red
not
buff
having
from your
his owners
jungle.
is just only back off cooldown, and
APS
Cream
real
now is mid lane.
jungle.
Yeah, Cream gets cataclysmed, forced to flash immediately, does not want to lose any
Donga
XP on that
jungle.
one. There's no way you don't.
Donga jungle was
stay
hilarious.
inside
That was so
terrain,
funny.
So Cream now vulnerable on the rise.
You know, Flowers, as a Skarner main, you're very familiar with junglers.
I do think the
expecting
concept of
attacks as a result
Alistar
of their
jungle was
impact on the
awesome.
game. In
Yeah.
the past, it used to be the QSS tax.
I like
Playing
the
against Skarner.
there was a
It's the
strategy
flash
where
tax
you
when
had
playing
a
against the
support
Jarvan.
That's
character.
expensive tax
Oh,
there.
it certainly is, and that's why he is so successful in the latter
Like,
half.
it was
of the
either
World
top or
Championship. It's so easy
jungle
for him to
with
walk into a
Master
lane,
Yi
throw that
jungle or
ultimate
top.
down as
I think
Jackie
it was
Love
it was
from
probably
against Faker.
I love that
That's
from
probably
Jackie.
you.
He goes in for the Valkyrie to block the Justice Punch from Faker. Now Faker's trying to get away here on the Galio, shielded Duran for a little bit of extra durability. But
Ooh, I don't know what that dragon
Gets his
was.
shot.
How interesting.
Faker wasn't ready, but here we go.
369, public
Normal
execution
Deuce was
once gets
him
named
into
onto
Demi,
Doran, who
right?
uses the
And then
Hextech
went
ultimatum
down.
defensively back against him. Keria comes in for the pop blossom, but he only finds Kanavi. Now Owner's showing up, but Cream reinforces here with the Realm Warp. Gumayusi ready to back up his team. Both sides commit a lot, and both sides decide it's not worth anymore.
Signs of life from top esports, and it's Jackie.
I gotta lock
that
in. I gotta lock in. We gotta
reignite that fire.
finish eating so we
Skirmish
can
on the
start
bot
doing
side
it.
ultimately fizzles because top esports realize that they're at a numbers disadvantage. By backing away from the play, they know that Jackie Love can secure some plates on the top side of the map and get some gold back for top esports.
Again, just punishing the fact that Faker had no flash, and this Nami slow is so painful to deal with for anyone that tries to waddle away. So nice job by top esports to find something back, and also to escape on that bottom side, because that looked dicey for a second.
Oh, it absolutely did. Dragon now in a minute and 20 seconds. These first items are nearing their completion. I imagine across the board, both sides will reach those spikes ahead of that dragon spawn. I wonder if Top Esports will look for a fight, but I mean, it's a bit of a creative way to find a pick because I expected things like the Rise ultimate, as we saw being used towards the bot side of the map. That's the way in which I envision.
Oh, I'm a voracious eater. I'm a voracious eater. When y'all see me eat on stream, I'm very yeah, when y'all see me eat on stream, I'm very polite.
And this is another thing that
And then
T1
the
have to be
food
mindful
disappears
of.
from the
As
camera.
long as Faker
Yeah,
is sitting on the top side of the map, he can't really impact the
Oh,
bot
very
side with
voracious
his
eater.
ultimate. So he does now have the TP available. He can look to join the fray. But
You're talking to the gal who can eat 12
toe-to-toe with Doran
donuts in one
1v1.
sitting.
With this
Please
dragon
don't
down
make me
35
eat any more
seconds, I am
donuts.
curious what this potential fight is going to look like as well, because you've got no flash on Keria, which is so crucial for finding these big pop blossoms, but also how much value can 369 get out of this Ambessa? Because in theory, T1 are all jumping in on top of you, so you're not really going to find an isolated target, even if he ends up jumping on towards
Yeah, I could have watched my health in
Gumayushi
it.
just
Maybe
ults
my
to the
weight
other
is
side of the
low.
fight and keeps himself safe. So I really am curious how Top Esports are going to get value from this Ambessa throughout these next few engages.
Oh, they've not tested my limit.
On that Drake.
When I was younger and a lot more active, I could eat a lot more.
Extremely worried about here on the Trundle.
Not as much though,
Owner
not as
throws
much.
the flag in the pit, but now here in the bottom lane, 369 and Doran continue scrapping as we continue to see 369 coming out.
My
on top.
metabolism is not what it
Completed
used to
for
be. That's all I'm
Jackie
gonna
Love.
say.
It's a massive point of power there for the Corki, but it doesn't look like he's arriving to the Drake here in time just yet. Keria wants to get away. Nice use of the pillar there. Takes Keria low, and now Owner has to flash out. Flash bubble attempt. Not going to get anything back there from Hong. He misses that as Gumayushi now has to flash away too. It's a ton of damage coming in as Keria's already dead. Jackie low.
Ooh, chat. Kills before
It's
20
warfare claimed
minutes.
by T1, but Doran's got to try to continue getting away. 369 looking for an angle. Possibly. He goes to the public execution.
Ooh.
369. Damn, that's fine. He finds Gumayushi at the very edge of the fight.
369. Damn, that's fine. How long do you think that caster was waiting to use that like one line? How long do you think that caster's like, come on, 369, get the kill. I've been rehearsing this line all evening. Get the kill.
Equalizes the kill score as T1 walks away with the Dragon.
Sometimes
Their
Jackie
whole
Love
life
flashing in
needs-
can be a little spooky, but that was exactly what they needed there. But now 369, flashless, no ultimates, keeping this wave out from the tower.
Yeah, he wants to stop the minions
Wrote
from
that line a
arriving,
week
but Keria's
ago.
got the pop blossom, and it's a dog pile top lane. Vengeance for Gumayushi as T1 takes out the Ambessa, but the entire time, Cream getting the opportunity to put these Void Grubs
I
to
feel
work.
like we've been seeing this
They just keep
Ambessa
going for these
character a lot
picks, and
since
here,
he's still
Keria steps too far forward, hoping that he can get that pop blossom, but the follow-up from Hong means that everyone on T1 has to run away. And Jackie Love, knowing that he's
I
got his
think
chance here,
Gumayushi
flashing forward,
should
hoping to
have
finish off
backed
some of these low
up,
health bars,
like,
not
for
expecting
the...
Doran to come in.
Gumayushi used
all,
ult, and then stuck around enough to like Q to try to poke them back.
And eventually spots out 369
I don't know if maybe
and manages to
Guma
flash it
kept
onto
up
Gumayushi
that
and
far
sets up the play.
because he wanted to try to push them back
Beautiful
on
follow-up
facing
from 369.
Keria.
The consequence
I
of
do
all of this,
think that
though,
Guma
is that
should
Doran
have
has been
maybe
left
set
isolated in the top lane. He will secure the first tower, and it looks to be the feats of strength as well for T1.
There it is, yup, exactly right before the Tier 1 turret could have faced its own potential doom on the T1 side. I'm always impressed when a team that loses all 3 Void Grubs still manages to secure the first turret of the game for themselves. This is a 14-minute feats of strength versus the 28 minutes from last game as Owner goes in for the Cataclysm onto Jackie Love. Doran now ready with a Hextech ultimatum, and here's the hero's entrance.
There it is,
Jackie
the
Love
classic
first to die,
Camille
as Doran's gonna
Galio.
try to find his way back out.
Like, the sun
Owner jumps
will
into the
rise.
EQ combo, but Kanavi's ready to take a bite out of him. The Troll King leads the charge as Doran gets a nice Hextech sweep for
I
a
also
bit
do
more
really
HP.
like the
T1's
Nico
not
with
done
the
yet,
Galio.
as Keria
Because
still
Nico does
looking
have a
maybe
really
for
large
root here,
AoE
but
ult,
T1
but
are
that
just
puts
gonna
her
take
in
the kill,
situations where, like,
disengage.
as a squishy
Now it is the
character,
turret
she's
dying
in
at
a
the top
little bit
side
of...
on the T1 side thanks to 369.
But the Galio makes up for that a lot with not only the
They
ultimate
just
being
walk
able to give a
Jackie
little
Love
bit of
down.
bonus
They
stat
overextend
shield,
trying
but
to look
also
for the
because,
tower,
like,
but
you know,
Doran
she...
doesn't end up, or just moves down
Nico
towards mid.
is an AP, so like a
As we
mid.
get to see here, just
So,
Jackie Love.
you get a little bit of that, like,
Oh,
tinkiness
Gumayushi
and feel you get off
was insane.
Galio.
That was
It bounces
crazy.
out.
So Jackie Love gets a kill in the mid lane, and then T1 look to punish. And I mean, you're seeing the combo right here. There is no room for remorse as Jackie Love is instantly shut down. Top Esports tried to get something back, but there's
Pepperoni and
we have to go back to live because the Herald is going to be secured, and the pace of this game is very different from game one.
Yeah, I think T1 actually sticking around there, getting that poke on from Cream, actually removed a lot of their pressure over towards the Rift Tower. I thought it'd be pick in to move towards
yeah, I feel really bad for him. This is a really rough game for an ADC.
As you say, Betty, this game much quicker.
Especially with the, like, Corki. If you look at this team and you look at the Corki, the only reliable kill you really have is Reague. You get like one killer from Tondo. I don't really know what Mbessa does, but I feel like Mbessa is going to be too busy like in the front line. So it's really up to yourself. That means that like Corki can't even reliably rely on the package to really do much. Because if you open the fight on package, then you don't have anything to equate. Not as good peel, don't get me wrong, but when you have J4,
it's got a lot of power
Camille,
pull of the trigger.
and Galio, that is, it's not a time for any.
The more the threat starts to fall off. Now, of course, Camille in the late game, once she gets closer to those like 3 completed items, she's always going to be that late game threat. But in these 2-item mark, I do feel that if Top Esports can survive that initial burst in the extended
I think the only ADC that would have an okay time into this team, it wouldn't even be Caitlyn, it would be Jin. And you would have to open the fight with before you can even get into the fight, and that's just no good. Like, it would have to be the kind of game where you as an AD are relied on to push, and that's something Jin doesn't do like amazing. So you'd either have to play real far back with like Caitlyn. I could see a world where if you picked a different support, maybe you could play Samira. Like, even then, that's like a terrible pick in this game. Jackie Love! Like, all you can do at that point is open curtain call his Jin, hope a good team, you know, set up a decent fight. Come in with the long range stand, hope you just come in and you go, oh! But, like, by the time you get into the fight, you're not going to be able to stack it.
Everyone is focusing down every single time, and once that's done,
there's no more pack. Wait, what do you mean they took away the Corki package?
Betty, as you said, this comp works like a shotgun, and Jackie Love
and a sick twisted world do we live in?
That was just instant deletion at the start of the fight.
Doesn't he still do like, he still moves a little.
Hopefully we get the replay, because you'll see how difficult it is for Jackie. Keep your eyes on the Corki. In the midst of all of that, he's being attacked
if
from
Popeye was anyone except for Camille, I would say that like Tristana is a decent pick in this team, but it's Camille, like, I didn't
is given no opportunity to get away to safety.
And this feels like a classic
and I don't think Tristana would be kind of good enough for like, I think this is definitely, if you were to have to play AD into Camille's team, you'd have to play an AD that hangs back and tries to push away once you're clean up the
we
fight.
started to see light from Top Esports, but it's
looking at the rest of the
who are starting to
team,
pull away with the game.
I don't know if Mbessa and Tondo put down enough fourth-line damage for the AD to have that much. Like, why is it bad, don't get me wrong, but Nami definitely doesn't put out enough damage for you to hang down. I don't think Tondo on his own is going to do very much. And Mbessa might be able to do something, but you would need like a much bigger present side lane carry in order to be able to hang down.
Also in the rest of these fights,
you would need something really big, like a huge J-Block.
Because we have other carries, right? Trundle can deal some damage, and Bess is strong, Rise is strong. But realistically, when you're playing so many...
Why did they auto-mod the wood
things like Faker's Taunt, into Carrier, into Owner as well.
Out of nowhere.
It becomes so difficult to really get value from them now. Top Esports looking to make something happen for them.
Oh yeah, there's
no why did they even pick Corki if he doesn't have pack?
3 grubs and 4 players from top is more than enough to knock down the last 25%.
Unironically, this is a game where you could honestly even consider. You could have maybe. Here's the thing, Jackie Love doesn't do this, but you could have considered running a mage. Like, carry bot lane.
He has the TP available. Top Esports going to force the issue.
That would let you at least build into zone.
Yeah, Owner is wrapped all the way around on top of a
and then you could potentially hang back if you're a little bit more.
About this is Carrier and Doran Also approaching
Even
towards
then,
this
I don't think that's a
Otacon
particularly
that
good.
is starting to lose some patience, down to about
He's just kinda
2/3 HP. Cream
what?
back over in the mid lane. Top Esports backing away. Remember, they still have their tier 1 turret down here in the bottom lane, and it still has a lot of health.
Almost.
Top Esports knows something is up. They cannot find owner, and they know that's an issue. But it's misses on the ult.
They wanted the public execution. They can't get Gumayusi.
Ooh, that is. Ooh, hell yeah, that's huge.
This time, his friends might just go with them. Gumayusi needs a little bit more as Kanavi chases forward on Doran. The Trundle needs the kill, but he dies to the Cataclysm. Cream locked up by Faker. It's a justice punch to the jaw, and Gumayusi
Yeah, the CC that Faker just puts down in the middle of that fight.
as Hong's a fish out of water, and T1
He does insane
get
damage
ace
to him.
for 2.
Top Esports try desperately to catch
Does that mean
anyone
Corky's a
on the
little bit more
side
of like an
T1,
80
but
caster now?
once
Like a
that
high
misses,
damage plus 80
Carrier
caster?
finds the play. The ulti connects onto 3, but their target
That is an
Jackie Love. He trades his life to
insane
take out the
engage
AD
off of
carry,
him.
and then it's cleanup for T1.
It does not feel like LPL's day. It doesn't
Well, you
really
know
feel
what,
like
chat?
a decade, to be
Look at
perfectly
that,
honest.
it's not
And it
20
looks
minutes
like
of doing
Faker, as he
nothing. As
continues
T1
to
says,
make
we're
plays
starting a
with T1,
fight.
They want to march towards another.
Which is the thing they're
World
very
Finals
well
themselves.
known for. T1 is actually a very scrappy team. They want to fight. They
Build a
thrive.
website you love.
No, we're not building a
Wix.
website.
For your words,
Just cool and collected backstage as well. It's business as usual for T1, up 3,000
Exactly
gold,
as the cast
25
said. Like, they do this all the
They've
time.
got the feats of warfare, they've got the Otacon, and the gold difference is just the blood of Top Esports being poured off the side of the graph.
Doran has found Cream.
Wants to go after
It's
this
such a
Rise.
dramatic
coming
twist
in
with-
from the side of Top Esports. T1 ready to respond with one of their own. Doran down to half HP. Owner wants a little bit
What?
more. The teleport is a little bit late to arrive from Faker, but
Ooh.
it's still just in time. T1 send more men,
Galio.
and they get the double kill because of it.
They can run, they can hide, but Top Esports cannot escape the nightmare that is T1. It was a 2 versus
Oh, wait,
1
no.
that turned into a 4 versus 2.
Welcome back to
Faker's
Man's
Onions.
Quiz
Faker
now.
walks right towards the brush, but he's got the reaction.
I'm gonna go put my
time.
dishes away
Top
'cause we
Esports
finished
wanted to
dinner.
find their
We're
moment.
getting
Carrier's
started
right
on
off from
this
the
one.
side.
It's gonna
He
be
wants to
great.
cut off the escape. Pop Blossom on 2. Doran
Yeah.
chasing after Hong as Jackie Love is dead again. And Doran cuts the enemy support down. Only Kanavi is alive to tell the tale. And T1's got a 5,000 gold lead.
Images of 2023 and Faker on this Galio must be in the heads of 369 and Kanavi, because they attack the side lane, they get caught. They attack the jungle, they get caught. And T1 look like they're about to take over once again.
Faker face checks, but the reaction speed, I mean, is still exquisite. Carrier leveraging the clones as he often does, drawing that focus, allowing him to find an angle that Top Esports did not expect. Jackie Love, similar to what we've seen in this entire game, is locked down and shut out, and T1 are looking to go match point in this best of 5.
It has been complete domination from T1. Anyone's Legend pushed them to the brink, but Top Esports have yet to find any purchase in this series. And the question starts to become, well, what do you do? It has been comfort across the board for Top Esports in their drafts in Game 1 and Game 2, but it's T1 who have slowed the pace of the game down, played for the objectives, found moments to turn around the picks Top Esports try to make happen, and it just looks like there's nothing there for them.
And I'm glad you mentioned Anyone's Legend, Dagda, because Vedius, you mentioned back at the draft when we saw the Kaisa locked in. Never mind, we don't have time. Jackie Love going after Gumayusi, who sidesteps the public execution and kills Jackie anyway. 369 wants the damage, and Guma's finally going to be shut down. But Top Esports lose their top laner. Now Owner's putting the pressure under Cream and Hong, making more space as Faker lets blow the winds of war, and they will blow down Top Esports. Nobody's left alive. They might have got Gumayusi, but it cost them everything.
That killer instinct from Gumayusi was insane. He uses the Kaisa ult to dodge the Ambessa and find the fight that will net T1 the Baron.
Simply
Start saving early and get
Oh, not the ad. Oh, I made it in time for the ads, I suppose.
Black Friday event. Find a variety of
magnificent team fighting from T1.
Not living state. Let's see what's going on here. Ooh, Guma Yushi.
Response from Guma to sidestep the public execution. Fantastic mechanics as Guma lives to the very end to dish out as much damage as possible.
And here comes Faker. Ooh, photo belt. That is a 3-man taunt.
This man is performing like an absolute hero for T1 in this.
And before the fight started, that's what I wanted
I love when they cut to the backstage and it's like all the businessmen going like, yes, yes,
and
it's
just did circles around
yes,
Hope's Corky.
yes.
This time around, Jackie might have been off to a decent start, but T1 has shot that chopper down.
I missed the fight. No, it's fine. Surely they're going to.
With an over
Was it a good
3,000
one?
gold
Was
lead,
it a good
3
fight?
fully completed items, Seeker's arm guard unbroken, Jackie Love jumping forward, Carrier has to flash away to keep himself alive, so at least that's one less playmaking tool for
Fine,
T1,
fine.
but they're wearing purple with a 9,000 gold lead and soul point.
I love that Jackie
Yes,
Love,
yes, I
even
approve.
though he's got
Oh,
a
Cecilia,
275 scoreline, he's
yeah.
3 levels behind
Yeah,
Guma
Google
Yushi, still
Cecilia,
does not
Cecilia,
hesitate to
who
press
had
W
entered the
towards
covering
T1.
point.
He knows that they will not turn this game around idly. Bye!
Owner over the wall, immediately goes into the cataclysm. Jackie Love pressures. Guma Yushi pops the Seeker, staying alive for now, needs a little bit more damage. Carrier swoops in behind him. Guma
Heavy
Yushi's
dive, and it
top
does not matter, GA.
T1 with a full send.
T1
No, that's just
crashes
Sonya.
down on top esports, and it will be the base that will be next to fall.
Game number 2 will end even more quickly.
I'm
than
just
game
about to actually
number
start doing it.
1.
I spent the first
average
hour
nearly 1
yapping.
kill per
And
minute in this second matchup.
Where's
As
my
369 will get one back at the very, very end. But he
We watched
dives
a little
on the
bit of
steps to his
footage,
own
yeah.
base. T1, match point.
Build a website you love with Wix.
What is snacking
Where
up?
your words,
Mm-hmm.
your
Speaking of,
connections to the past are waiting. Get Ancestry
Speaking
DNA
of
for
yapping
only $39.
I forgot I was supposed to show off. I got these Pokemon Goldfish.
and 99%
They just hit them with the
That's
wallet
what
at that
innovative
point.
top-
Those engages, you need to not only have an advantage with your Draven, but you also have to have good objective setup. And I think that
I just love the backseat execs. Like, they cut to all the Korean executives in the back, and they're just sitting there like,
I am in
I think Faker made our stocks go up by like 5 won.
that exists in the community, which I can literally see and feel everywhere I go. So let's give out some coffee and find out what makes people happy.
Quarter.
Is hunger holding you back? Meet hydroxycut
Uh-oh.
control plus weight loss. It's
Uh-oh.
biome, a patent.
Chat, don't look at the screen.
Into Ash. Yeah, I think Canal esports in this series.
It's not going to be an easy task for top esports as we get onto the rift for game number 3.
Yeah,
History is not in their favor.
good time.
This series has not been in their favor. But they'll have to dig deep if they hope to take down the Korean powerhouse.
The last remaining
wrong with the
Chinese
mouse?
team here in Shanghai trying to hold on against the back-to-back world champs as we make our way onto the rift for game 3.
We'll never financially cover from Faker doing that tower dive.
Mini-map, as you'll see on the bot side of the rift, both top laners
Click the X on
investing
the
their
top
early
right.
wards to help get that control over the early brush, along with a vision invested from Cream towards the mid lane to protect that bottom
So
side
we
jungle,
have
as
permission
Kanavi is
to
looking to start on the
do for
top
the
side
full
and pass
crew.
towards bot. Very much what we expect. Are they gonna... Oh, okay, so they're just gonna clear out the ward for now. But it does mean the reason why you'll see top laners do this specifically is they're like, oh, we don't care if you gank us. It's really not that big of a deal. So instead, save your ward in the bottom lane. Save it for when the junglers are likely going to be ganking you around that 4-minute mark so that you can be prepared and read the play.
And this is the character we're going to be doing.
Makes it so you're able to poke them down very effectively in the early
I
stages.
do think it's cute. I
And if
think it's
Jackie Love and
supposed
Hung
to be a
can't get aggressive in
clown.
this bottom lane, it is going to be very difficult. And traditionally, that's where I'd look towards the jungle and be like, okay, well, you want to have something that can, you know, facilitate these plays, try and be that spearhead into the bottom lane to enable Jackie Love to follow up. But Kiana is very good at dealing damage, but is not great at setting up. So a huge amount now rests on the head of Hung to see if he can find these crucial
Yeah, I think
hooks
they have a very
when
cute
Kanavi
plan.
makes
If you
his way down
touch
to
the
bottom lane.
store, does it
Earlier, I
honk?
mentioned
I'm
that I
not
expected
sure.
Kanavi to stand on
You're
the
not
start
my
on the top side
character,
of the,
so I can't
jungle.
quite
However,
say.
he's actually transitioned over towards bot. We just saw Jackie Love helping him take out that red buff so that he doesn't have to go for an early base is very much what I expect, meaning that he's pathing towards the top side of the map unless he's got some creative early pathing plan. We'll keep track of him here as he secures his Raptors.
I think Kanavi just needs to try and avoid Owner. This is what we saw in the Anyone's Legend game, where Owner just ended up syncing up with Tarzan and making it really difficult for the Kiana to actually be effective in any of these lanes, because the Pantheon is so strong in these early ganks. So if top esports are able to desync Kanavi, maybe there is a chance.
Yeah, there's a tiny little clownfish
bottom lane when T1 are not on that side of the map.
And you can see in the first couple of games, Owner's performance versus Kanavi, just a much better showing so far from the T1 jungler. A part of more than 80% of the overall kills scored by the team, has been doing exactly the job that they need him to do, and has been controlling those early games as well. Plus 200 gold at 14 minutes just shows he's getting that value early and keeping it.
Oh, he absolutely was, and he really has been the heart of T1 throughout this year. That's why at this World Championship, so much praise has been recognized and given to so many of the other members because of how much they've stepped up. But so much of this year's accomplishments by T1 have largely been driven by Owner, who so far in this series has been spectacular.
Good job,
Now
Owner.
could be the target, knocked up into the air by 369.
Meanwhile,
Kanavi,
this time we have
River
Jackie Love
to
on
lock him down.
Reague.
Decimating smash won't matter. It's first blood to Kanavi and Top Esports.
Great patience from Kanavi, waiting for the flash from Doran.
That is a
before
pretty
he committed
solid
the route,
shot.
allowing him to then get the additional W into Q. As Cream getting very dangerously low, but he'll back away.
Navi even flashing the JDG logo, remembering his roots, but we'll have to see now if Faker might be in trouble.
Yeah, Faker, no mana to work with, only 400 HP. Kanavi still has Flash, but Faker has Owner, so that means...
But Faker has Owner, so
And this is what I was talking about. If Kanavi ever runs into Owner, it's
So
a difficult time,
true.
because that
Yes,
burst damage from the
Michael,
Pantheon
yes,
plus the tankiness
yes.
makes it very difficult for Kanavi in the 1v1 and 2v2s. But still, nice gank in towards the top side. Means that Kanavi going to be able to pick up his serrated Dirk and be in a very good spot as he continues out onto the map.
Oh, Kanavi going to interrupt the back from Owner.
Yeah, Owner losing half HP there. Solar Snare does not hit the Kiana. Owner has to throw up the shield, get a little bit of extra distance and walk away from this one. Meanwhile, bottom side, Jackie and Hong going to be forced back underneath that tier 1 turret. Keria and Gumayushi having a fine time against this Draven bottom lane.
So you asked Flowers, what is it that we want to see from top esports? And for me, it was very much about Kanavi being proactive on the map. And the fact that he's already secured first blood is a great start, but I want to see him translate that pressure towards that bottom side of the map. Draven as a champion.
I feel like that's so much to ask for. It's like, you know, I want to see them do this. I want to see them do that. It's like, man, if this is tier 1 level, they're doing their best.
Difficult to execute
Come
as the
on.
late game threats increase. The mid game is where he spikes, and you want to support that passive to allow him to spike effectively.
I don't think top esports are in a position to help Jackie Love at the moment, though. You can look at the reset coming through from Kanavi. He just cleared out his bottom side jungle before going for the reset, which means he can't actually get involved in the bottom lane. And now he's going to be moving back up towards this top side of the map as well. So across the board, it means that top esports going to be putting a little bit more pressure on the top side. Now, it does mean 369 going to be able to punish Dorn in the position that he's in. But unless you can get another kill for this Kiana on the top side, it means that Jackie Love is just going to continue to struggle in this bot lane.
Another nice route there with the Solar Snare for Faker. Sets up so well to combine with the Radiant Volley to hit just all of those projectiles immediately there for the follow-up. Faker is
They're
playing
saying
a very
all
good
these,
amount of
like,
health, but Cream
names.
doesn't really have the mana to try
They're
to
saying
punish
all
him.
these
Faker
names for,
needs to
like,
flash
abilities
away
I've
there
never
as
heard
Cream
of.
goes between worlds, hits level 6, wants to immediately drop that ult to get the flash out of Faker. Now up in the top side, Ornhorn coming in. Doran's gonna get dove. He tries to pop the shield. He'll die, but 369 will fall too. It's a 1-for-1 here in the top lane.
369's
You would have pointed out, it says you come and do it then. Yeah, I know, right? Like,
this was the trade-off that we were talking
no, I feel
about.
the same
Top
way, Lance.
esports
It's like, yeah, you know what I would love to
time
see
on
you
the
do is
top
like, oh,
lane
like,
for
get on the
Kanavi, and
stage
they do
right
get
now.
the kill.
Come on. Get on the stage
Normally
right
we see
Oh,
players not really invested into trying to camp Sion, but the fact that Kanavi is the one picking up all these kills, he's built up a very healthy lead, and the beauty of this wave is it's now pushing towards 369, so it doesn't matter that he doesn't have his TP available, but it also especially doesn't matter because he's pathing towards the bot side of the map. The Draven going to be the one to send up towards top, secure that wave, and also be in a position to contest the grub spawning in a minute and a bit.
We'll also give Kanavi the level 6 nice and early here as he starts to match. Owner already hitting his.
And that's what happens when you make two really good
look towards this
players.
big ultimate for the available fights, and Cream has already burned Faker's flash. Now, Faker does have that reflect. You always got to bear that in mind. But if Kanavi can find Faker in these fights, there is enough burst damage to set up alongside Jackie Love to very quickly erase a T1 member off the map.
I mean, we don't see a lot of Mel in professional play, but Rebuttal is on the same level as something like a Yasuo Windwall with just how teamfight warping it can be with the...
I recognize that one. The Yasuo Windwall. Yeah, okay. Very important question, chat. Do you say Yasuo or Yasuo? How do y'all pronounce that champion?
Does still have a little bit of a
follow-up question. Follow-up question. How do you pronounce the name? This is a really important question of this champion. This is a really important question. How do you pronounce the name of this champion? I will judge you so hard. How do you pronounce the name of this champion? Answer me. Answer me now.
Especially if you use it in conjunction with Owner's ultimate. Yeah, to see
Phoneticize it if you have to.
Early game, but with the level 6 himself and the dragon being started off, this will be the first objective of the game, and T1 is looking to secure it.
Yeah, just the trades with top esports being in a better position on the top side of the map. T1 happy to look for this, and they should be able to continue what has been basically the dragons.
Alright. Anyone else? Anyone else?
And enabling the ability to try and play for these team fights later as the game goes on.
All right, 369.
Oh, you say both?
What
kind of sick twisted?
Top side, Kanavi looking for maybe another.
Well, in my opinion, it is always Shackle. Anyone who pronounces it Shackle is wrong. It's Shackle.
They knock him low.
I don't know if they played at the high level. I'm sure commentators have an idea of what's going on. It depends on how you're feeling, that's crazy. I respect it though, I respect it. You will hear me. In terms of Alestrals, I will say Zoo. But in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh, it's always double A Zeus.
He doesn't know this, but Kanavi is
So
on
I
the
feel
top
that.
side of the map and could
Anyway.
pay that Scion a visit.
Carry looking to try and cover though, and this has kind of been the job that Carry has been up to all of this early game, has been making sure he can be in positions where top esports are trying to make plays, but he's going to look for the reset, and the wave is starting to push out. 369, a little bit of trouble on the bot side.
Yeah, Gumayushi making sure he takes this trade as long as he can take it.
It's Shackle. Anyone who says Shackle, it's a bullseye.
Kanavi goes in. Kanavi takes
Ooh, that is a big old thing.
Now Owner tries to get the follow-up kill.
Oh no.
So the Kanavi cannot escape. It's a 1-for-1, but it's 3-2 for top esports. They'll claim the feat of warfare.
Owner with the cover, make sure that he's able to get one back, but still, it's Kanavi who is constantly looking for these dives. He is so much more active in this game.
Kanavi making his presence felt. Hung, vicious for a hook onto Hona. Very dangerous fight to take, especially given
There's wrong, but was very wrong.
Kanavi is snowballing so quickly though. Already he has completed the pro Hydra.
We can either draw the jacket, or I was given permission to draw it without the jacket.
Going if they want to start the reverse sweep.
Kanavi and Tarzan being those two big LPL junglers throughout all of 2025. Kanavi now on this Kiana. He's 5-1 now, I believe, in professional play this year. So now we'll see, with all the money, with the carry opportunity in his pocket, can he be the one to keep this series alive for top esports, who are now again looking for a dive, this time onto Gumayushi. Hong wants to try to get away from the turret, but it's a 1-for-1. Guma does enough damage to make it an even trade.
But top esports are continuously happy to make these plays work. They're getting the kills for Kanavi, but they're crucially getting the kill on the laner, which means you're not getting that same experience level on towards the individuals on T1.
And it's critically not on the Draven. Jackie Love doesn't get the chance to cash in on all those stacks. 240
yeah, Faker is one hit. Faker's pretty much the best player.
And cash out on some of those.
Hey, I mean, there are small optimizations, but top
if you were wondering, YouTube Faker is pretty much the
which
best
is more than can be said from what we've seen from them so far in this series. Top esports want to keep this momentum going. Kanavi hovering around the middle lane. Ona has been continuing to farm through his jungle. He's got a sizable CS advantage, a bit of an XP lead over Kanavi. And the gold overall largely remains even because Gumayushi on the side lane has been farming.
Mel's W is stupid. It's a win roll, but it reflects whatever it is backing, including autos.
Kanavi already
That's
an item and
crazy.
before a lot of people have completed their first. This Kian is incredibly strong.
How could
It is
they
really a
make
case
an
of trying to
ability like
find
that?
value
That's
in these
not.
fights. Has to work around carries, ultimate, work around the rebuttal on Faker. But as long as you can do that, I think you're in a decent spot here as top esports to play around your jungler. And oftentimes when we've seen Kanavi in these sort of do-or-die situations, he's taken that mantle on. Like, you think, cast your eyes back to the Belveth that he played for JDG in 2023, saying, I will be the carry.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Belveth.
But now,
That's
with the turn
right.
of life on the line, he wants once more to be the carry for his team.
He's looking
The
for
woman
Faker yet
void.
again.
That's
Has
not
the
Faisal.
grass enchantment
Or Rek'Sai.
visibility, but he's not going to find the angle. Doesn't have the range. Solar Snare also not quite the range to catch up to Kanavi there, as Owner is waiting in the jungle.
You put on stream
But if you're top
back-to-back
esports, if you're
champions.
Kanavi, you have to know
T1
the
has
bottom
won
lane
multiple
priority must belong
back-to-back
to
champions.
T1, so that bottom half of the jungle is not safe.
Good read.
Absolutely. Very, very good reads. Kanavi will get a few little scraps of the Raptor camp.
Chicken nuggets.
20 seconds now
That's a
until the
cute
dragon
way to
spawns.
talk about
Bases are going to quickly come through from T1. No TP available for Faker, as Cream is already back out onto the map. No completed item for him, whereas we see the Blackfire Torch now finished for Faker. Top Esports, will they feel confident enough to go for this early fight? As Top Esports is setting up around the dragon.
All right, top esports. There's 30
I'll
seconds
do a
left on the
sketch
clock
with the
until
basic
turret
body.
takes
I'll also
call.
do a sketch
So
with
if you're
the.
T1 and you want to try to grab one of
I'll do a
those,
sketch
so go
layer
big.
for
Well, the problem
the
is, you're not
for the
getting a whole lot
jacket
of
if I
great
feel
chance
like
to do it.
doing
369 still holding the fort up there in the top lane. Now for T1, you do have teleport available on Doran, but there's no teleport for 369.
I think they're looking for a pick on the bottom side with top esports. The Between Worlds available for Cream, but Gumayushi spots out Kanavi. I won't manage to step away, but top esports invested a lot in shifting down towards his bottom side, which means that T1 get to move in towards River first.
And critically, 369's teleport now is available yet again. So top esports, they're going to try to commit everybody to this. Doran has already teleported into the area first, but Ornn's about to arrive into the mid lane. T1 get engaged on. Hong's ready to go in, but the hostile takeover over the top tries to keep him alive. Carrier staying up here for a little bit longer. Carrier and Faker are both very low. Faker survives. Jackie Love under pressure. Gumayushi wins the AD carry battle, and top esports have already lost 3 men. It's about to be 4.
That is a rough team fight. Ooh, and here comes the Pantheon. Pantheon needed to make its way over the wall, bro. Too much CC on Sion. Any good games?
Build a website you love with Wix.
I think there's some pretty solid games. We did have one game that was just like classic LCS or LCK rather.
Look into the pit as Kanavi goes over the wall. Owner says, not a hope in hell, buddy. Doran and Owner shut him down. And on the top side, as top esports try to make that fight, Jackie Love gets focused down by Gumayushi and cannot make the difference.
I mean, Carrier had a fantastic Renata ultimate on the top side of the fight because it looked like Hong had connected absolutely everything. But once that Renata came down, they lost everything.
We're not done, though. It's a pick coming in for top esports. They find Carrier in the enemy jungler. They catch T1 unaware. Now Faker with a rebuttal. Hong still manages to close the distance here with the dread line, but Owner's ready to show up and offer a little bit of assistance. Cream in some danger now. There's the execution. There's the damage. There's T1. Owner and Faker get one back as top esports are still on the retreat. Hong now stunned up by the Pantheon.
We're just in semifinals right now, so we're not at the actual World. But we might get there tonight.
In the meantime, but it's more kills over to T1.
Top esports looked unsure about what they wanted to achieve. Kanavi was sticking in the pit, whereas the rest of Jackie Love and the rest were trying to move in.
So where is Jackie Love, chat? Where is Jackie Love?
Owner in the enemy jungle, stacking up his Comet Spears, was waiting to see if Kanavi would just greedily jump over the wall and try to start the blue buff. Kanavi finds him there, as now Doran coming in. Big collision on Jackie Love, and Gumayushi picks up the free payday.
No flash on the Draven means that T1 can simply run him down.
Oh no, Kanavi! What was that?
Watch
He jumps
it,
in the middle of everybody,
Thanks for stopping,
and the
guys,
Comet
this
Spear
year.
to execute him.
Have a good evening.
The pressure of elimination in the semifinals is crushing Kanavi as Owner tanks up 369 for the time being. Hong with the pressure onto Guma. Cream goes between worlds, tries to jump in. Gumayushi about to die. The bailout will not save him. Top Esports, they need more now. Cream wants to get out, but the Solar Snare locks him up. Faker gets the return kill as Faker and Carry a duel with Hong and 369. A triple to the Ornn as that will be the execution through the Golden Eclipse for Faker to take out Hong.
Blood has made its way to the Rift as both teams have taken the gloves off. Top Esports don't want to walk away with nothing, so they bring the fight to T1. It ends up, considering the gold deficit, quite good for them, finding a couple of kills. The problem is it's the Ornn getting the shutdowns. 1,000 gold secured by 369 after he takes out Owner, but the ulti back in from Owner, who's been having a fantastic game 3. 6-1-1 the scoreline. Let's look back as this is started by Kanavi getting caught.
This started horribly because they've just lost.
They started horribly.
Owner with the snipe.
Statement of all time.
Think maybe, hang on, we don't want to be around here as Top Esports look to collapse. 369 gets a good Ornn ultimate to set up for Hong and Cream to go for the in-between worlds. But as you call it, Betty, it's all this extra gold going on towards the burn from 369, taking that one. Cream then gets focused down as Faker comes in through that bottom side. And it's just 369 getting so much of this gold.
The TP in from Faker towards the Raptor pit. He pushed out that top wave. He arrived behind and provided the much needed damage to help get a few kills back for T1. But we return to the Rift as they push on the top side.
Kanavi goes in, but his ultimate doesn't get a lot. Owner with the shield ready to continue the counterattack as Hong will be first to die. Faker takes the kill, and 369's their next target. Solar Snare won't hit him. Horn maybe for the counterattack. 4-man knockup from 369, but it is not enough. T1 still over 2,000 gold ahead. Whirling Death will not find a snipe.
What do y'all think?
Is getting desperate. They
Jacket
force a 4
no
versus
Jack?
5. Cream is in the bottom lane with no TP available. That pressure is now even going to be matched by Doran. It won't convert into major objectives, but T1
I'm
find
thinking
themselves the
Jacket.
kills.
I think since we already went through all the effort of doing the Jacket, I think we're doing the Jacket.
T1 have run this
I think the
region
Jacket
for
does
such
look
an
kind of
incredibly
cute, and it
long
adds a little bit
time,
more
and it feels like
interest.
it's just going to be another
I'm
notch
going to-
in Faker's
I'm going to-
bedpost as they start to move forward.
And we can see the engage comes through. The combination between 369 and Kanavi takes off half of Owner's HP, but that's all it does. Gumayushi and Faker are completely safe. They know they have the numbers advantage. Jackie Love is afraid to
It is
approach the
also
collapsing
really
Scion,
strong having
and it
the
converts
Ash
into
for
2 kills
T1
for
here.
T1.
There's just no damage there every
Like,
single
being
time.
able to do these
great
like
knock, but
long range
369
engages when you
back to it
have
again.
like
We might be fighting once more.
Pantheon,
Rift Herald sent a mid lane
we
here
have
from Top
Scion.
Esports. But T1 are looking to knock the
And
thing
you have the
down before
Banana
everyone
fight,
gets to
very
charge.
solid
Plus
kill.
25 gold, might as well
Very
have a melee
impressive
minion.
that
T1
team
hold the
fight.
line there, and now the
Keep
next
them in
Drake
place
has
long enough for your
spawned.
boosters to
Whoever
get on.
secures this objective will secure the feats of strength. T1 first
It's
to the
definitely
area,
when you have like
control of
heavy
the
like
broadside
Drake,
river, trying to
which
defend
is
their
like
control ward.
very.
Jackie Love has the axis
There's not a
spinning,
lot of
step up,
mobility
try to
on
clear the
either of
vision.
these ADs.
Cream pincering around, looking to try to cut off T1, coming behind him. Top Esports
It's also very solid
backing away
input
now on the main front.
Definitely.
Cream shows himself, ready to try to enter into the
Ooh,
fight now.
okay,
The
now
line
let's getting in the
lockdown,
middle
nobody
of
finds
there.
the
We
first kill.
have the
Kanavi
red
is
line
dead.
on the
Cream's
Faker.
next to follow.
The
Top
Ornn goes in,
Esports
but
chose
nah,
that fall
Scion's
again.
already in there.
And now everyone else has to run. Jackie Love
Yep.
with the flash over the wall.
Ooh,
just to try
solid
to survive.
flash from
Hong is running. T1, they want more kills. 369 and
Jackie
Jackie
Love
in a
might
position
get
to get
died,
away,
though.
but T1
369's gonna
has
try to
claimed
keep him
the
off
Drake,
Jackie Love.
claimed the tier 1 turret. Otacon's live on the map, and T1's got a 4,000
T1's
gold
gonna
lead
beat
at Soul Point.
Renata stocks are going to be at all-time high after this game. Keria with another fantastic ult as they just see Cream go invisible, thinking that might be the engage, but immediately Keria responds, and T1 are able to chase down the back line as there's nothing Top Esports can do.
It's so difficult for Jackie Love to do anything in these fights. He was just pushed back by Doran.
A
He
lot of
was
this has to
tickling
be
this
simple,
Scion as the
guys,
rest
but,
of
yeah, there's
T1
only so many
handled the flank
details
from
I can
Cream,
do.
shut down Kanavi, and won in a landslide victory. They find themselves at Soul Point. They're looking to go 3-0 in this series. 369 will flash away. T1 are in the heads of Top Esports.
Top Esports look completely frazzled right now, 20 minutes in to this third and potentially final game in this series, potentially the last game they will play at Worlds 2025. They have not made it to the semifinals since 2020. It's been
that is a lot of
years for
pressure
Top
on making it
Esports
the
getting
finals.
back to this point. They've never made it to the finals, and T1 wants to keep it that way. Faker's the target for Top as he tries to get the route to buy himself a little bit more time, but Faker is shut down. Cream's the target now for T1. Flashes over the wall, but Owner's ready to flash follow. Cream dies, mid for mid. Gumayushi with a flash forward, and he's putting arrows into Jackie Love's back. Jackie gets away with a Kim Tech blast cone, but the rest of the arrows continue to focus fire.
Ooh, nope. They're gonna get hit by the
Gumayushi gets it done.
T1 will not let Top Esports rest.
Goodbye.
It has been so many years that they've continued
That's
to
my goal. That's my horse.
And Kanavi again just picking the wrong moments. He goes in, he survives for now, but it costs Hong's life this time instead. T1, 4,000 gold lead still, soul point still. And look at the mini-map. It looks like a Christmas tree of red pings. Everybody's calling for Otacon.
Owner adds another notch to the spear as he goes to 9, 1, and 3 here at the 2025 semifinals. What a monstrous series it has been from him, as the early game was going the way of Kanavi, but the rest of it has gone the way of Owner.
12 years T1 have beaten the LPL in best of fives at Worlds. 5 years Top Esports not making it to finals. 3 last years it has been T1 that have taken down 369.
T1 is just such a dominant
that reign
voice,
will continue.
And this pick onto Faker looks like the start of something. But the collapse from T1 is just so fast. Owner and Doran are there to shut down Cream. Jack 11, 369 trying to regroup, but they then become the targets of the hunt. The slows from Gumayushi set up for the chase onto Jackie Love as he desperately tries to escape. It is not enough as the single kill onto Faker costs them 2 on the escape.
The clock ticks ever forward against Top Esports.
But it
T1,
also looks like the
it's
crown is a little
75
bit
seconds until the Kim Tech Soul spawns. Kanavi on the flank. He's got to find some sort.
So what I'm doing is I'm kind of drawing this out so I can get an idea on how to draw this.
Now he's marked. Kanavi trying to do something on the side, but it's Hong here on the front line that's taking most of the burst. Owner still in the middle of everybody. The redemption coming in to save him, and the bailout does just that. Cream at least gets one. Hong at 200. Jackie Love trying to fight, but the decimating smash guarantees that he can't. Gumayushi knocked down as we've got a 3 for 2 favoring T1. Faker's not even been in the fight though, and Mel is ready to make her arrival. Cream, the only damage really left for the side of Top Esports. Faker pops the rebuttal, and Carrie is still alive. Solar Snare locks up the Ornn, and 369. The countdown's about to hit 0. They're just waiting, trying to stall this out as long as they can. Make sure that he's not alive at all for the Dragon Soul. They'll kill the Ornn, and it's another team fight for T1.
It's simply a brawl in the mid lane. Fists go flying as Hong looks for a hook. Carrier being zoned off on the side. Owner tanks it initially, but he has the bailout to bring him back into the action. The ulti from Kanavi really doesn't convert into much. He ends up falling first, and as the rest of Top Esports try to keep the fight going, Gumayushi does everything he can to take out Jackie Love.
And it was a success. The 80 carries.
I do think that that is a proper backside. We don't have a reference to the backside of them, unfortunately.
On this
So
Ornn to find some way to structure the fights.
I guess
T1 are not
technically
letting
this
them find their
shoulder
footing.
should be a
And
little
now Jackie Love up on top side, threatening the Baron, but I think T1 happy to take that fight if it comes to us.
T1 pushing their way into the top side river. Dagda, you mentioned early that lifetime record of T1 against the LPL at Worlds. Jackie Love forced to flash over the wall. Doran flashing
these kids
after.
nowadays aren't a little bit. What do you mean they're not a little bit? Surely, this one of them can maybe not.
At least Faker should die here through the bailout, so Cream's gonna get the credit on that one. But T1 aren't done. Cream goes between worlds. 369 with a 2-man.
Ooh, okay, they might be torn in this fight. Wait, what? I don't know. This is really rough.
damage as Keria, Owner, and Doran
they still
want some
have
more.
both
Hong gets
losers.
almost caught
Choosing
in
to
a
die
takeover,
here is
but it's
interesting.
369 focused instead. T1,
I guess they
their
do just want to
carries
push
might be
pressure.
down, but they still find another kill. Doran goes on a rampage, and the 3 remaining men on T1 knock down the tier 2.
369 survives for so long, but it's only so he can shed more tears as T1 continue to buckle the knees of top esports. There is little that they can do in this scenario. They just don't have enough damage.
I mean, top esports are coming very close in a number of these fights, but as you said, Dagda, they're just a little too behind in the gold. Very forced play comes through from T1. A nice execution onto Faker, ends up being traded with Kanavi. Meanwhile, underneath the tower here, you've got Doran and Ona tanking so many tower shots. Cream with a good ulti, 369 with a good ulti of his own, but then Cream closes the gap too much. The target focus from T1 allows them to get the kill onto Cream, and then it's just a retreat from the side of top esports.
Once again, T1 taking control over the top side river. They will immediately start up the Baron. They eliminated IG in the only play-ins game at Worlds 2025. They eliminated AL in the quarters. They're about to eliminate top esports here in the semifinals. Kanavi takes the arrow, and there's no way he's getting away from that one. The Baron secured by T1. There's no neutral objectives to care about on the map right now, and there's 35 seconds until the enemy jungler is back alive.
T1 and eliminations at Worlds are just a different beast altogether, and top esports are all too familiar with it. Quarterfinals, semifinals, it does not matter. T1 only see victory.
T1 with the Baron pushing into the enemy base now. Doran happy to tank the turret. T1
and honestly, I don't think they're coming back from this one. T1 is just
not really
far too good at
for a
snowball.
successful multi-lane push. So T1's just going to keep going straight for the Nexus. Here comes the Grand Starfall, and Jackie's already down. Hung goes with them. The focus fire into 369 as Cream and Kanavi scramble to stay alive. But nobody on top esports has anything to stop T1. It's only the mid laner left.
It is
get
only
the final kill, and yet again, the highest peaks of the LPL are merely stepping stones for the unkillable Demon King.
That is just a.
T1 have set the stage for the world.
That's just a 3-game rule, and that is really unfortunate. Like the Hood, Faker's title.
For your words,
Not something he coined himself, by the way, is the unkillable Demon King. So we just watched T1 versus AL. Well, no, we watched semifinals. Well, yeah, no, that was no. We watched semis, which was T1 versus T. As my bad. You wouldn't have recommended this if I weren't a top fan. I'm a fan of many things. Do you recommend watching the the finals for KCB versus HRTS? I think we watched some of this, maybe. Wait, this is a completely separate game, isn't this? EMA Masters Finals? Is it? No. Wait, I'm confused. Did we end up watching both of these already? Some squad we could. Maybe we did watch Genji versus KT. I can't. What tab is this? Let's see 2. I can't remember if we've watched any of these games. Like, we could just go straight to like finals. Here, how about we watch some games and we can see if any of this seems familiar.
What would you go to first when you think of having the highest level of early impact?
Absolutely, and I mean they could obviously, as you're saying, swap sign down towards bot.
I don't think I watched the Talia Corki games.
We have seen that exact lane swap matchup play out where Caitlyn can dominate
No,
in the 1v1,
let's
so that
watch
could be a
it.
difficult 1v1 if Caitlyn goes top and actually matches the Corki. So level 1 feels pretty important here already.
Let's get on to the Rift. The champions-elect versus the Cinderella story as Genji take on KT roster in this best of 5. A spot in Chengdu awaits the victor. It's either T1 or Top Esports. For Gen G, it would be the culmination of a story long told. The culmination of aspirations and dreams, expectations over the last couple of years. For KT, truly is something out of a fairy tale, a storybook, you have to say. Similar to that DRX run back just a few years ago.
I mean, there's just so much. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that we'll have the time to go into it because, of course, you know, sometimes I don't want to enforce that idea, but sometimes LCK versus LCK can be a little bit slow. But there is the Canyon and Dokdam who used to be in the same team. DK that didn't really was able to make the mark that they were hoping for. We have BDD, who after he was replaced by Chovy had what I think is the worst year of his career. Not necessarily just to him, but that Nongshim roster was really prone to underperformance, was a really tough bounce back. And again, the fact that the expectations on KT were really not high. They barely squeaked into the Legend group going way back. It was really up between them and DK and Nongshim for who would be that eventual 4th seed towards Worlds.
And I think a lot of us were surprised with how well KT have done after coming into Worlds. Their roller coaster keeps climbing up and up and up. Only team so far undefeated across the 2025 World Championship.
Yeah, and you just have to wonder, how far can they go, right? You know, of course, people are coming in here and they say, you know, it's Gen G, you're going to get smacked, it's going to be a sweep, but I feel like KT fans just need something to hang their hats on, right? You get a little bit of momentum in this first game, and I feel like people want to believe in that story. They want to believe in the underdog. It's such a fun thing to cheer for. This team that is constantly overlooked, that never seems to be able to get it quite right. When it finally does start to work out, it's just a beautiful story. You know, you want to see guys like BDD be able to prove their worth, you know, to take down someone who you were replaced by, who everyone is overlooking you for, I think is just awesome to think about.
It really is, and what a place to prove it. Against Chovy's Talia. 25-4 on this all-time. It's a pretty one-sided scoreline for Chovy, as are many things for Gen G this year. They've only lost 2 best-of-5s across the entirety of 2025. One was to KT, and one was to Hanwha Life Esports all the way back in the qualification in the LCK Cup.
And it's been close calls many a time. We've seen them go against a 5th game against many a team domestically, against or in MSI as well. But outside of those two, they have been victorious. And then for Gen G, I think, again, it is the weight of the expectations. I feel we have seen Chovy truly be consumed by that all-encompassing need for finally breaking through the barrier, which he's never got further than semis.
And I mean, it is a really brutal metric by which we are judging Gen G and by which we are judging Chovy. But it is because he's been looked at, you know, maybe not at every given moment, but many moments for many years now as the best mid laner in the world. And now they're looking mid.
Looking to gank that best mid laner in the world. Chovy flashes immediately into the flag and drag. Knocked back with a seismic shove. But his rocks become his tombstone. KT on the board for first blood.
And when you want to talk about pressure, flashing in line with the flag and drag there, I think he was maybe trying to flash over it or anticipating, you know, an EQ flash or something like that. But Cuz doesn't even have to flash. BDD doesn't even have to flash. And they got first blood. And it goes to the Yone.
And that is in a matchup where Yone is expected to struggle early on. And it's Cuz that finds the early angle, circumvents all vision, doesn't get spotted by Canyon, and sets up his mid laner for success immediately. Because once you hit 6, this matchup becomes infinitely easier.
And I like to joke about this, but I'm kind of not really joking. Yone's hit full build. You get that early Vamp Scepter, and it can just be so difficult now to actually have Prio to be able to poke you down, because you can hit this critical threshold where both Talia has a bad buy in just the tier, so you're not really getting a lot more damage. And you do so much sustain that now all of a sudden you can't really even get Prio in that lane. And that really was the only lane that we were expecting Gen G to have that early Prio in. So BDD going to be in his comfort zone now here, and Chovy's going to have to play super defensive with no flash for the next 5 minutes.
Cuz going to be in his comfort zone as well. The ability to invade into Canyon's jungle, who has been a little bit quieter in the early game than Canyon of yesteryear. I think the player that's most struggled on Gen G across summer has been Canyon, so we'll see if Cuz can punish him appropriately.
And by a large margin, Canyon not just not being able to find the biggest early game impact, which has been kind of a constant through his career, but also just not having that much impact in general, which is not something that you've been able to say for him for a large part of it, as we do have Cuz will get spotted here, but it is very telling that, again, it's because visiting BDD, these players on many A-Team have been together. Obviously, we're also on the 2023 KT roster, which was stopped by JDG back in that quarterfinal.
And I would just find it so interesting. Like, it is very first world problem, but Gen G is so stacked and there's so many stars on this team that sometimes it can be a bit difficult to figure out what is your role within this team, right? You know, when you take players who are like the focus on a different roster and you put them all together and you build with more and more and more stars, not everyone can be the star. Not everyone can take that kind of central role. So I do think sometimes players have to reinvent themselves a bit and kind of figure out, okay, well, what playstyle works best for me and enables my team to have the most success?
And this is about as bad as it gets for Gen G, because the only one that's ahead is Keen. And that's nice, but he's not, both in terms of champion or in terms of player, the one that needs to be ahead. We're seeing Ruler really struggle in this 2v2, as we were expecting, but because of the lack of jungle intervention from Canyon, they've been able to find a lot there. And then Chovy, obviously, thanks to the gank, has also fallen behind. Now, Gen G's objective setups have generally been great, but even that, KT got ahead of them and was able to pick up that first dragon. So we'll see if Gen G is able to contest for these grubs in about a minute and a half.
Both teams going for the lane swap, having their bot lanes go up towards that top side because of those grubs that we talk about. You'll see the top lane is just matching bot. They can TP up if they're so required. Did see Cuz hanging around mid a little bit, but wasn't really an easy gank path on Chovy, so he's just going to clear his top side, and Canyon mirrored down towards that bottom side is clearing up towards the grubs. Peter looking for some damage on Duro, but can always just dash away to the Corki.
Yeah, not going to be too much of a big deal, but they're just trying to keep the push going. And though we do see Ruler a little bit behind, at least the Caitlyn has not been farming a lot of plates or anything like that. They've done a good job of actually keeping the farm close enough and keeping them off the tower. It hasn't just been this total disaster where sometimes these Caitlyn lanes really can get out of control, especially when you are going against a weak early laning support like the Rakan. But Duro and Ruler are doing a great job of just kind of minimizing the damage as much as they possibly can, and that's really your job.
We'll have to see whether any contest can come through or whether KT can keep this early lane supremacy going and make sure that they are able to also turn it into grubs, as we do see Dokdam just, well, try and get as much chip damage down as objective is about to spawn. And it should be looking good for KT to contest that. We do see Duro TPing back, but Ruler, chunked out as he is, I have a lot of faith in his man's Corki, but
it would
without
be
your health bar, that is only a tier and a long sword and some bits. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
It would be very greedy to go for that. Duro not yet level 6, so doesn't have the quickness. They're going to step around the corner here, poke their noses in, see if Cuz is doing anything a little bit illegal, but for the moment, Cuz should be able to get one of these grubs. KT pushed in the top side. Ruler's going to answer that. Canyon looking for the flank from the bottom side. Bolt breaker onto BDD, lands the knock-up. Fate sealed out from BDD across the wall, using that ultimate just for a little bit of extra distance between him and Gen G. Chovy coming in, BDD will dash out of the back of the pit, and KT will escape with only one of the grubs. Great smite from Canyon to secure the one that was contested, and Gen G will get their second.
Honestly, really well played by Canyon to navigate that situation. You know, BDD had prow through mid, but Canyon just kind of set up shop, waited for him, forced out that ult, and got a chunk onto BDD very early. And from that spot, you no longer really want to fight, right? So it just became this one grubbing out, even with those winning lanes, and what looked like a better spot for KT to at least be able to get to.
I do like seeing that Keen also TP to mid, because with the Cyanode he would have been able to join the fight soon anyway, but because there wasn't a continued contest from KT, was able to get towards bot lane earlier. Perfect still was able to equalize the goal lead just a little bit, able to get some time alone in that lane.
If you're a top laner, you love Peter right now. Hangs around, waits for the double
pizza
recall,
right
then
So
drags
true.
away, so it
So
slow pushes in towards Perfect, and he's like, okay, I'll very happily just accept this closer to my tower, means that I'm at very minimal risk of a jungle gank.
It is hard to find someone that doesn't love Peter.
That's
I
true.
gotta say that.
Oh, Peter.
This man has been farming fans
I thought I said
throughout the
pizza.
years, both with his interviews and his
This is
really
looking
stellar performance, particularly again on the Nico. Has had his fair ups and downs, but he is a KT player, so that kind of comes with the territory.
Sure, but just to highlight how good it was, that was a whole wave, a cannon wave lost for Keen, and Perfect was able to get there, pick up the cannon, pick up a couple of the melee minions, so it's a big gold swing for Perfect. Obviously doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but those are the small things that can add up.
No, they absolutely can. I mean, unfortunately for Keen, he already had a significant advantage. You know, he has been doing really well in the 1v1, and honestly, to me, Keen is just point blank period, best top laner in the world.
Agreed.
This guy almost seems to just not make mistakes. It's kind of ridiculous, and he can play every style.
GDD's going to snap back here. Takes a couple of fists to his face, but is able to rebind his soul and escape with the wave pushing it.
I think Canyon unless BDD really overextends, mainly just looking to get Chovy a nice base here. The Dragon is about to come up in 25 seconds. We'll see. Gen.G for sure going to be looking to fight for this one. They now have the Rakan ultimate available as well. And TPs are coming in. Both mid laners going to try and fight for Pride on the wave here. Keen doesn't FTP, but he is Scion, so with his ultimate, is able to join at reasonable pace.
I mean, this is one of the things that when I watch Gen.G a lot in the LCK had always really impressed me, is that even if they do build these slight deficits, they play
BDD bait sealed across the wall, and once again his ultimate used before that objective fight. Now he's going to have to try and path through 3 members of Gen.G to get down into this river.
It's just a beautiful bit of pressure, and now again, you have this position that was supposed to be this winning position. Now BDD without ult, do you really want to take the fight? I think it becomes so much more risky. But KTT, they are trying to set up in the area, trying to get some traps down. Gen.G looks like they're going to be able to retake this space, though.
Cuz is sitting on a spike, does have the Sunrise Sky available. That is a big advantage thanks to that early assist, plus the fact that he is up a couple of camps. And we do see BDD is still around, even without the ultimate. If the rest of the team sets up for him, should still be able to do a decent amount of damage.
And look at Bot. So right now, it's still Duckdom down there just pushing in this wave. So he's drawn Ruler down, but Ruler is now very separated from the rest of the team. So Duckdom does have the inside track to get back to the rest of his squad that's in this area. And BDD now coming again back from mid lane. So they have pretty decent positioning to try to take over this area.
Gen.G using that time to deny a little bit of vision control ward in the pit from KT as they do start up their second Dragon. Ruler at the back of the pit. Can Valkyrie in if a fight starts sharpish. Meanwhile, the unstoppable onslaught coming out from Keen as he charges down here. The Drake falling lower though, down to 2k. BDD jumping in just to distract. A quickness from Juro, a smite from Cuz. KT secure the Drake and a great disengage as well. As Gen.G are the ones retreating, unable to find purchase in the fight.
And KT says thank you very much for watching as we take the objective. Perfect does have to invest his TP, but that's an investment you're happily going to take with Mountain on the board, and the fact that Gen.G is playing a 2-carry composition, as they so often do. This early game is off to a great start here for KT.
It's a fantastic start for KT, and I just really like how they navigated that, because I think a lot of teams, once they lost ult on BDD, would have just said, all right, that's their Dragon, we just have to get that. But they navigated it out so incredibly well, you know, playing with Prio through that bot lane. Duckdom non-stop pushing. Just meant Ruler was so sectioned off from the rest of the team that by the time he actually got there, the Dragon was basically already gone, and it just became a bit of a flip, and KT do get that, and they're comfortable to continue just playing at this pace.
And for Gen.G, one of the things that they have found many advantage on has been that snap engage. Duro in particular has been exceptional at this as they're...
And there it goes, straight onto Duckdom. Cease and desist living as the Caitlyn falls to Canyon. Gen.G on the board in the semi-finals.
There you go, that's the engage right there as Duro and Canyon press their R buttons and Duckdom goes down.
Yeah, Duckdom, nothing much to do about that one. Just kind of gets caught pushing a little bit too far up, and he is on weak side of the map. Everyone else from KT is on that top side, so had to be a little bit more careful. Does get punished, but it is just the 1 kill, so not the end of the world.
Sometimes you see these plays around the 13-minute, 13:30 mark because people want the plates. So they'll step up a little bit more greedily than they usually would, thinking, oh, there's a bit of 200 extra gold for me, you know, put it in my pockets. But because of that, Gen.G collapsed well. And as you say, there really wasn't any support for Duckdom on that side of the map.
And one item spikes to come through here. We have the Leandries for Perfect, we have Blade of the Rune King for BDD, and we have the Collector for Duckdom. All 3 of those are insane one-item spikes. And we'll see. I think Herald is definitely going to be a setup. And we're already seeing Gen.G set up for that as Duro moving into the enemy jungle to try and get as much vision as possible.
Yeah, Ruler obviously going to be behind on his first item completion, you know, given that he's going for Triforce that has tier, etc. But I've got to say, that's a 200 gold lead. That's it for your Caitlyn Nico against a Corki Rakan. Like, you really would have wanted to build that into a lot more. So credit to Gen.G, great at kind of just minimizing the advantages that they're giving over to Duckdom here. And Gen.G, as I was touching on earlier, you know, even when they would sometimes fall behind in the LCK, they're just so masterful at how they approach the team fights and how they actually set up these objectives that getting a lead is very far away from guaranteeing a win against Gen.G.
Yeah, they really are one of the most resilient teams that we have when it comes to both their cross maps, but as well the consistency of their setups for team fights, one of which I think we might be having on our hands soon.
You see a couple of wards behind that Herald pit from
Drink of
Duro.
choice.
Chovy and Canyon moving.
I honestly just drink water for
Seeing
the
if
most
Perfect
part.
oversteps, Cuz comes across, spotted. Canyon Trophy have a
No,
decision
that's
to
probably
make. Who
kind
they
of
put the damage down onto? There's
bullying. So
Breaker.
I'll have a little bit of
Canyon
Coke on
slams his
occasion, and
fists into
sometimes hot
Cuss.
chocolate, but I
Chipped away
really
at a
just
little.
drink
Duro's going to
water.
start up the Herald here with Gleaming Quill. BDD's working his way up from the bot side, but might just be focused on the Scuttle Crab. Peter looking to see if there's anything he can do here, but it doesn't really feel like KT want to contest right now. The cease and desist from Gen G, they want the fight on their terms, and they kill off the Nico immediately. Nothing that KT can do to collapse.
I mean, Peter was just way too far ahead of the rest of the team, right? No one's even around him when they do engage on him, and the Nico's just a freebie, an add-on to that Herald, which may mean that Gen G gets first tower, and that's going to get them very close to Feats.
See, Keen, just as an insurance policy, does TP his way over. In hindsight, not necessary, but given the timing, makes sense that he would go for that the moment that the fight actually starts. And we're slowly starting to see the gold lead dwindle. There will be a TP advantage now, though, here for KT. We'll see if they can leverage that when the Dragon comes up, because Gen G are still in a position where I think they need to fight for at least the next 2 Dragons to kind of equalize that, because if KT gets off to Soul Point, the game becomes so much harder to play out, and they have an really, frankly, insane amount of Baron damage as well. So I feel like that makes it even more more important that they are able to find that objective fight.
Absolutely agree, and I do like the lane assignments here for KT right now. You put BDD into that side lane. Sion has to go MR early against the Rumble, so now you have this Hollow Radiance, and you're laning against the Blade of the Rune King Yone, which is obviously not going to be something you're going to be able to do much damage towards. Of course, Keen's job is to just protect the tower, not to win the 1v1, but that can become difficult over time as you can kind of slowly get whittled down. Gen G, though, a lot of members here around mid.
Don't know many people that like water. They act like it's the play. No, I think like if you're not having bad water, what is good?
Around the Drake, we didn't really see a battle occur at all.
It's very refreshing. I don't know. I don't know why people hate on water. I'm a big fan.
To really have these big AoE fights, a Pop Blossom, a Cataclysm, an Equalizer, Fate Sealed on
Not even any kind of special water. Like I know some people like sparkling water and stuff like that. No, I just like regular water.
I want to highlight as well the fact the ability for KT to find these angles as BDD.
Weavers will Fate Sealed again from BDD before the neutral. Gen G collapsed onto him. Did have to use that Weaver's wall, and now the question is for KT. Do you hit?
Oh, Peter lost flash.
Do you go for the fight? Peter, no flash, as you say. That Nico, half of a champ if he can't get onto the back line, still looking for the engage. Meanwhile, the cease and desist into the quickness combo. A double charm comes out from Duro, and Gen G just rip the hearts out of KT.
That is very well.
Duro, the man that at the beginning of the year was the weak spot for Gen G, sets up on both sides of the fight. First gets the charm, allows them to engage on the jungler, then flashes his way over, finds the charm, double knock up, and Gen G find a big fight.
I mean, the setup is just so far superior.
I'm not the biggest fan of swap. I don't think it's like terrible, but I'm not. I don't know. It's just not.
From Duro, double seismic shove. They'll lead them both. They had already forced the flash off of Peter as well. This is just picture perfect here from Gen G, showing their class around the objectives. And just like that, not only is the advantage gone, you're now 2K behind, you're not close to a soul, and Gen G once again right back into their comfort zone.
And the 2 big points for me have been one, Peter, who obviously, even on his Nico, thus far hasn't been able to find the impact. No big ults, seems to be a little disjointed with his team. But also, BDD has not actually been able to have a single offensive ult. Every single time he has been looking to step up, looking to make the play, and his team is going to trust him to do so as well. But every time he's at the ult out defensively, and I do think that is a lot of the power of this composition, that Yone ult layered with the Rumble, layered with the Nico or the Jarvan, and we're not really getting that for KT right now, and they weren't able to get the Dragon as a result.
And it just feels like they clearly want to contest, but they are late multiple times now. It's the exact same thing we saw at the Herald. You know, Peter shows up, he's kind of separated from the rest team, walks in, dies. This time, BDD is making the rotation, but they don't have vision control in the river, so he loses his ult, then Peter walks out, loses his flash, then you're getting engaged on. They just don't have all of the setup done properly, and Gen G is a team that everything has to be perfect against. You must have great setup or you just have no chance.
Because Gen G suffocate you out of the game. They deny vision around the objectives. KT are stepping into fog of war, and Gen G have every single tool in their arsenal with the ability just to lock one person up and kill them. And at that moment, you're 4v5, and you can't really take the fight as KT.
And this is also where I think the KT comp, once you start falling behind, this comp struggles, because you have great tools of getting vision, but like who actually goes in? Because with the clone and with Cuz's flag, you are able to check, are they in the brush? But then what, right? Unless you're able to get at least a little bit of control, someone needs to actually find that engage. Because every single member that you might send forward will just get blown
gonna
up.
get spotted potentially here. He's still in that brush.
They don't know.
Walks into the bush. There's Juro, gets the quickness off. Weaver's wall out, and the charm follows up. KT, though, still alive. Peter yet to full cast, going in with the flag and drag, fate sealed. Flash away from Canyon, he dashes out with a bolt breaker. Genji now on the back foot. The ace in the hole cancelled by the knock up a seismic shove onto Cuz. Keen the first to pull Genji on the back foot. KT still looking to find purchase in the fight.
It's still a big win for KT, though. We'll see if they can turn it into more. Might not want to run the risk with Canyon still alive, but Genji overstepped big time there.
Yeah, I mean, Duro just got spotted out. He was on a very deep flank. He was trying to look for an angle to go in there and did find it, but he kind of had to go at a time that he didn't really want to. I think he wanted to wait a little bit longer till the team was there in position, but gets found out, has to go early, and Genji just decided we're going to try to take the fight regardless. KT, though, great turnaround, and I think we might have to go back to live because Doctan was just hitting that Otacon. But here it is one more time, just kind of going a little bit early. And BDD has a great turnaround right here with Cuz.
And then on the other side of that, look at Perfect and how much damage he's actually doing. As in the picture, Otacon's going.
Otacon's already started by KT as Genji look to take the fight. Canyon not here yet. Peter! Pop Blossom goes wide. And perhaps Genji can look to turn this one around now as KT don't have that big engage tool. Genji take their turn on the Otacon. Seismic shove just short of clipping onto Perfect. Genji still on that Otacon down to 3,000 HP. Cuz looking at the engage, but he's locked up. Decimating Smash doesn't catch him. In the flag and the dragon. Still forced away. Genji will claim the Otacon.
Peter was literally seconds away from his flash, but because he doesn't have his
I know. Honestly, I forgot that Baker's like...
unable to take the Otacon.
In my head, Baker's still like 22 or 24.
Peter, it's so tough now for KT to re-enter.
It's like, that's how like young he was, like a couple years back. And I know people like age, but in my head, like Baker's always younger.
Back to the tower, makes it a guaranteed Otacon for them. And that glimmer of hope you had there for KT around the Otacon snuffed
and
out.
like, I suppose I've gotten older, but like...
If you're KT now, you're looking at...
I always forget.
23 petals to 4 on the Otacon. You're looking at Juro and Canyon stepping up together to try and deny blue buffs. Drake up in 10 seconds time. Genji just denying any vision for KT.
There's a lot of dive though, and Chovy doesn't have his flash thanks to the play from Peter. If they can get on top of him, take him out. Again, this composition, the only other real source of damage is Ruler on this Corki. So if they can find a way to get BDD, Cuz, or Perfect onto that back line, that might be an angle, but Perfect doesn't have his flash. Stop was used in that topside play as well.
They go for Canyon, jump on him immediately with the Bolt Breaker to get himself out. The tower falls in mid. KT not really defending that mid tower for now. As KT still look to start up this Drake, will be soul point for them. Chovy on the flank as he wraps around to join his team behind this Drake. Perfect with that equalizer. Weaver's wall. Perfect's on the wrong side of it, but can walk out towards the top side of his jungle. Drake down to 2,000 HP. Peter with the Pop Blossom! And a fight flowers for KT! BDD dives in! Genji are left routed as Ruler has nowhere to go. Flashes, but with an ace in the hole. One more bullet in Dogdam's shot!
No, the Cataclysm.
The tomb for Ruler as KT clean up the fight.
Peter finds the engage to flip the game on its head. BDD and Perfect have the follow-up immediately. Beautiful equalizer, beautiful Yone ult coming across, gets them soul point, is gonna get them multiple towers here. KT with a picture-perfect team fight.
And there is the dive that was able to get KT
very
to win.
rough
When they found that best of 5, the final game, it was
Are they dumb? I don't know. Some people just don't like war. Everyone has their own take.
4th time's the charm, doesn't give up, finds the engage, and KT take a big lead because, again, I want to reiterate, soul point for Mountain Soul into the Genji composition is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and we just have to watch Peter here. Obviously, they tried to put the engage on Perfect at the top of your screen, but he's able to pull back very, very effectively. Then Peter goes in, finds the beautiful engage. Look at the equalizer across everyone. Look at Yone coming in over the wall.
The exact expo for this one is FF772.
Completely untouched throughout the whole fight.
And it's the lack of flash on Chovy. He's
It's
not
always
able to
amazing
get
watching
out.
Kate
Just
play.
the combo of
You know,
Peter
yeah, I
with
don't
that
really play
equalizer
League
is
of
enough to
Legends
take
anymore
down the
either, but I do
Talia,
like
as
watching
there he
LoL.
goes. Peter
I do
pops
like.
off.
How can you not love this guy, man? It is just so fun to cheer for. And look at the damage from Perfect in that fight. You know, this has been such an exciting game one to kick it off. And though it has been a very one-sided history between these two teams of late, you know, Gen G taking the
Who
vast
the
majority of
Sally
those series.
champions?
KT,
Depended on the season.
you always have
depended
to
on
give
the
them a
role.
chance. And you look
I
all
used
time,
to
you know, that is,
before
of
they
course,
had you
know, back
pick
in the very
roles in
old
ranks.
days.
I used
This
to
new
main
iteration,
kill with
you know, when you're
Heat.
looking at game score in 2025, 25-4. When you're looking at series score, 6-1. But
So I
it doesn't matter
suppose
because
if you were to
only
put
today
me in
is what is
the
important.
in a
You
lane of my
just need to
choice,
find purchase in this series.
I'm
And I
not too
think
bad of
the
an
pressure really is all on Gen G.
So
We're trying to
catch me
control
on
the area around the
maybe
bound right now. Joe
Ezreal.
forced to exit with the grand entrance.
And
the
there for a
used
little
onto
bit of
Ruler. Takes a
that.
chunk out of him. But
I'm not too shabby
substantial
at
as
this
KT
point.
group up as 5.
I'm a
The
pretty
Scuttle Crab there
solid
will give some vision
too.
over to Gen G, and it looks like KT decide they're not going to force anything right now. Go back, farm up
I'm
these
not a
waves.
bad
Infinity Edge on its way
either.
for BDD. Already has the BF sword and the crit cloak, so he's
Um,
very close to
In
completing
terms
it.
of support, you'll either see
Not quite
me
as close, but
on
also
like
steadily getting closer.
Leon.
That is a crazy
I can
spike
play
for
a
both
pretty
Caitlyn and
solid
Yone.
Nami.
And we have seen flashes are available now.
My
for
Zai
Chovy,
was
for
a
Canyon,
bit
not
of a
quite
lame
yet for
bully
Ruler,
situation.
and that is going to make these fights hard. Because again, this is what we sold. That was the perfect.
Why would you
setup for a
censor
KT
with
fight.
it?
Just make sure you get on top of either
In terms
Ruler
of
or
top
Chovy.
lane,
Take them out at
you
the
would
beginning.
catch me
We're
on
looking at items
Trundle,
of Chovy, which I think
Poppy,
is a lot of utility, has gone for that
Maokai
That's no arm
or
guard.
No, and I think that's probably what he's going to build towards next. But it does mean, and I was going to
Oh,
touch
yeah.
on that the 30-item spikes for BD and Duckdom are going to be so much more offensive power. We're going to get a Collector coming through from Ruler. Of course, that's still going to be some power. We're probably going to get a Zhonya's third from Chovy. So the amount of damage that they are going to be pumping out here with BDD and Duckdom, if they find that
I'm gonna
good
get this
engage,
blue.
they have the power behind them to knock
I'm
them
gonna
down.
use this
Genji
blue.
know the BDD isn't here right now. It's Ruler. Valkyrie's in. Doctor has to flash across the wall. Equalizer down as well. The Weaver's Wall from Chovy puts him on the back line. A seismic jump. Gonna cut down perfect. Cataclysm in as KT look for the fight, but they just lock Genji in. And they don't have the damage. Keen on that front line. Mortal Blade coming out from BDD for the knock-up.
Also
Chovy
do a
flashing
little
forward.
I
Chucking
don't
the rocks
normally
into
do
Duck
this.
but he can't quite get the damage. BDD finds one. Duck walks away wounded. Cuz dives into the middle, but they don't have it. KT routed by Genji. BDD locked up with the slow from a decimating smash, and that axe will make him go timber.
If you had to put me in the jungle, catch me on Vi, set you on you.
And it's the snap engage from Genji that gets them back in the lead, as this should be setting up.
I can play a
for the
decent
Baron.
echo
25
jungle too.
seconds
In
until
terms
the
of the
Drake,
mid
so the
lane,
timing a little tense.
you will
but we'll
catch
see
me
if
on
they can
primarily
get and stave
control
off that
mid.
soul weight. It's a really big deal.
When it comes to early on, they call me Jensen at
Ruler
home.
immediately in onto Duckdom, and
The
Duckdom just
keyword
has
is
under so
on
much
that.
pressure throughout this fight. Look at this Weaver's Wall, how effective it was. Duckdom is not hitting that entire time.
And when we look at the other
Yes,
side,
Hion
Prospect
gets
that also got
insanely
trapped by it,
pinky
so
in Modern League.
double duty there. Rumble
I suppose I'm not a terrible Syndra either. I think just about anyone. I mean, I play Ez, so because I play Ez, I can play
that
well.
pulls the trigger is the one that gets out ahead in the fight.
Genji using the knowledge that BDD was catching that wave top, was backing, had to TP in. They knew
in
with that extra
terms
couple of
of
seconds for the
AD,
teleport to finish its cast, they could find that
Probably
snap engage. They get the Baron, the Drake up, and it looks like
yeah,
KT
no
are
lobster
giving up pressure
champions.
around
The
it. Genji
closest
forcing
thing you
it
get
back.
is like crab.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I
Probably
think KT forcing this.
Queen.
Sometimes you need a moment just to let everything reset. They're
You'd
still on
probably
soul point,
take
Genji.
my
It's
Ez
only their
too.
second Drake. You have
I
some
don't
time
know
to
if
push out your
AD.
waves before the oncoming storm comes
I guess I
in.
kind of
with
know how to
these
play
Baron
Talon,
empowered
but then they
minions.
reload.
Yeah, I mean, KT obviously not out of it just yet, but that was a devastating blow.
Once
that
upon a
was dealt
time,
to
I
them
think I was
there
an
by
alright
Gen
player.
G. If you could have won that fight, you're losing Baron, you're losing that early soul, and now it's going to be a long time. That's a KT roller
I
coaster
think that
right
pretty
there.
much covers all the
that,
roles, right?
That's what we kind of were expecting coming in. And thus far, you know, I think we're still a few ups and downs short of Zil.
You can see Chovy, though, has his Seekers now, you know, almost on that Zhonya's. Double IE has been completed, so a lot of power still there for KT. But Gen G is just so crisp with these engages. And now that they have the run of the map, it's very difficult to surprise them. Look at the amount of vision that they're actually putting down here. You know, in this entire area, the enemy jungle is just littered with pink wards. It's 4 pink wards plus some additional wards placed down there. And it's very, very difficult for KT to find an angle to even attempt a winning fight.
A good thing for KT is they've escaped the majority of the Baron power play without losing any of their inhibitor towers. There's still a minute left on it. That's 2 waves, but with the way that Gen G are pushing out on the map, it doesn't look like they want to make this push go any further. So for KT, you don't have to worry about super minions. You can push out a little bit out of your own base, but the risk is you only have 1 tier 2 left. So if you're pushing up through mid, there's 2 ways teams can collapse on you. If you're pushing up through bot, you have to be worried about that loop around. Even if you're pushing towards your red buff, you have to be a little bit cautious because Gen G could be lying in wait.
And Gen G both have all their side lane towers, which is further kind of limits the space that KT gets to inhibit on the map. I do want to highlight the reason why, as you already mentioned, Matic, they don't really get to do a lot is because of the early Drakes. If KT wasn't at soul point, they could have just said, we don't care about the soul, we're just going to shove in the opposite 2 waves. That's not going to be the case. Baron about to time out here. Gen G want to get a little bit more damage down, but I think they also know that this turret will hold on. The Chovy says no, and I grab that one as well.
Nice use of the Weaver's Wall there from Chovy.
I just love how much protection there is for Ruler. You know, you see
I'm not a
Jason
bad
Hole coming
Dolby.
through, Canyon's diving in front,
I can play a little bit of
jumping
Over.
in. It's just get down, Mr. President. They know they have to keep these carries safe, and I think Gen G, without question to me, is the best team in the world.
I know how to play a lot more
Without
champions
threat,
in the
right?
world.
You know, 1-2 carries. They are so good.
They banned
at creating
IF
space for
because
Ruler and
Scandals
Chovy.
combined
And
with
of course,
skill makes
you
the team
have
floodgates.
arguably the best in both of their roles to protect,
mainly go
which
jungle
makes
or
it
field.
really worthwhile.
You say
sacrificing
mid, but
for
you
them.
love playing
Does also
Pike
mean
mid
that
before they got
sometimes,
into solo
they
laning.
drop
Pike
comps
mid was
and they're
really
like,
easy.
you
I'm
cannot
not
get
a
away
bad
with everything.
Jinx player
It's
either.
6-1 versus Jelly.
For
If
KT,
it's decent
the
Ashe,
threat of a soul
cool.
point does mean that they're just a single pick on either Chovy or Canyon away, or Chovy or Ruler rather.
Oh my god, yeah,
With
Dolby is
GA, it's
too
a little harder away
busted.
from getting them a mountain soul, and that can really offset a lot of the gold lead that we've already seen. But between the petals and
I'm
the
gonna
around
be
the map,
nice
Gen
and
G's
give them a
Gen
couple
G's,
different colors.
well-known ability of taking a game
But
where they're in a
normally
slightly
I
advantageous state and
don't
turning
do
it
this
into
many X of
you not
colors.
being able to play and just kind of watch as your Nexus crumbles.
And it's just so much harder when you get all these luxury items coming in. You touched on the GA. There's a Zonia's. There's a Locket, a Redemption, and he was on Exhaust. He just actually swapped off of it over towards that Ghost. So the Exhaust does expire, which makes things a little bit easier. But there's so much defensive power, and dive comps become really difficult to pull off in the late game as this defensive itemization comes through, because you don't get a second chance, right? You full send it on Chovy, he presses Zonia's. You can't just be like, wait, reset. You know, it's very difficult to then be able to disengage from the fight.
It really is. Even things like the upgraded plated steel caps for Ruler, just those little shields that can really make it so the initial burst isn't taking you down. Gen G pushing in through all 3 lanes right now. Chovy's assigned to top, Keen's on bot, and the rest of the team are grouping up around mid.
And for a second there, we had the classic KT throughout the year gold graph where everything is the opposite team, and then BDD was sitting at like 40 gold lead, desperately clinging on. As they do have the IEs, they do have a QSS for BDD as well, but it's gonna be
the
one
blue
hell of
feels
an
kind
engage
of
here from KT, and there is just, as we keep highlighting, there's just no vision. There's no surprise angle, so Gen G will see this attack coming.
There's no wards, nothing out on the map.
They just don't have an easy way to get it down as well. They don't have a tank to face check for the support to run behind, and they also don't have something like a Rakan decimating smash onto Cuz, caught out with that lack of vision. Keen with the roar of the Slayer finds his mark. BDD forced away towards the top side. Peter having to flash Doctam underneath the tower. Pop Blossom from Peter will distract the rest of Gen G. Cannon's going to go into the Guardian Angel, but the Angel's on his shoulder might be enough. Fate sealed from BDD onto the backline. They'll look for Ruler. Keen flashes. Get down, Mr. Ruler, as he blocks the shot from the ace in the hole. Decimating smash again. Perfect with more. BDD
Zonia's, the Scion's gonna keep chasing him down. Ooh, that's huge. The Scion Q there is huge. Can they pick out the Yone? Scion's gonna be chasing him down. Oh, no.
But Cuz is coming up faster.
Gonna be
They could go for the
before.
soul here right now because Cuz
You
has
never
a
thought you'd
much
see
earlier
IF2 get
respawn
hit in
timer. This was an
any
insane
format.
fight. The
It is
pick set up
a
by
surprise.
Keen to start it off was incredible, but then Canyon sends it way too far. Look at how Doctam plays this. Flashes back onto the tower, and look at the trap placement as he arrives straight onto the trap. One shot into GA, re-trapped and killed again.
And then it's BDD with Equalizer from Perfect that sets it up here. We do see the stall in the picture.
We gotta go live. We gotta go live.
As they actually pulled it to try and get her as much time as possible. Canyon's on his way.
But he's all the way back in base right now. Ping's coming out on where he is. Cuz and BDD looking for the break. Duro doesn't have the smite from some of the spell book. It's gonna be sold for KT. From 5k behind, they find their priceless moment.
How is this for a game one of the semifinals? Everyone is saying it's going to be a Gen G stop, but KT refused to follow the storylines, man. They are just giving everything they've got here.
Get down, Mr. President. Yeah, the Scion flash to save for that was.
But the soul there to generally equalize, and now it's going to come down to the execution. Who can make that big play in what could very well be the final fight of the game? The next one really could decide it.
And Gen G looking towards this Baron, but KT, another breath of life, a big mistake from Canyon, punished beautifully with the comfort. The fact that it's BDD and Chovy left standing at the end of it all, these two players that have been fighting one another, and between these two, Chovy has so often come out on top. But BDD right now, 6-2 on the Yone, picking it in game one, a pure show of confidence. And to me, this game,
should you lost today, you don't trust Big Dental.
So much value, and again, it's only
Genji's Farms who decided that.
And look at how tanky BDD is at this point. He's got his Jack Show, he's got a shield bow.
I think you should, yeah, I think you should do whatever you feel like.
But they're on the Baron.
Baron begun by Gen G. KT looking to call the bluff. It's already down to 7k. BDD going forward. There's the Weaver's Wall. Out from Joby. Peter lands a double knocker, but he's on the wrong side of the wall. The Equalizer down as well. Will chip away at Duro. Baron now resetting. Duro down to half HP. KT on the front foot, on the offensive. Joby looking for a flick. Doesn't land it. It's a shape splitter anyway. That clone from Peter.
That is two big ultimates gone though. As both the Equalizer and the Pop Blossom not available, so BDD and his team definitely taking a risk here. Canyon is behind him.
Duro looking for that redemption because he's still got the quickness. They'll dive onto Perfect and they lock him down. He dies in the River of Fate onto the back line with the Cataclysm out as well. But Ruler still stands, taken out in the end by BDD, who's now making a swift retreat. Dogdam in the pit, caught out by Duro with a headshot. He loads another into the chamber, but he can't quite get the damage down.
Alright.
As he sees his teammates fall, he can't find it. Gen G.
Alright, they're gonna get the Baron here.
And the Baron stayed least throughout all of that.
Insanity. What an angle from Canyon. And the CC is immaculate onto Perfect. They layer it completely 100-0. It is all about this engage coming from the top side. Eyes in onto Canyon and Duro finding that engage on Perfect. If Perfect does not just get one shot, if he gets his Zonias off there, I think it's a stomp in the fight for KT. But then Dogdam gets caught in the pit here. Baron is hitting him this whole time. Even though he knocked down Ruler, he can't finish off Keen. And then Peter and BDD are trying to get back in to bail him out, but they just can't. And Gen G again come up with the Baron.
And the fact that Ruler survived there was crazy. Even in the Cataclysm, the bodyguards were there, both Duro and Keen standing tall, making sure, and if there was an Equalizer on top of them, as you highlighted, that would have been it. That would have just been Ruler most likely dead. But now it is this Rebel Baron problem. It doesn't perfectly overlap with the spawn of the Elder, but it should ensure that Gen G will have a full chokehold of the vision in the map.
Just what a
This one's
crazy
looking
game,
really.
and you can see Void Staff now there in for Chovy.
Does
He's got 18
Baron
stacks
still
on the
debuff
Magi.
you
He's
from
basically
an
full
attack?
build. Ruler's
Huh?
completed his IE as well.
Good question.
So these carries are getting so
don't-
powered up at this point.
I think
that
it does,
one
but I
mistake just
think
means you get
it.
one shot.
I'm not
Flashes
sure if it
up
does
across the board
everyone.
for most
It might
of
only
Gen
be
G.
one person.
Only Duro lacking it, has the cleanse and the heal
I
right
haven't
now.
played in
On the
several
other side,
years, so I
Custal
can't quite
waiting
say.
on his cooldown to come back, but it makes the engage for KT so much harder, because even though Peter now has a flash of his own, the Pop Blossom can be evaded really quickly with that Summoner spell.
And Chovy has flash, has stopwatch, so he's alone in the side lane, can also easily join with the Weaver's Wall, and they're just slowly sieging this. KT, one of the few downsides of that Yone is that ranged wave clear is tough, same for the Rumble, so holding this off is tough.
Ooh, alright. The sign goes in just to push pressure.
Weaver's Wall out, Perfect's going to be
There
on
is
Gen
the
G's side of it,
Talia
but he's down
ult.
towards the bottom of it and will be able to escape their clutches. The inhibitor tower does fall. Top lane
I'm not
in
sure
here
if I'm
below
in
as
love
well,
with that
50
clear
seconds
ult,
left
but
on
I
this
guess that
Baron.
does
A
put
couple
a
of
decent
waves
amount of
for
pressure.
Gen G to
We're
play with.
rotating towards top.
Yeah, but it's KT holding on well. No one ever
I think the Talia ult
the
saving
tower,
for here, cutting
only
off
40 seconds
forward would be
left on this
nice.
Baron.
He goes in, and he tries to seal the
Ooh,
face of
okay,
Joey, but he pulls the
interesting.
stopwatch immediately.
Ooh, that's
Jackson
big
comes
damage
from the
on
back line. Gen G have already lost
Talia,
their mid
but
laner. A GA coming out for KT as they manage to back away. Gen G lose 2, BDD wants to make it more, can't find it, but KT hold on.
The engage from BDD is such a thing of
I
beauty
suppose that's
because
decent
the
enough to
Zhonya's
make them
loses so much power against the Caitlyn. So they go in knowing that he's
It
going to use
seems
the
a little bit
Zhonya's.
more
He
res-
uses it, gets
seems a little
trapped
bit
out of it
more
perfectly by Docdom.
evenly.
This is just such a thing of beauty, playing perfectly to your comp.
And that's a 2 for 0. The trap, the headshot, and the equalizer. Get the roller coaster back up, because now it's a 2 for 0, and Elder is about to spawn. We'll see how the Death Timers play out. Chovy does FTP. Keen does as well. But this game is still ongoing.
20 seconds for the Elder,
This
41
I-
minutes in the game. KT are looking to set up around it. There's a little bit of vision there for Gen G right now. They do have the TPs on Keen and Chovy. Keen still 10 seconds away.
But no Zhonya's will be available for Chovy, so he's going to be vulnerable.
Teleport
Okay,
comes
they're
in.
starting the Elder's
KT put up
way.
a snap trap line.
We
to
have
try
the
and stop them.
TP.
Peter has that Pop Blossom. They'll look for the Fate Seal. The Elder already down to 7,000. Shape Splitter out. Seismic
They're
shot.
doing a
Peter
really good. Ooh, that's a good zone. Oh! Okay, okay. Sion's coming in to try to steal. He's gonna flash over. The Vile is being Sonya. The Wumble. That's really deep on their end. I suppose they do want to kind of push pressure here. None of their lanes are pushed out. That's kind of the problem. Because of the inhibitor turret, mid lane's all the way pushed in. There's still the outer wing of bottom, the top lane. They're looking for something. They're looking for a fight on the Yone. I guess they're gonna try to walk it in.
But they are gonna keep pushing. The backs are gonna have to come through.
I don't know if they're gonna. Are they gonna be able to trade?
Wave clear for Gen G might be enough.
Okay, if we watch that, if we get this replay, you have to keep your eyes on the Seraph's cooldown. It came up as the Elder was ticking on him when Cuz went in, and Prox, as he would have died to the Elder Dragon execute there. That is insane how close it was. I don't know if we're going to get to see the items. We probably won't, unfortunately. So you're gonna have
Very
to take my
good
word for it. Maybe
zone.
we can see
You
it highlighted
cannot
later
stop the
on,
unstoppable,
but
but
they
luckily
get
there
the
was
secure
no
here,
steal
and
from Sion.
KT decides we're gonna full send it. Chovy had no Seraphs still at this moment. No Seraphs still at this moment. It doesn't come up until right now as it procs. That is insane. They might have been able to end the game.
And if Chovy doesn't flash the damage on that Cataclysm, that could have been it.
It really could. They call it the Church of Chovy. Well, his prayers are being answered
The
right now.
Church of Chovy.
The Archangel on his shoulder saves him. And for Gen G, they're still looking at Elder for the next minute, but it's going to expire. We talked earlier about the side lane waves, the side lane towers still being up. KT have to do a slow march through this top side.
There's a 15-second period here where Gen G do not get to contest. And I imagine KT is going to full send it towards the Baron. Now it's KT that are the ones back in control of this game. There is still a good amount of vision though. Looking at the items, Canyon has GA. And we do not can say the same of Cuz as look at that roller coaster.
Canyon spotted. Canyon spotted. There's a flank ward as well up towards where the
What a
Krugs are.
whistle. I mean, it's still anyone's game. That's the thing. It's like these two teams are very evenly
Gen G trying to step up, trying to face up against KT. The snap trap down. No autos onto Keen. Perfect looking for a flank with that pop.
Ooh, that is a good wall.
KT. Will they still look for the fight or will they switch away, decide to
I
back away?
feel like you
That's
back
what they
up
do.
here. I
They'll
feel like you
reset,
just
they'll
back
spend
off.
their gold.
I don't think it's
And
worth it
once
to
again,
try
they'll
to
face
force
KT,
anything
Gen G
crazy.
on the rift.
I mean, BDD now has his GA. Docdom has a GA. Cuz his GA is going to be coming back up. They're going to have triple potentially here. BDD just sold his. He's actually changing it out. So
Oh wow.
decides
Switching
not to
out
go for it.
GA.
But so much power now in this game. It's just going to come down to one fight. This late into the game, the respawn timers are so incredibly long. And the question is, do they actually try to risk it here on a push? Because there's still a lot of standing gold. Both the outer towers are up in the bot lane. They could go clear those up at the very least. But the question is, will they just try to play towards Elder, or will they play aggressively to try to
So
close
reassuring
this
to see
game?
that Nico clones still work on World's
The
competitive.
TP ward put down by Duro.
I mean,
they can't hold on to the turret, but they can at least do that.
You know.
Gold going to be in favor of KT, but as we're saying, we're at full builds for most people here. The Mountain Soul is firmly in favor of KT, but the Petals,
it does look like a push
here for Gen G. Although the relative value of that experience not really going to match up at this point. And Dokdam and BDD, the amount of damage these two players are dealing in these late game fights, full build on these crit carries is disgusting.
I agree. 4 damage on carries is disgusting.
130 before the Elder. KT marching down bot. Genji trying to defend. Bolt breaker from Canyon is met by a soul unbound from BDD. He snaps back to his team, but not yet to reality as KT are looking to take
back
the
to reality.
first semi-final over the
okay, that one's pretty darn good. I'll give it to that cat.
Genji struggling to find a defense right now.
And this all coming down to this, KT on the verge of taking the first game, but Gen G are
this is
not
still
gonna fall
game
over without a fight.
Keen still that meatball on the front line.
I think that goes good game
for
us
forced away the Nexus Towers. KT's target is knocked down. Headshots one. The next one for Gen G, that last bastion of defense. The cannon minion still there, seismically shoved underneath the turret. The Baron expires in 40 seconds, and again KT just playing it slow, taking it patient, snapping back again. The Nexus Tower almost down. Canyon dives in, but Peter distracts the rest of Gen G. Canyon size the GA, but the rest of Gen G can't get to him. They've been equalized. The Guardian Angel down on
yeah,
Canyon.
equalizer is disgusting. Like, one of those AoE ult has always been a huge playmaker. There have been times where you see the equalizer do like absolutely nothing, but a good equalizer, like a good equalizer, makes or breaks the game.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
take the next step in treating your moderate to severe ulcerative colitis with Entyvio, the only gut-focused treatment.
Not my gut-focused
treatment. And they are very vital parts of the composition. The combination specifically is what's going to get them reliable backline access. But both these teams are basically going to bash their heads into each other. So also going to have to see how both the Ezreal and the Varus survive.
Yeah, what the power of the Bruisers can
do.
Ezreal
like and
on the side of Gen G, you talk about comfort for KT. Well,
Ezreal.
Ezreal
Nautilus is a pretty common.
Keen's ambassador that he's never lost on 10-0.
It's poke, poke, poke. So you go all in. Alistar is interesting here, but I suppose they do need a front. Rex I can kind of get in there, but you need some skill for the vote.
KT at this Worlds have been a constant slew of surprises.
Yeah.
As we get on into game 2. Remember,
if
you are at home, you can log into your Riot account on LoyalEsports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, and capsules. You can join in, spam those emotes.
You pick this guy for his ult. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Gen G.
I mean, his base hit isn't terrible.
We'll see them with that tremor sense. Canyon's going to step forward. BDD and Dokdam are here. It's going to be a 4v3. Peter comes across to make it a 5v3, and Gen G wisely back away.
Yeah, not wanting to run any big risks. Want to highlight something that has been more and more prevalent this tournament, which makes sense with the popularity of lane swaps, but it's actually
claim to fame for Elos that you are not support back in season 4 before it became a thing. Oh yeah, no, I was also running Nautilus support like
I think as Ezreal you get a lot easier
early on
away with it than you do as
like it just made
sense.
Something
we've seen in previous metas as that evolution. When people start taking the TP, then slowly you start getting kind of sustained out of lane where they're just poking you down, pushing.
It's like how Blitz used to be a solo lane before they're like, you know what, this would make a crazy support. Like same thing with Leona. Leona used to sometimes solo lane, and then people are like, hey, wait a second, what if we just pick all the champions with 5 billion, or like, okay, Maokai and Poppy support and Galio support. My friends used to flame me for those. When I used to like play the rework Poppy as support, the rework Galio as support, they'd be like, I'm playing these champions. Like, what do you mean? It goes crazy.
And because of that, I mean, because also
Leona jungle was awesome.
Dokdam and Peter have to step away.
Yeah, no, it did make sense. It called me crazy, and I'm like, y'all want 3 kills or what? Come on.
Last game, and then both
Dreadslide is insane.
The map obviously zins out. If there is a lot of trading, has a great early game dive. Yeah, and a lot more conditional as the struggle for Jovi obviously in the early, like first back at least, sometimes even into the second, but once you get enough wave clear, the Galio obviously is able to just shrug off the damage from the Rise.
And I'm always just so interested in watching a lot of these Rek'Sai lanes because it has been such a champion that is really hit or miss at Worlds, right? Some people make it look so oppressive where they have you locked under your tower, they're taking down plates, they're slowly pressuring you and just utilizing that sustain to create these big advantages. And then other people are kind of just farming even in
he is just
useless,
like
right? So
Blitz.
we have to see Ken
Exactly, like if you ban Blitz, right? If they ban Blitz
really
and they
does set the
pick
tone
Blitz,
for what kind of a game
you
you're gonna
go
have.
Nautilus.
We get the knock up here onto Keen with that unburrow. Forces Keen a little
You
bit low.
can't take the lantern
Keen,
if
he
you
doesn't
move
use
it.
mana, nor does Perfect, obviously. We can just spam through some of those shields, dash around the wave. Does lose at the early game, but with the second
No, I
wave,
agree.
with the Dawn
Nox is
shield,
always
you're
good.
always just going to be able to keep yourself topped up.
And we see Kiana crossing over towards the top side of the map because he has Prio there. Not really able to contest for a bot side.
They
As
also
that, though,
hated me for
looks
like
Kangen
trying to
is
play
looking
mage
to
supports
match,
before they were super
and
popular.
that is going to be tough. He does feel confident. I
Like
imagine, in
Swain
1v1, but
support.
it's gonna be a little
Back
bit of a
when
time waste for him.
Swain's W used to root, or was it the E? Back when Swain used to like do the circle root instead of like the drag root. Which it got even better with the drag root. Ooh,
Yeah, BDD I think got a false sense of security because Cuz was taking the topside scuttle. I think his read is, oh, that means Canyon is on bot scuttle, so I'm going to play so heavily towards that top side. He was not expecting the Xin Zhao to be there, and I think that really did bite him. Gets completely surprised, doesn't react with the flash, then late flashed into the wall. It's kind of just the exact opposite of how last game started, where Chovy died, wasted his flash.
Yeah, that's now 2 for 2 on flashes that make me and Azil look at each other in pain. Because both of those didn't quite hit the mark. I thought actually a BDD's call was just, I am dead, and I'm going to hold on to my flash.
Yeah.
Which, in hindsight, definitely feels like that would have been the play, because now it's the flip side situation where not only in terms of BDD going down, but also because now Chovy is in the matchup that is expected to struggle a little bit early.
Yeah, against a champion like Galio for Chovy, BDD is really going to struggle as he gets towards these first few items.
I found my people
across the course of
clearly. I found people who understand.
He's constantly dominating, even on these picks that are a little bit tanky, still putting out a ton of damage.
I'm not the crazy one. They just couldn't see the vision. Or like when I was playing AP Ezreal before they made Moonglaive, they were like, no, San, AP Ezreal is bad, San. I said, don't. Y'all don't see the vision.
One of the opportunities that sometimes you have on a champion like Ambessa, and Perfect
Gave
will just
Diana
realize, you know
jungle
what, I can
tried
actually
for the
contest this.
rework.
He's
Use
gonna
this
get
until
first, I go
6.
back up.
Okay, Diana jungle was really impactful if you could watch
play there
it.
from Perfect, just backs underneath this tower. Does mean Keen will get the first
Remember
recall out of the
accidentally
stock,
doing
but
Zed
shouldn't be
support.
too much of a bother as Gen G start up the dragon down.
I think one of my favorite things was there was a game that we were playing with my friend, and somehow we had so this is back when you know Feral Flare. If y'all don't remember Feral Flare, it was a jungle stacking item. They were playing Warwick. They spent the entire game farming jungle till like 20 minutes. To the point where they legitimately dodged all enemy vision. And our opponents just assumed, this is before like you could remake the game super early, they just assumed that he was DC'd or something. And then he comes out of the jungle. Yes, I remember the Rune Gazer. He comes out of the jungle with a fully stacked Feral Flare and starts the enemy team. And they were like, the enemy team's like, what the heck? We thought War was DC.
Kills early for the Kiana. Played that fight brilliantly.
It was
spacing out so many of the abilities there from
Shoutouts
Chovy.
innovating Locket.
Even using the
That was
realm
also an
perfectly
Udia
there,
meta.
great angle for a re-engage.
And the hesitation from Gen G in that contest
We're about to
feels like
ask
it
who
was
remembers
very
Feral
well
Flare. You're so
punished
real
by
for that.
KT. Because normally in these type of fights,
Moonglaive patch was crazy. Everyone in the mother's uncle ran Moonglaive for no good reason. But the best reason ever. That thing was crazy.
doesn't actually, with that taunt set up for any meaningful damage. I thought he was just going to go for an ultimate here.
I miss get rid of the elders. I was a blue build Ezreal player, but I preferred Triforce. So I would do a weird thing where I would get the lizard and I would instead of Gaunt.
Chovy tried to hit both, and they both just kind of backed off on either side. He wasn't able to hit anyone.
Nice
So
all
Ruler
win.
gets taken down on one side.
Exactly.
Cuz is able to follow through.
Well, like, okay,
and
this
get
is so
the
weird.
kill
All of my
there.
friends was a guy.
take down
They have this
Trophy,
thing I
gets his
call
ult,
the
gets his
Rengar
flash.
thing,
BDD is looking
where
pumped.
like something
It's
happens
moments like these that you have
to
to
them
wonder
in their like
how
young
nervous is Gen G
boy
feeling,
soul,
because the
their
pressure
young
is gonna be
teenage
mounting. Something
soul,
goes bad in game
and they
two.
were like,
You know, is that in the back of your mind? The expectations
I'm
are
going to
so
play
high for this
Rengar,
team,
and then they
and
play
rightfully so,
Rengar,
but
and then they go
mistakes
get a
early
bunch
in
of
game two when
crazy
you're already
kills
down
on
one is
Rengar
tough.
because we're
And on the other side,
pre-made,
how
and then they buy the
hard
Headhunter
is it?
Rengar
Coming
skin,
into
and they
this,
make it their
as we
entire
see Peter looking to
personality for
engage
like
onto
2
Juro,
weeks.
we'll get the trample down the
And a
host
month
of
later, I'm
the
like, so you're gonna
Cast
play
dives in,
Rengar? They're like, no,
Talon,
Rengar's
the
bad.
Nautilus
I'm not playing
falls
Rengar.
first, but meanwhile the Crescent Guard from Cannon keeps him alive. Peter gets the knock up and a knockback. Ruler gets a shutdown though as 2 will fall. Gen G bite back in the game.
Yeah, that was not the fight to go there for KT. They try to full
It
send
felt
but
like
then
some
you look to
weird
Duro with
rite of
Ruler
passage
just free
for
firing
me.
on you, and Ruler gets both of those kills and a big
Yeah,
shutdown
Blue
off of
Ezreal,
Buzz.
I was a
Plus, they're
Blue
gonna be able
build
to get
fan.
the grubs
I
off
was
the
a
back
Blue
of this as well. Ruler in prime position to be able to carry now. 1K up this early.
And it shows how quickly these games can swing. Like, we were literally in the middle of talking about how KT had a really good early game, and now the gold basically even, 2 neutral objectives to 0 in favor of Gen G. They get all 3 grubs. They're 1 neutral away from that feat of objective
Let me
slaying.
turn
Cuz
off the back.
does have the Profane Hydra complete, does have an 800 gold lead, can start to steal away some of these camps with the help of Peter. This is where Kiana can really shine, just out-farming your enemy man. But they've been stymied. They've been suppressed a little bit. That early game hype, not quite as high as they look to see if Canyon oversteps. Keen here as well. The wards go down, and KT back
Thank
away.
you for the Witch Head. Victor is also really cool. So like before like Arcane and all that stuff, yeah, like Victor as a champion is really unique. The Hex Core is really interesting. The kid is also really interesting. I think people really sleep on Control Me.
Bit off a lot more than they could chew. We're still seeing, though, as you highlighted the Zale, and I want to echo it again, Gen G generally is a team that in these early games, either they're doing something right or they're not doing anything right. They're looking for a cross map, they're trying to set up for an objective.
Hello, thank you
for
for the
macro
follow.
play. Some of these early skirmishes.
I'm
KT
sorry,
has just
chat,
been
I'm a
straight
league
up
boomer. If
outplayed
y'all haven't figured that out by
Dolphin
like
Hydra
the
now
3rd
done
World Watch Party
with
stream.
Ruler having his Triforce, those are the 2 strongest members on the Rift right now.
And Ruler on this Ezreal is not the one you want to
Zoomers
have
don't
on the
remember
gold
how you had to
here,
buy the Hex
as
Core
he is
back in the
going to
day
be
and one of
tough
them made
to
you a
take
tank.
down,
Okay.
but is missing combat.
You know what I
not playing
miss?
Cleanse Barrier or anything like
I
that, so
miss the
perhaps a little bit
6
more
Warlock
vulnerable than he
Galen.
otherwise would be.
I know it
But
was
still very
really
difficult to
annoying in the
close the gap
heyday,
and
but
get
like
people
I
on
miss
him.
6
Plus you have all of
Warlock
this
Galen.
defensive power here
I
from
miss
Jovi, who's gonna be able to
Mundo's
heal if
Shoe
you're
Shop.
oversending it
If
on
y'all
him.
don't know Mundo's Shoe Shop, there was a champion in the game called Dr. Mundo. And there came a point in the game where he was so strong you could literally build anything you wanted on him and you could win the game. So people just build 6 boot items, which is like not even like a good item, just 6 movement items on this bozo, so he can walk around the map and say heck you, heck you, heck you. What season did I start? I had tried to get into like season 1, but I think I started playing around season 2 and said Ronnie came out. Took a little break, came back when Lissandra.
Still successful play though. Chovy gonna be bullied out here early. The prio is there for
I will
KT.
say that of all the relooks, I think the coolest relook skin is Thousand Eye Bear. That one is really cool. I miss the old volley bear kit. It was really funny. He would just run at you. I actually used to be a really good OG volley bear, like unironically. I can't play the new one. I used to unironically be a very solid OG volley. I think I'm not too bad at Billy either. His hits a little good. It has one of the base.
Which could be pretty good, honestly, with a lot of kind of the beefy boys over on the Gen G side.
He's still crazy to this day. I miss when Mundo just said. Anyone who could actually play Mundo said, "I don't care what I'm building, I win the game." I think one of my other favorite things is like when you start the game with like a tiny Cho'Gath. Like Cho'Gath just starts so small, and then he gets. I love when Cho'Gath gets so big. He starts blocking like a third of the sweep. I love when they get back, like the game is like a 50-minute game because it's like a tank meta. So you have a Cho'Gath that's like hit like a critical size in mass. And you just have to sit there and go like, so do we think we can... Do we think we can 4v1 the raid boss, or do we take the 5v5 and move to the raid boss?
Just Chovy thus far on his Galio, not really having the impact, got outplayed in the early fight.
Lucian is a really cool ADC. I will say he is a little less edgy than the ADC. But I suppose I can't fault him yet. Especially over.
Just to heal himself up. Keen handily winning the trades.
Only because
solo top lane matchup now.
I just always feel like Best is a completely different champion once you have the Eclipse. You know, it's especially for HP stackers.
You know what I also miss?
Like this Rek'Sai.
I miss Mercurial Scimitar. I also miss shoot, what was it?
You just can't really hurt her.
There was an item that you would build
that being said, because you have Titanic,
that it would
really
consume
matter.
itself,
and
then like you would keep it for the entire game. Like, it would build similar to Innovating Warfare. It was like a potion or something.
Again, really impressed me on this Ion.
I also miss when like you would play Annie and stack like 6 like rollers. That was really
anything that Genji asks of him, regardless of the role,
regardless of the weak side, strong side,
is just fantastic.
Yeah, and so long did he like try to get to this position in the LCK, try to manage to get through all of the ranks. He's gone from 10th to champion across the course of his career, and last year really the year that he came to the fore in the minds of many around the world. As we saw KT looking for something up towards that top side, weren't quite able to find it. There was a herald up in a minute's time, so Peter and
Malzahar. I loved playing Malzahar support before that like actually became a thing. I loved playing Malzahar support and just
never get the support that they need. It's such a
you walk up and you put E on the ADC and they're like, please, anything but the spacing.
Obviously starting with that breakout year.
There's my alarm.
KT.
I mean, even beyond that, it's just hard to look good on a bad team, right? Like, it's so hard to even have people pay attention to you because League is such a team game, and when other lanes are losing, the map can just fall apart very, very quickly.
It was unironically one of my, or when you play Malzahar mid. No, it was
so impressive.
Malzahar mid, and you roam bot lane, and then you flash ult the enemy ADC, and then they rage quit because they message their Fizz, and they're like, the Malzahar roam to the bot lane, and you didn't follow. Your Fizz.
Most notably, Ruler really wants to try and finish that second item, get the stack set up in about a minute.
Never make me play this game.
Drake fight set up, minute and a half until the Drake actually spawned, and it will be a must fight for KT.
Classic flash ult the ADC.
Rotate around that with the Realm Warp, as well as use the power of that Rek'Sai and Kiana to get on the back line. Genjido not gonna let them breathe.
Like, y'all ever just now fight and you flash ult the ADC. And they decide that life isn't what, life isn't what
backs away from the Herald, which will reset his patience in a moment. Chovy TPing in, the hook's gonna land.
I'm a most valid ADC player, alright? If I have a complaint as an ADC player, I hope y'all know I'm very valid, because I'm an ADC player that can play other roles. My complaints are valid.
Missed times as they go in. Ruler able to pick up one, another hook coming out from Duro. The depth charge on the back line into the taunt from Chovy. Genji rule the rift as KT can find nothing.
Does Genji really rule the rift?
Showcasing their incredible
you quench your addiction with 1 week of AOM. I don't even have an addiction anymore. I just like thinking back. When they first added the Rift Herald, Shelly was a cute one.
Duro finds another hook.
Now I think it's like a whole different thing. I miss Scuttlecrab was also a really cute addition. I think it's nice that they gave junglers like something else to do for like 2 minutes.
But not gonna be enough.
I have stolen quite many Darwin and quite a many Dragon as Ezreal. I think my best was I killed an enemy Elise and stole Drake at the same time. Or like, sometimes I'll play it in ranked. I would play it in ranked, and if I didn't trust my jungler, like, I would just steal the objectives. And I would type in all time, like, look at me, I'm the jungler.
And we will see if they can replicate that in the second fight.
Ruler now
Thank you
2,500
for the
gold
hug.
ahead of his
How are
opposite
you,
man,
Steve?
already on his going towards his third item as Dogdam only sits on one. Perfect looking for the flank. The Drake begun. Hex flash forward. Canyon dives on a Peter. Riptide has been
Good times, good
summoned
times.
towards the
Never
top
make me
siders.
do it again.
They go in for the fight, and we see KT able to secure the Drake, but Peter now needs to retreat. Perfect looks towards the top side.
I think that's also the champion I have the most Pentas on,
Down comes the
probably.
anchor and sends him into the depths. Gen.G find another. For KT, they got the Drake, and that's really all they wanted. Riptide charges in. Perfect matches it. Should be able to
Like they
kill it
say,
off.
chat.
Duro
So
with a
cute.
good hook away to BDD, still on
Thank you
the
for the
chase.
hit chat. Thank you for the question chat.
Mystic shot from Ruler, but it's on screen display of talent.
Come on. Come on. Ruler. You're making my boy look bad.
Another KT turn around the fight.
And it's straight up disrespect from Gen.G, looking for exit kills, and Katie says thank you very much as Ruler tries to
I miss
replicate
the old
play,
SVOW.
but instead
I miss
just
being
RNG
able to
shifts
harass
to
people
Ruler.
through wave. I miss being able to like buff my entire team with HP. I miss when that thing healed.
Back away from the play, Cuz able to steal.
I
more
can't believe they
distance
took away
The goalie
Ezreal's
Ruler
support
had
from
cut
it.
by 800. He is
We
still the
can't
most
have anything
player
when it comes
in
to
the
white
game, but
team.
KT have shown if Gen.G overstep, they'll pounce.
It's just incredible. You know, you're going up against a team that I would say probably greater than 80% of people coming in thought were going to be the runaway favorites. We're supposed to win this event. You're falling behind. You're giving arguably the best AD carry of all time, a massive gold lead, almost an entire item ahead, and then you're saying, nah, I just win.
And they do. And this is a split call, I think, here from Gen.G, because Ruler going in that aggressive when there is no follow-up. Gene was facing. They clearly weren't expecting KT to play
Very
this heavily
sliced Twitch
towards
ult in a
holding
team
on
fight.
to that mid lane
Yeah,
pressure.
Twitch ult
And
is
that a
super
lot of
fun.
the
I'm a very
ability that is
decent Twitch player as
reinvested,
well.
and what goes down in KT
Really? Well, I've always been kind of decent at Twitch, but part of why I got so good at Twitch is I think it's like my favorite all-time AD. I had to make sure I could make use of his
Something that
skin.
KT has done beautifully through these two games. They're not
But actually, I was playing it in you should be here instead of you. You can be wherever you like. I don't
And
mind.
KT couldn't be bigger underdogs. You have to look at it. We talked about the predictions earlier on today, but
right on pace for my prediction. I don't know what you're talking about.
Already.
I'm doing okay job of keeping up with both. I think. I'm a little slow sometimes. Just feel a little patient. Pretend that I'm like the jungler that can't
I
do
know you
it.
were joking.
Dead serious.
Dead serious. Okay.
My honest
Yeah.
prediction.
Do I
3-0.
want
I
to
don't know. I
open?
just don't know why you guys didn't see it.
I want to
Hindsight is
open
20/20, I've got to say.
crackers. I think I want to save the build.
Apparently, as
I don't know if I want to eat some chocolate right now because we're probably going to
They are still very even in
But
this game.
I want to make
Gen.G,
sure
you
we
still have
finish
Ruler,
this
one of the
one
best AD
quick,
carries,
because
if
this
not
is
the
a
best AD
paid
carry in the
commission.
world, on a pick
We're
that is
finally
so
getting
hard to
some
pick
paid
up.
commissions
He is
on the
still on
Reague
his way
game,
to
which
that
I'm
third
very
item, but for KT,
happy
these small
about.
moments, these small fights really start to accelerate
Makes
things in
me
their
kind of
favor.
proud
Still,
that
though, night
people
and day
like
between
the
how Gen.G looked
concept
against
of my
Humble Life
artwork
and how they
enough
look
that
against
they would
KT
want
now,
to
right?
pay
And that is
for
just the
these
intangibles,
little
the fact that
cool
Chovy is in
boosts.
another semi-final, something that most players dream of ever achieving, but for him it's just been a hurdle. And right now,
Some players dream of
hit from Keen as
achieving.
well. He has come
It's just
through for
another
Gen.G so
regular
many times
day.
that I think they're looking towards Otacon.
And you can't overstate it
Hello,
enough, right?
welcome on
When
in, so
for
sorry.
Chovy, really the only thing he hasn't done is won Worlds, right? He's won
Welcome on
LCK a
into
bunch of
the
times. He's
quick
won
side of
MSI. He's dominated in every other conceivable way. You work your entire year long for these couple games that you're playing. And the
I'm
amount of
slowly
pressure that he
making
must be putting
progress,
on these
chat.
games, on himself
We're
in these
getting
moments
watch hours
is
on
just
YouTube.
immense,
I
because
do
it doesn't matter
intend
what he did the rest of the year. If you don't win at
to
Worlds,
make
for Chovy, that's a
YouTube
failure.
fun.
That's the level of player he
Eventually,
is.
once we have more
It's not
time
just
to
about the
video
win,
edit.
it's about playing well
So when I'm
alongside
done with
it.
a bunch of
He puts
miscellaneous
so much
fun.
pressure on himself to perform
I'm
in
trying
moments like
to
this,
get in
and
a
to
good
fall
cycle,
at
but
not
pushing out
quite the
fun
final
stuff.
hurdle, but one short of
And,
it again
let's do it.
would be such a disappointment for him as a player and for Gen.G as a lineup. 8 years since they last made it to the finals, 8 years since they last won the World Championship
I
as
do also
Santon
want
Galaxy.
to get us in a
There
position
it was
where
T1 they met here. I feel we've talked a lot about how this year matches 2017.
I do want to
in
get
many
us in a
different ways.
position,
For
chat,
Gen.G,
where I'm
I
putting
damn well
out
hope it
YouTube
does. It's
content,
Keen and
and
perfect
we
meet down
get.
towards this bottom
I
side.
would
We have
like to get
20 seconds
YouTube
left on the
partner
Drake.
one
We
day.
saw
That would
point
be
for
nice.
Gen.G would be the second for KT.
I think unlocking like
Artican
ads
available,
on YouTube
but
is
we've
kind
seen
of
enough throws at that throughout this
Thank
world.
you.
I don't think either of these teams are gonna
I appreciate
immediately go for it.
Only
unless
do
they
as
find
much
the
as y'all
perfect
want
window.
to. You know,
I mean,
don't
that's the
do
thing.
anything
We keep
too
seeing
crazy.
that, but teams still have the confidence to start
Also
it, right? They're
that,
going to go
but-
right to it. And we've
You
seen
know,
it
like I
time
was
and
telling
time
y'all,
and
I'm
time
a
again.
little-
But Dragon spawning here in 5 seconds.
It's
KT
a
with good
tad
position
bit
here once
motivated, I
again in the
suppose,
area.
but-
You can see Chovy is moving down. BDD's going to teach
Try
it early
and
to be with the
do
squad,
more
but
content.
we'll see if they just are going to start it. It looks like they will.
Double to B.
It's
Couple of
the
wards in the back of the pit
tap.
from Gen.G as they look to gain vision around it. Perfect looking for that flank. No wards where he is. Duro going in with
We
the
might
ult.
have to play Alestral's
Down to
Awaken, by the
6,000.
way,
Perfect
chat. A
still.
certain rabbit
Keeping his
might
head out
want
and
to
diving.
play.
Canyon looking for the steal here, but it's cut.
So in the off
BDD
chance that
forced to
they
push
might
away here
want
as
to,
Angels
I
Jones in the
suppose
pit. Keen
I
diving
may
forward.
have to
Called out by
learn how to
Perfect.
play
Canyon
like
falling lower.
Awaken
As Cuz
or get the
finds
game
two.
early.
KT winning the fight on the bottom side.
I didn't
But the top
support
side
the,
belongs
so
to
I
Red
spread
Team.
the
Rule
Kickstarter.
on
I didn't
top
back
down.
the
Chovy still on the
Kickstarter
track.
because
Dogdan trying to get away.
I'm trying to be a little bit
Perfect
more
trying to
budget
take it.
conscious
From Dogdan.
with
The
some of
torch
my
falls from Chovy.
Alestral
Chovy
spending.
falls. Only the top laners left
I will
alive,
use,
and Perfect
you know,
will burrow
obviously
his
like
way
stream
away.
and prize squad funds for
What a team
entry.
fight from Keen, though, and what a team
I
fight
want
from
to
these
start
two
saving
teams.
some of the
It
stream
is an
funds to
absolute bloodbath, but
do
it's Cuz that walks away,
pricing and
importantly,
things
with
for
the
a lot of our
Dragon here,
community.
grabbing another one for his team. Keen just solos out BDD, though, in the face of Perfect. He had an incredible fight here, really keeping it close.
And it's starting to feel like Gen.G again, not quite the timing right there to deny X's for Cuz. And look at these health bars here multiple times. BDD on the edges of this fight.
See how that's
Perfect
doing.
actually finding Ruler at the beginning. And as a result, Ruler can't quite dish out the damage. And then right here, Dogdom staying alive. Really buys the time for Perfect to then get back on top.
Both
There's no
ADs
cooldowns, and
going
you can
down
see
really
on
quick in the
face of
fight. It
Cuz,
is a little rough
he's feeling
into
himself
these
on this Kiana.
pretty hard
Giant gold
engaged
lead here
teams
for
for
him.
both
And he's
ADs.
been getting the better
Like
of
even Ezreal, who's
in this
pretty
entire
slippery as an
series.
ADC, like that is a scary team to have to walk into. Alistar, Varus, Ryze,
On that Varus.
Kiana, and
Every
Rek'Sai.
fight like that is elation. You're the underdog. It is your rebellion. You're taking down the champions elect for Gen.G. Every fight like that, excruciating. Every moment you're like, oh, we could have won it. We could have got the Drake. We would have been on Soul Point. And now Gen.G will call for a fight at Artican. KT will muster their men and we'll see another battle.
Oh,
Yeah, Perfect's
I wasn't
TPing
told
already,
before
but BDD is moving over. They are a little bit slow to join here.
Who knows,
And
chat?
Duro could
Maybe
just
at
out
some point,
control
if I
this
find
drive rush.
free time
Looks
in
like a
our
difficult
schedule. The
approach,
problem is, like, a lot of
KT,
my
are
free
they
time,
they're
chat,
going
is
back
going
to
to
the
be
red buff
used
to try
towards
to
making
buy
art
time,
this
but
year.
that's
Like, I need to
spotted.
finish this
They're too
fake
late now, it feels
but
like.
there's a lot
Might
more
look
art
for the
pieces
steal.
in
Baron coming onto the rift, but Gen.G already secured the Artican. KT backing away. Cuz still looking for that supreme display of talent, a game changer around terrain like this, but in the end, it will just be the red buff to KT, the Artican to Gen.G.
And that's a trade that Gen.G will more than happily take. Obviously going to be very happy that they're able to, again, get this lead. When it comes to the pedals, Artican has been so very highly valued by teams. That's the only conclusion you can draw, because it feels like teams keep taking a very big risk to secure it. Mid lane turret still stands. KT might be looking for a punish.
Tower down to about a third. Dogdan coming in from the side as well, does have that chain of corruption, but in the end, Gen.G will back away without pushing the tempo any further. Gold basically even, 2 Drakes apiece. The Artican really...
I'm glad that YouTube
difference
has
between the
been
two, the
well
chain of corruption into the
I
hand of
know
Aaron
I have been
Tua.
getting some
Needs the protection
comments
of Chovy to keep him alive, and he'll find it. KT though now
on like
having
videos
checked
and
out the
shorts
enemy
about
AD, how he can
Team
push for the
YouTube
tower.
stuff.
Really
so
well played there by
I was a
Dogdom.
little
They
bit
play around
unsure
vision
at
around that
first, but
corner.
I'm glad that
Gets
people are
Ruler so
enjoying
incredibly low, they're
it.
threatening.
Gen.G have to back
Even
away.
some of the streams that aren't
The
like
risk of getting
usual,
knocked
I'm
up
glad
there.
people are
The
enjoying. The
follow-up
usual has been
from
really
Peter
well
would have been
received.
enough.
I
Supreme
think there
display
was
time
one
obviously
stream
down
where we ended
because-
up getting like
But
40
KT will
something
take the
subs
tier 1 in
on
mid.
new
We'll
subs
see
on
what
YouTube.
Gen.G
Which
do
is very
around these
surprising.
resets. Sometimes when a team finds
So subs on
a pick
YouTube are a
like
lot
that, at least
different
on
than
a
subs
tower,
on Twitch.
you see
to
them
make
backing
that
away
clear.
and then they lose their tower in response, but KT are keeping Dogdam around to defend.
And Dogdam sitting here with that Serpent's Fang. Actually able to negate a lot of the shielding to come through for so many members on Gen.G. For Duro, for Keen, for Chovy. We saw the damage he was able to output there as Gen.G gonna start off this Baron. I think trying to catch KT off guard. KT does know this is happening.
BDD's in the bot side, does have the teleport and will use it immediately to come up here. Was on a reset, instead TP's in. Gen.G with that Baron down to 6k. The hook's going to land onto Peter. He pops the unbreakable will to try and walk away. Cannon goes in with the crescent guard, but they can't find the damage onto the cow. Perfect, chipping away at them from the bottom side. Chovy still looking for the chase. In the end, it's an Alistair ultimate, and KT disengage.
Yeah, that got pretty dicey for Gen G. Peter, again, this was an issue in that first game. Going a little bit too far ahead of the rest of the team. Loses his ulti, and he is not going to be punished for it, but we'll see if they can find anything.
And we'll see if Genji's happy with that, because that was, to me, felt like they wanted to take cooldowns
seems really
to play for Dragon, right? Because the moment that the teleports came through,
I do kind of agree with
off. Chovy still was his, so he can now be a sideline pressure point. Same for Keen.
The funniest thing, actually, this reminds me, so
team picks it up,
I used to play on like a really bad laptop, like a laptop from like 2005 or something, maybe 2007 or 2008, and I used that for years playing League of Legends. Cause that like I think I won on legitimate post. But I was one of those players that had like, I had like 15 FPS, I could barely see the screen, like, if I did land a skill shot, it's because I like, I just did it insane solely.
And BDD and Perfect were pretty late.
So I remember my friends used to hate playing
They get the dragon, they go to Soul Point.
But I was actually still a pretty decent length despite that. Because when we at least won in a team fight, I could tell them to
side of the wall now dashes in with that arcane shift. Perfect clears out a bit of vision. Cuz hasn't been seen here. Genji, the Baron down to 6.5k. Canyon and Ruler still on it. Cuz still looking for the steal. Perfect and BDD down towards the bottom side, distracting the rest of Gen G. Cuz can jump in. The Winds of War from Chovy. Duo knocked up. Redemption out. Canyon almost falling as Cuz dives into the pit. There's no jungler there. Canyon goes in. And he manages to land the smite. KT now on the back foot. Public execution from Keen, not quite connected.
Trying their best on this field there. We're gonna go into the fight, but Galio's gonna clean up the rest of that though.
Perfect diving onto that back line. Chovy falling lower. Keen forced away towards the top side. Chovy with a stopwatch. Top down card.
Yeah.
The piercing arrow through that. Flash away. The Realm Warp gets
the Realm Warp gets him out.
But
that is his hidden.
And Gen G, they walk away with the objective. But that felt anything or nothing like the Gen G we're used to. KT, a little bit of an overstep there towards the end. Again, looking for that blade to equalize it. As the Rebel Baron power play will be in favor of Gen G, but that was close.
I mean, let's be honest, it came down to a complete burger flip. Canyon got chunked down very low here. It was knocked down again. Beautiful all over the wall, gets him low, and then Cuz is on the Baron, but Canyon flashes back in, able to finish it off. That was so close. If KT walked away with that Baron, it is devastating for Gen G. And then again, this re-engage this time from Peter was beautiful. Chovy comes through with the ulti, but Docdam and BDD the whole time are just free firing, getting so much work done in these fights.
Oh, advertise.
And Docdam,
I can't believe we got an add in Espanol chat. That's crazy.
Still not used.
I did not comprehend anything they were trying to advertise, but I suppose I appreciate
amount of damage in that fight, and now Gen G, we've seen him in his position. Last time it was Canyon going in too deep. They get a redo this time around.
BDD's pushing in a side lane. KT have already given up the ghost on this inhibitor and, well, at least the tower. Gen G can push for more. Chovy's pushing in mid for that tier 2. The inhibitor will go down on the bottom side as KT look to defend their mid tower. BDD does have the TP. Chovy's a little bit isolated here. Ruler arcane shifts across to make sure.
There was a lot of gold lead on Gen G's side, though I will say that
4K out of it.
Yeah, creating a pretty large advantage, but they are not
if they can wait out the Baron,
GA
it's still kind of
Zonia's completed. Second GA now coming through. Canyon and Keen both have theirs done. But we can't count KT out. They have shown us in this series their resilience, how much they are just fighting and scrapping for everything. Gen G absolutely in control. But really, it's eyes on this next dragon. 145.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it could still go either way.
Will absolutely continue, but you have to think with the lead that Gen G already have, if they claim Soul, it's pretty much theirs.
Look at how close that is to game 1, man. Like, this is exactly the same time it started going up for Gen G. And that fall at the end of the climb of the coaster for KT is exactly what they wanted. True Shot Barrage takes half of Docdam's HP.
Holy.
Almost a K off his total.
That's a huge SO. What are they building? Let's see, they have a 4-stack mana. Ionian boots, of course. Shojin. My favorite Triforce.
Obviously, the big issue is that upcoming.
I am 100% a Triforce over blue build Ezreal enjoyer. I think there's certain games where blue build is better, don't get me wrong, but if you gave me a choice, if you gave me a choice, and I didn't feel like I needed blue build to live, I would pick.
Taking that over, sweeping out wards. Yeah, the Baron's gone, but you know that KT have been locked up in their base for so long that they haven't been able to get out on the map and reclaim vision. And Peter has been getting picked a number of times, and it could be a repeat.
Flash hook, immediately they
Ooh, flash! Oh, whoa!
Now Peter tries to flash away, tries to get to
disgusting, and that's gonna be a Trojan reset on the old time.
Don't even need to turn towards that Drake yet. They can push for the tier 2 on the top side. They can push for the inhib tower on mid.
And Genji not wanting to repeat their mistakes of game number 1 when Canyon went in way too deep this time, waiting for them to approach. That should just be the soul, right? That should just be the Ocean Soul going over to Genji, making the
so was blue build again, so was Iceborne Gauntlet, Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Mana Moon, Ionian Boot, and sometimes you would actually build both tier items.
They basically get a redo, and they do it perfectly. Dogdom junked very low.
So Iceborne, Mana Moon, Spirit of the Elder Lizard.
Ocean Soul, it is so hard to really have much value. You are now looking really for 100 to 0 type plays, right? You have got to find that perfect engage, burst someone down before they have a chance to get value from that Ocean Soul, or you just don't have much of a chance.
And you already highlighted as though I'm looking at 1GA.
It wasn't Zephyr. It was the armor pierce item. Armor pierce item. It was
That could work.
Yeah, you could kill him.
I think it's still in the game today.
It doesn't even flash right now.
I mean, look, he's a guy from the ocean.
It's
with
not
Ocean
Mortal
Soul.
Reminder.
I think that gives him,
It's
like, double power out of it or something,
bonus.
you know?
There was an item that you would build that gave you armor thing. And then you would also build, you would either build hammer or you would build, God, what's the frost mana item? The armor mana item. It was an armor, brutalizer? No.
That's not easy to do.
Last Whisper. Yeah. Okay. Iceborne Gauntlet, Mana Moon, Boots, Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Last Whisper, and then sometimes instead of one of those two, you would build the hammer. The hammer, or you would build, God, I forgot the name of it. Frozen Heart. Yeah, you would build Frozen Heart.
Chovy falling lower, Perfect's on the flank, lands a double knockup. Chovy needs to get out, and he will. A public execution slays the cow. Roast beef for Keen as he finds two. Dogdam will follow. Canyon dives back in, flashes away, still has the angel to bring him back to life, and now Keen can advance and cuz.
And then sometimes you would build Guardian Angel, so like the last item in blue build Ezreal would actually vary depending on the game. But usually it was Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Mana Moon, Iceborne, one of the two between like the pink item is either GA or the Frozen Heart. And then you would probably end up on like Last Whisper, but sometimes you could build Zephyr. I'm pretty sure, like, if I'm remembering correctly.
Almost takes him out.
I'm gonna double.
And now Genji with
and yeah, Elder Lizard. After they removed Elder Lizard, you could still build it, but in my opinion, it really wasn't.
At first it looked dire. I like that from Peter. You have to go for these flippy plays, right? You're looking to lose the game. You need to go for the Hail Mary. And 99 times out of 100, that cow does not jump over the wall, but the teleporting cow this time finds
blue
his
build
mark.
as
But
well.
there are all these luxury items, right? The fact that Chovy
No,
stays
that's
alive for
modern.
so long.
How about like
the fact that
OG
Canyon
blue
just
build?
gets to play with
Yeah,
reckless
Last Whisper, Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Mana Moon, Iceborne Gauntlet. Sometimes you could build, Banshee. Sometimes you would build Banshee. So like the last slot was like a flex item.
Keen is just untouched. I mean, it's not like you can start a fight out going for the Mbessa. You have to deal with some of
I
these
think there's like
members,
modern
and that
blue
just
build
gives Keen
Ezreals
all the
too, but like
freedom in
the
world
OG blue
to
build
just crush
Ezreal.
through these fights. He's gonna have a beeline straight
You could also
towards
book.
them.
Oh my god, how could I forget
It's
about
never really
book?
when you can win in a million
Blade
years.
of the Rune King, duh. Yeah, that was usually your last item
Has
too.
been Keen's talisman
So,
throughout the year. Looking to make
you
it
have a lot of
here
options
in
as
the
blue
semi-final
build,
to
but
put Gen G
yeah.
on the board in this series.
Yeah, double tier
control the
item
game
too.
one.
Sometimes you'll go
They have more
double tier
control
item. Yeah,
over game
Bork,
two with the Ocean
Bork,
Salt.
Elder
So 2 minutes
Lizard,
before the
TDR
Elder and
boots,
a minute and a half before
Gauntlet,
this Baron expires.
sometimes double Gauntlet,
in here has
well not
respawned
double
for
Gauntlet,
KT.
sometimes double tier item. So, the core build, Boots of Coin,
out of what felt like at that point
Elder Lizard,
position that
Mana Moon,
Gen G wouldn't lose from as they
and
are
Gauntlet. Your last two items varied on what you needed. Usually Bork, sometimes Last Whisper, sometimes double mana item if you could afford it, because you have decent AP ratios, sometimes Banshee's Veil, sometimes Last Whisper, sometimes Frozen Heart if you needed to be
this
tanky.
mid-lane wave that Chovy is going to begin to bring in. Gen G though can still use the top
Like, you
side,
were
knock
like
off onto
married
He
to the
dashes away.
concept.
The route onto Jura with the Rune Prism, perfect, falling lower. Forced away by Ruler. Will be able to heal up in that passive. True Shot Rush dodged by Cuz, but not by Peter. A public execution onto the backline. The knockback onto Keen immediately. The redemption coming out as well.
Yeah, you lost some bush a lot from it's cool. It depended on what you had to do in the game though, because there were some games where you would just, it would be better to spam, and there were some games where you needed the bull.
And you know Ruler is calling for that. Pentine comes right now. Already picked up his double. KT though, they're going to try and hold on. TP's going to come in. Baron buff still for another 10 seconds.
Reset coming out from Chovy. He's finished a neat death cap. The Rabadons for that extra bit of damage. The Nexus
That was also an option too. If you were far enough ahead, you could actually build Rabadons as Ezreal. The other thing you could build was shoot, what was it? There was some games if your team needed AP damage late game, you sell Gauntlet for shoot, Lich Bane. There were some games where you would unironically sell Gauntlet for Lich Bane.
Build a website you love with Wix.
I know it sounds crazy, but just trust me on this when it works. Did the game just end?
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
I was so
Maybe the
lost
Gen G
in the
draft does
sauce.
win, right? You know, they're just kind of that
I was so
team
lost in
that
the
can
sauce. I
execute
didn't know
on
it's the game.
anything. But it is going to be an exciting one. I really like the risks I think that KT are taking. I think they took a couple good ones. And BDD Azir is something that you can count on and have been able to count on for so many years.
A single best of 3 between these two LCK teams, and the finals between that spot in the heavens that they talked about earlier today. For Chovy, a final.
When you've got a classic ride, you need tools you trust.
It was interesting. I liked that a
Wonderful
lot.
chance to show that on the international stage he can perform just as well as he can domestically.
I also really liked playing Elise support. It was really funny. One time me and my duo partner, we played Blitz playing Thresh bot lane. This was probably like season 4. And it was really funny because they went Thresh AD. So if you do it correctly, there comes a point in the game with Thresh where you just literally one swap.
Cassante would survive that a lot better than the
Oh,
Aatrox, but
Imperial.
Aatrox can
Do
still
I want to
farm
hear a
range with his
drama?
Q, so
I'm not really
Casante's
sure.
gonna
I
have
don't usually
traditional
care too much.
top lane v top lane, bot lane v bot lane.
League of Legends stream? Never.
Nothing too crazy yet. Not looking anything too unorthodox in Brune
I don't know, maybe. Or we might drag me into it one of these days.
With the lethal tempo, just the power of Ash in general, as well as Peter with the Airy, would obviously expect this early laning phase to be heavily in favor of Dum and Peter. We already also highlighted the power of that Ash arrow, because I think the pick on KT is actually great. You know, if you can get a stun into the wall, but once you get to the later team fights, that opportunity just isn't always going to be there. So having the arrow and no cleanses either, right? And as you already highlighted,
there he is. That's my goal. That's my horse.
All the priority they put for this level 1, double wards in the side brushes here, so that Duro cannot sit in a side brush whatsoever. So KT, you know, did put the emphasis on getting this vision down here. And look at the poke. I just don't think that Duro expected both of those side brushes to be warded out.
This also weakens Duro's level 2 because he has to take the Eclipse at level 1, which means he doesn't have the Zenith Blade Shielded Daybreak stun combo. So he's now waiting for level 3 before he can really have an impact when he goes in.
Yeah, when your health is low, you can't really look for the all-in because it can turn so bad for you. So you always have to think about how the
There's nothing wrong with ARAM.
Lulu and Ashe, because if you go in there, you get
ARAM is a long celebrated,
and you can take so much damage on
a long celebrated enjoyment.
That 2v2, you talked about how it was going to be critical for them to have success in that 2v2.
An international pastime.
It's not just that; it's that on the enemy team is what I think is probably the best diver that we got. Sivir might be a bit of a struggle if Rula can keep hold of his summoners, but with just barrier, we'll have to see if he can survive. There is definitely an opportunity for Kha'Zix if they take more damage, but we have seen Ruler and Duro basically just stay underneath the turret, and I think just try and not get traded at all, just so that they aren't really dive targets. Canyon obviously is also towards the bottom half of the map. We do see the coverage in the Tri-Brush board there as well.
It's today in Vietnam.
Just continuously
Vietnam. So university teacher bought his entire class to a 7-Eleven convenience store.
There's the threat when KT have this push on the bot side for them to invade with Cuz around the level 3. Cuz skips his red and you invade towards the blue. You can see Peter's going to start doing it now.
They tried to warp the store. That's messed
just
up.
to make sure if he had to back away, they still have a little bit of vision around there. KT will invade. There's
But
nothing left for them to take. Canyon's already on his way up towards the top side. Scuttlecraft. So it will just be an exchange of the crustaceans between these two junglers.
Crustacean. That's me. It's me. Seriously.
Actually getting the worst
No one
as
activation.
Orianna into Azir is not something that we've seen of this player, and it's again a reminder that BDD gonna be up early now. I think Chovy will be able to
Oh
mostly
geez,
equalize.
that's definitely something that happened of all time. Yeah, since Sally mentioned that, wake up.
Again,
We were mentioned at the World
We do
Championship.
need to highlight, particularly with Orianna, who in the early levels we've seen be extremely impressive in this matchup.
And I just feel like Chovy, his whole career, he's been synonymous with lane dominance, right? You know, Chovying. People can refer to it as just getting all
wow.
the CS, never missing anything.
That's
he has interviews where it's just so funny. It's like, well, how do you have these incredible CS numbers? Like, well, just
Yeah,
don't
that
miss
is kind of rude.
it's simple. Exactly. But yeah, it is a bit of a surprise to see BDD being able to put that pressure on him.
And I think importantly, the surprise is not that BDD is playing well. We expect BDD to play well. He's probably one of the top 2-3 mid laners so far at this World Championship and has been consistently top of the tables through his entire career as the Zenith Blade hits, but BDD should just be able to walk away from this one. Duro will be able to back out as well. Glitter Lance doesn't connect. BDD just constantly slapping him with a few of those early Azir auto attacks.
Yeah, I don't believe in curses, but that you were trying to
I
serve me
don't
some
believe
evidence
in
there,
No,
Medic.
just kept going.
Yeah,
There's no curses.
He's okay.
It's LCK. You don't believe in curses, there are no curses.
Well, I don't.
I would do even better than Chovy in this game. Are you sure?
Oh, okay. So if
Chovy's pretty darn good.
We agreed?
No. That's only very specific. I also feel like I can't do that. You know, he has
I
to
suppose
do that
that's
himself.
somewhat
you
interesting.
can.
Very
You can't do
unfortunate.
anything about it.
Suppose thank you
I
for
could do
sharing.
that, but, like, that was
your
Unfortunate
fleeing to
that
the
didn't
Netherlands
happen.
afterwards.
No, but that won't feel fair, you know? I don't want to bully Atlas. That's not nice.
He always bullies you.
Oh, yeah, but that's his love language. It's fine. I'm not
that's true.
bothered.
That is true. Early doors, not too much happening in this game, which is why we went into LCK mode for a second. Keen is getting the push here on the top side. Will be able to get himself a plate, winning out on that 1v1 matchup as expected for the Aatrox in the early game.
Yep, going to be able to have the push there. I mean, Keen doing very well. Canyon is here, and Dr. might be getting faded a bit.
Just a little bit. Just chasing down Duro and Ruler there, but they don't go too far. Cuz coming in from the side will spot Canyon with his Oracle's alteration, clear out the ward, and Canyon wisely backs away.
Not seeing any action too early.
November
too crazy here.
20th.
Thanks to that play from Duro and mid. Chovy
Happy
able
teacher day.
to
Took long
maintain
day.
parity on the CS. Canyon is about
Yay.
to level 6. Both of these
Yeah.
junglers, I think, building towards that Sundered Sky.
Come
trying to
on,
hit that
come
as
on.
soon as
Unfortunately, I'm really
possible.
bad
Look
at
for
Viet,
side
so
lane
I
plays, and
apologize.
his targets are
Xin lỗi.
kind of so-so outside of bot lane because the zero obviously has
Can't
some
không
ability.
biết nói tiếng
Still
Việt.
has flash available. Top is Cassante. Feel like I don't really have to elaborate on that one. And KT
Yeah,
going to be using the
Mom,
spot lane prior to start the first Reague, and getting early dragons has been really big deal in this series.
Apologies, Tab. My VIA is terrible. I can at best do English.
BDD had first push in mid lane.
And even then, it's not very good.
Even if there was going to be a look, which we kind of know there isn't, they would have been ready to stop any sort of Gen G pressure. And now Perfect knows he is the one on weak side. He's got to be careful because really the only thing that Kanan could potentially be doing is looking
I think we did a pretty solid job with it.
Early objective stacking has been 100% predicted.
I'll try my best.
The game so far in this series. If you take the first two drakes, you win.
I'm glad you like
Obviously a little bit of an up and down on the way to getting there, but we will see if KT...
Actually, how do you say that? Como se dice in Vietnamese twin tail? I know I just said that in Spanish, but like I don't know how to ask how to say something in Vietnamese. So, como se dice pigtails or twin tails in Vietnamese? Como se dice twin tails in Vietnamese?
I knew you would.
Como se dice means how do you say?
Canyon is there, but this is Santon. Maybe could get...
I unironically at one point in my life knew more Spanish than I did Vietnamese. On my really, really old high school transcript, it says that I'm biliterate. Allegedly, I know how to fluently read and write Spanish. That is a lie. I have not practiced Spanish in over
and they have
a
first move here, so KT definitely want to contest.
Keen in the back of the pit. And just dash across. Volley from Dam. Grub's begun. KT with 5 Chovies on his way across. Juro stepping forward. Flash shield of David finds the sun. Grand Starfall coming out as well. Keeper's verdict from Cuz. The shockwave. Peter flashes it. Ruler.
Ooh, solid as ult. Solid as ult. Kind of a weird disengage, but I'm here for it. But Cassante definitely chasing kind of.
In the end, no one dies.
Duro just playing that so aggressively, getting right in onto BDD, pushing him out of the
Como
fight.
se
I
dice
thought that
twin
KT was going to be able to chase
tail.
down and get some exit kills, but Duro barely survives.
I'm not so shabby at
With the command
Spanish.
protect there from Chovy.
I wouldn't
Really
say I'm an
close
expert
fight,
of
but it's
anything
the
either.
Grubs now, the second one, going to be going the way of Gen G.
And it's Keen being knocked away there by Cuz that I think ended up making that a
You're
very
gonna
even
look
fight. With
thanks for
if Keen
hanging
actually
out
was
with
there,
me.
because I think he either ulted for the movement speed or ulted as he got knocked away, and that Aatrox was in the midst of it. One reset, and this fight would just be a complete blowout. So Grubs, 2 of them will go, but that's still a trade that I think KT is happy with. They're able to get themselves one of the Grubs, deny free, and they were the ones who got the early dragon. They did have to pay very heavily, though, when it comes to summoners.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to highlight is you still have these 3 flashes. The top side from Gen G all have theirs available. There's only Cuz with his flash on the KT side. So a lot of vulnerable champions, and we talked about how hard it can be for Ashe, for Lulu, for champions like this if you are getting jumped on. So we'll see if Gen G can find windows to punish those missing summoners.
Keen's going to be able to pick up another plate for himself on this top side. About 300 gold ahead now on the Aatrox. Chovy with a 200 gold lead in mid. The bot lane, the advantage for KT.
Hablas español un poco, pero no practico español en es muchos años. En es over 10 años. Mi practico español es
Yeah, Dam able to.
Pero mi español es muy mal. Don't make me speak Spanish. My Spanish is really bad. But at one point, I think I did know more Spanish than I did know Vietnamese. I can listen to Viet, kind of, and I can respond in English. I can't really respond in Vietnamese.
Nice bit of pressure put on there, though, by BDD.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a use it or lose it type. For sure, for
super
sure.
aggressive.
I can remember like some basic
stuff,
you know.
Falls down to about 2/3 HP.
Like if someone asks me like, where's the library, I can be like, a la derecha la escuela. But like, that's not very advanced, don't get me wrong.
Chovy not quite. And it doesn't find anyone towards that top side either.
And Chovy could have had to expand his flash, not going to be the case.
My favorite is Mi Gato es tu esposo.
That does mean the arrow is down. I think we'll be close to up once we actually get to the dragon. Dragon spawns in about a minute, and that's going to be a big break point. If KT can get to 2 again,
so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a
follow
new
macro easier. You can give up a dragon, get a herald, start opening up mid lane, And I think
I'm going
Orianna in
to turn
particular
this
is really
layer
relying
into
on
my
that mid lane turret
build.
remaining standing, because the moment that
So
has
we'll
gone,
go
Azir
here.
can just make your life a
And
living
I will
hell.
Yeah, it
collapse
can be
this
extremely
one.
difficult. And you can see Keen,
I will
even
have
though
to
Perfect
this
had the
way.
push again there, Keen just held the 4 ranged minions. And so Perfect is trying to push up to get this reset, you know, knowing that, again, you can be vulnerable. Obviously, Cassante, very hard to take
And
down.
then
But if you
hop
are
down
pushed
to
up too far in that
and
lane,
throw this in
there
the
is
front.
the ability for Keen and Canyon to run you down, to take
And
you
then
down. And
go to
you
the
highlighted
next
it.
way.
It had been an issue for
And
Perfect in
hop
the
up
LCK,
here.
getting picked off in these side lanes. But
Grab
to his
all
credit,
it
it has not happened at all in this
Mm,
series.
yeah.
I'd argue not even at Worlds. I think he's actually had a really big step up.
Up.
And we've had moments from that,
Down
of
here.
that from Perfect, but he hasn't been able to string it together consistently. It's cool to see the faith for KT being rewarded. Also, I do want to shout out, because we were giving Chovy some criticism early on, and his early laning phase didn't look too good. Now starting to build towards that Chovy lead that we all know and love.
And He tries to flash away from it. He slammed into the wall. Chovy, take a pew. Your church is closed. KT
Your
find the
church
kill on the
is
enemy mid,
closed.
and we'll turn
Holy.
the eyes towards the Drake.
And that is twice in 3 games. Uncharacteristic bad flashes from Chovy, where he's getting caught, he's getting taken down. Same thing.
I feel like that's one of the
Now they're gonna
worst
force the
things as like a
dragon.
good quote-unquote good player is like people always like, oh my god, I can't believe that person missed their flash. Like anyone can miss a flash, but I feel like if you're like a pro player and you miss flash, like everyone that you never hear the end of it, you know.
KT will accept just that summoner as their price for the
Know what I
chase.
mean?
Still a really big win here for KT as Canyon still waiting. Oh, KT, I think that they based.
Jump onto Peter. They look for
Your
the
name
engage.
is
Then it's played forward, but the
T-Bone.
wild growth flash from Peter's enough to keep him alive.
La
Use the heal
Havana
as well. Doctan tries to turn it back around, but doesn't
Discoteca.
have any vision in that bush
I
to chase
do not
Canyon
know
any
what
further.
Yeah, Ruler isn't that strong, didn't have a lot of mana, and doesn't have a first
No
item yet.
comprende.
But Chovy, I haven't finished my sentence yet, or he just gets swept. Doesn't get the flash, immediately gets slammed into the wall. And again, that's with BD not having his flash.
Oh my god, he got
He's dead
solo
again.
killed.
Grand Starfall in from Canyon as he looks for the chase on
It's
BDD,
a line
but
from the
BDD
show
still has the flash.
Community. I never actually watched
Calling
too much.
BDD for a reason as he outplays Canyon and Chovy.
That is massive.
In
for
terms
the
of like
game.
sitcoms, there's a lot of
2-0 for
sitcoms I
BDD.
never
You
actively
get out
watched
the
or didn't
flash here,
finish.
And now I think we're just going to see
I
solo
finished
kill
watching The
one more time. He
Office.
doesn't even
That's
have his
one
ult,
of
so
them.
Chovy must have
I
just
never ended up
overcommitted
really
to this. I'm
watching.
assuming BDD just slides in. And you're
Like,
just gonna
judge
get
me,
auto-to
judge
death.
me, I
mean, he
suppose,
brought
but I
the
never
phase
really
rush.
ended up watching.
The phase rush expires. You cannot stand around like that. You need to be able to exit the fight. BDD is looking to take this one over.
This one turned out really
Great use of the
cool. I like
soldiers
this.
there as well, getting all 4 of them to slide into Chovy, who is now relegated to a side lane. A couple of years ago, this is where he lived when his team
Please
was
don't make
behind
me
here.
finish.
Still yet to finish.
Please
a
don't make me
first item.
practice in Spanish.
He absolutely is, and Chovy, we have to talk about
Oh.
his history at Worlds, because
Kennedy,
there's been a
fetch
number
me,
of
Joel.
times over the years where you thought, surely
fine
this is the year that they're
make me
going to
do
be
this.
able to win. Has yet to make it to a final. BDD find him again.
Chovy, BDD takes a couple of towers, or it takes 3.
Ooh, that's...
Cuz will get
Is
one
that
in
a
response
fair
to the
trade at
shutdown
this
goal
point in
over
the
to
game?
Chovy.
I'm not
And
sure.
Chovy getting that shutdown absolutely
The shutdown
pivotal.
goal
It
is
felt like
huge,
if that
though.
doesn't come through, he's just straight up out of the game. But now we see the gold, at least mostly equalized. Canyon doesn't have his
Thank
ult,
you for
and
the
KT has started this up. TP comes in.
Now
Oh,
looking for the
I
fight
have
here
to
around the
prep
Herald. Can
this
TP being
file
used
for
as
delivery.
Perfect's going to join the fight. Keen in the back of the pit. Perfect there, trying to act as that front line. Looking for the eye. The solar flare. Dogdam immediately cleanses away from it. Canyon dives in. A great steadfast presence stops Duro from coming in. The TP first is going to be BDG joining the fight. Keen force up towards the top side.
Yeah, I know. 3-1 at 15 minutes. Ooh. That is a clean up from KT.
Genji are wiped from the map. KT just outplay them. They get the Herald. They're going to keep pushing here as well.
Oh,
Look at
hello,
Perfect trying to
Shelly.
threaten the wraparound if Genji's carries
Wait,
overstay.
I don't know.
And it's
Shelly
an
looks a little bit
elementary
different. I
mistake
don't
from
think that's
Genji.
Shelly.
There was just a teleport disadvantage. Chovy doesn't have TP, BDD does.
What?
And so
You can move it now?
Remember, as BDD looking for mid.
You can move it now? Oh my god.
Gets the charge, and KT builds a
Oh
gigantic
gosh, they really
lead
changed
in this
with
game number 3.
That is huge. Just look at where the gold is, too. It's all on the carries. We can watch this one more time. Duro was missing his flash from that bot lane play. And when he tries to go for the engage here, Cuz is just ready to immediately reject it. instant cleanse there from Dokdom, and then there's the rejection. Duro has no choice but to just run. But
Oh, I'm
Dokdom
sorry.
is crushing them, and the TP from Azir
Shelly's a
coming in,
pawn
so
now.
Katie
That's
turn to
crazy.
stay.
You talked about it, Azel. You don't get away from Ashe and Lulu when you're on the back foot. You need to be stepping forward
Oh,
into them.
Lulu was another one I was really good at. I used to play Lulu mid sometimes, or I would play like 4 AP Lulu support for like half the game. I used to actually get a lot of like almost, well, not entirely solo kills, but like I would poke out the AD really often bot lane, and they would underestimate how much damage Lulu does. So I would just get him with like the free pick stamp. Machine Gun Lulu top was funny. So was Tank Comet.
In that fight, by the way, which we didn't even really get to talk about, just straight up.
I also played Nami mid a couple times, and there was one time like I completely smoked a Zed player playing Nami mid because I harassed the heck out of him. And then the enemy team was like, Zed, you need to stop playing the game.
On the ropes,
It was really funny.
It feels like one more punch will be the knockout blow.
It really is feeling that way. And Cuz and BDD, I'm remiss to say it, but it's starting to feel like that upset series where they are just playing out of their minds in this one. It took incredible performances from Cuz and BDD. It took some uncharacteristic mistakes from Chovy as well. And I really am starting to feel the possibilities ramping up more and more for KT here. They're fully in control. 4K lead, sole point. This will put them to match point against Gen G.
And it's Chovy making so many mistakes. It's Dokdom.
And Starfall onto Dokdom. Does have the flash. He's going to use it to get across the red pit. Can't do it in time. Solar Flare from Duro finds its mark. Chovy gets the shutdown and closes that gold gap.
And this is where the resilience of Gen G really will get tested. Their composition, there are elements of scaling that work well. Aatrox, once you get towards those 2 free items, the Orianna, the Sivir, but for me, it's much more about how they look, the hesitancy in teamfight. You can see the doubt creep into their play in real time, and this is coming from a team that within the LCK, within MSI, within the entire year, has played with the utmost confidence.
They absolutely have, and I
We're
mean, that's
probably
the
gonna
first
call
KP that
stream
Canyon has
after
this
this
game,
one.
right? You're
Which
19 minutes in
coincides
on the
us
Pantheon.
finishing
He hasn't
this
been able to find any successful place until that moment, and Dokdom decides to hold on to the flash, which I think was the right call, right? You know, because there's no objective for them to grab after that. You want to be ready to go if there's a big Otacon fight. You want to be ready to go for this potential soul fight here in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And KT has got to stay laser focused, eyes on the prize. It's all about objectives in this game.
The one thing KT needs to avoid at all costs is either Dokdom or BDD getting caught, but this is where I think the composition really does favor them, because look at the tools they have to keep their 2 carries alive. There is Cuz with his ultimate and his W. There is Perfect with the Cassante, and then there is a Lulu to add on top of that. So actually taking down Dokdom, who by the way has Flash and Cleanse, or BDD, who by the way still has his Flash, or really any of the members that isn't Peter if he massively oversteps, just seems nigh impossible, and in 3 minutes,
I feel like a lot of really fun
to fight that. And KT, all I want to say is respect Otacon, please.
You absolutely have, and we already talked about the power, the chase down power that KT's got.
I will say, if you've ever had like a true dual partner, like the kind of dual partner that will ride or
to chase you down and punish you if you misstep at all on the Gen G side, KT know this is a game.
If you will ever find yourself with a true ride or
they do kill
die
it fast, but do not flip from this position. You can just play from soul. There's no need,
like,
in my
there
mind,
was nothing that
to be able to just
compares.
force
There's
it
nothing that
on.
compares. Like, you play enough games with someone and you'll know exactly what the other person.
And puts the ward in. Canyon backs away. BDD
It's
slides
crazy.
forward, uses the Empress Divide. The Aegis Assault didn't even need to block it. Just a little bit quick there from BDD. Thought perhaps, oh, we can pick the enemy jungle and then start the Otacon. KT clear out the vision once again. I was going to say, for KT, don't fight before you're actually stronger as well. There's 2 items on Chovy and 2 on BDD. Although you have a gold lead in the jungle, it's still an item apiece. Your gold lead hasn't actuated into actual items yet. It hasn't become that strong, so you can just wait it out. You're already 4K ahead. Just like, take it slow.
Well, they are not going to do that. They are pulling it for now. And we'll see. It looks like they are going to let this one reset. But that was a really risky moment here because Canyon, when he got spotted out, I mean, if you get connected there, you probably at the very least lose your flash. But had he gone down, then the Otacon is a very real possibility.
In the last game, it was Cuz that had a big mistake, was the one that kind of inadvertently set up Ruler in a position to carry, right? Gave over the early shutdown, not this time!
Yeah, Chovy, perfect here! Pathmaker will find Chovy, and he doesn't get a chance to move! KT once again kill off the enemy mid!
What a beautiful CC chain! That was flawless! The Ash Arrow, then the Flash Pathmaker,
like when you're the mid laner and you're getting like singled out, it is kind of rough.
You have to flash that. There's just no excuse. Chovy thought he could walk it off with the movement speed. Not the case. That's just Otacon gonna be gone. And Gen G are looking at yet another semi-final of despair.
Battered and bruised. They'll have one more game to try and get themselves back off the mat, but for now, KT take total control of Game 3. Keen will get a tower down towards that bottom side, 22.5 minutes in. BDD will get KT's third of the game. The Petals relatively close, even though KT picked up the Otacon, but they have feats. They have more than 1,000 gold lead in 3 of their lanes, and they have Gen G on the ropes.
And they have every summoner except for Perfect Splash. That's all they expended, so it wasn't like they fully oversent it. They're ready
this one turned out really cute. This is actually one of my favorites. That this one is super.
Right here as Gen G, or I think this game is just wraps.
We'll have to see.
I think their character design is really cute. I like the fish in the hat. I like the fish in the hat so much that like
the slam into the wall. The arrow follows up and once again it hits Chovy somehow. Gen G on the retreat. KT.
I put a little bit more effort than usual, but like I want the first couple commissions to do well.
They turn their eyes towards the Drake Soul for them. Canyon a long way away, has that Grand Starfall. Keen gonna try and flank across here. Could use the World Ender. Starfall in from Canyon to steal, but immediately he's yeeted. The Keeper's Verdict finds him guilty, and Emperor's Divide knocks the World Ender into the middle. The Shockwave finds KT, but Duro dives in, and the rest of Gen G just can't follow him. KT claim the soul, they claim the kills, and they claim Gen G's lives.
Can they claim Gen G's lives?
BDD can still chase them in. He's the only one left alive. Chovy stands alone as KT.
H-Clock was sucker apparently.
And that is a 5-for-1. Soul for KT. The Shockwave doesn't matter. Chovy unable to find anything. Canyon immediately yeeted out of the pit. And that is KT about to go up to match point against Gen G.
Cause the timing was perfect. Canyon ults in, immediately knocked out. And then BDD on the side catching Keen, knocking him into the stun of Cuz. They're looking like Shaq and Kobe out there. BDD and Cuz are just on it right now. They're playing with no reservations, with no fear, and it is a beautiful thing to see on the world's largest stage. Look at the timing. He's not even there for a moment, then BDD says that is not enough. We will take even more. Ends the world of Keen and just keeps the pressure going.
And there's not enough damage. Ruler doesn't even have a second item. Chovy Shockwave is only set up for a play that never comes. And Gen G are staring down a roller coaster of all the teams. All these years of this organization, so many have tried and so many have failed. And is it really going to be this roster that does it with Peter?
I mean, it might.
Been subbed out earlier this year, but we're going back to his
might be
non-ship
going
days,
down.
where he has been in the position before, where they weren't the favorites, where they were able to get crazy wins. A perfect that has been so often criticized. Yeah, I mean, Cousin BDD, we've known you were good. You've been good for a very long time. I really don't have a cool redemption story for you, although that Longju final or semi has got to be on their mind.
Now KZ setting up around the Baron, just trying to deny vision away from Gen G. No inhibitor towers did fall after that Chem Tech Soul fight. But KT, they're 9,000 gold ahead. 3 items on BDD, the Leandry's complete. For Docdam, he has a Peter in his pocket to help buff up those autos. Duro and Canyon and Chovy still looking for the flanks. BDD might face check into it. Enchanted Crystal Hour coming out with BDD. Uses the soldiers to check for him. His bodyguards as he forces Chovy away. Canyon falls. Duro row, likely to follow suit soon. Chovy teleports out and dies anyway.
He gets taken down. It's another kill, and it's going to be the Baron here for KT. BDD will not get caught sleeping. Sniffs out the attempted play from Gen G. Goes straight at him. And
Here was smoothing worlds.
Victory lap for the roller
Apparently.
coaster. Get in now. You get an extra ride for free.
Start saving early and get ready for the year's biggest
KT's
deals
just
at the
playing
Wings
out of their
Business
mind.
Black Friday
It
event.
is one of those things where, like, the duel is never over till the last card's played. The game is never over till the Nexus goes down.
Fool him like that. And coming into this game, we were wondering, should you really give BDD a zero? And the answer is one of the most resounding no's that we could possibly give.
Kills Chovy, insult to injury as he's TPing out. It's Baron, it's Soul, it's 11,000 gold, it's Otacon. And it is KT getting closer and closer to putting Gen G on notice, to putting themselves one game away from the World Finals. A tournament they weren't even supposed to qualify for.
So rooting for T1. I mean,
Cinderella story.
I don't blame anyone for rooting for T1. I think the funniest thing is that, like, so KT Roster has always been advertised they've always advertised themselves as, like, we're the team built to beat T1. And I always just thought that was
Gen G trying to defend the top lane in here. Dogdang steps forward, puts the damage down into it. 2 minutes left on this Baron buff as KT take the inhib tower. In the mid lane, Perfect will shepherd in the next wave. The inhibitor falls for KT, and now they move across towards mid.
KT trying to put the finishing touches here. Gen G has to decide when will they make their final stand. It's still a minute and a half left on this Baron. It's not as though it's about to expire. They've already lost 2 inhibs here. They don't have that bot wave moving for them, but they just want to play through 2 waves. Have these 2 waves synced up and start to really put pressure on the Nexus towers.
Chovy and Gen G trying to defend. The solo player BDD slides away from it. You can't catch me. Starfall in, but Canyon's locked up. The keeper's verdict knocks back one.
Faker playmaker. T1 fighting, of course. He is the unkillable team. How can you not like someone with that title? Like, chat, I don't normally consider dating people younger than me. Faker.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words.
Well, what an exciting game for KT. Unfortunately, we're going to have to find out what happens in the next couple games next time on Sand Sally. Thank you for joining me for art this evening. We got to submit. Let me message the what's it called, the person commissioning us. Alright, we need to play some AWAM soon. I don't know, are we? Alright, YouTube, thank you for joining us. Twitch, thank you for joining us. I need to find a duelist to send y'all to. on the Twitch side. Or maybe, you know what, not even a duelist. I just need to find anyone. Anyone at all that we can rate. Who is live and who have I not rated in a hot minute? Let's see. This person is playing League of Legends. I don't know. I've never really like. I only know this person via association from another person, so I feel weird rating them. I might just send y'all to Sen. Sen is my goat, my horse. He's super chill. I think I'm gonna send y'all to Sen for the evening. Yeah, Sen's super fun. Wait, messages. That's my goat. That's my horse. Sen's winning for sure, of course. Oh no, you're recommending him? Yeah, I like Sen. Sen and I are really good friends, actually. The problem is every time I try to get Sen to hang out with me, something terrible happens to him. Every time I've tried to get him to hang out with me, he's gone multiple flat tires. His like computer or like power dies, or his internet goes on the fritz. We're doomed to never be able to hang out. It's crazy. But Twitch, YouTube, thank y'all for hanging out. I hope you'll have a nice rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. Hopefully next time we'll finish up watching League of Legends World. Send all my love, Twitch, YouTube. I'll see ya when I see you. Do take care of yourselves, folks. And just remember that you're all in my thoughts. $1. Twitch, I'm sending out on the wait in just a second. YouTube, good night and good evening.